I was a jobless orphan on Blue Star, with nothing but bad luck and a cheap orphanage pendant, when humanity was dragged onto the Star Rhine continent and I woke as lord of a straw hut with 10 villagers, told only to survive. But that pendant I had carried my whole life was a star core, and the moment I fused it, my territory stopped being a hut and started becoming a world, handing me the SSS Azure Orchid Guard and a star bloodline. While other lords scraped for a single soldier, my hut snowballed into Hanhei City, first on the regional leaderboard. The unluckiest orphan alive had been handed a world. Quick favor before we dive in, hit like and subscribe. It makes a real difference for the channel. How did I end up here? Let me take you back to the very first day. A voice welcomes me to the Star Rime continent, calling it a world of infinite possibilities where each of us will begin a legend as a lord. It tells me I can conquer everything, live a quiet life, or cultivate toward ascension. But first I have to survive. And then it announces that my territory has been generated and granted a 30-day protection period, during which nothing can attack me, so I had better develop fast. I open my eyes slowly and find myself lying on a hard bed under a roof of wood and straw, the smell of dry grass in my nose reminding me with every breath that this place is real. So I have transmigrated. Maybe I'm the protagonist of some novel now, destined to conquer the world. Then everything goes dark in front of me, and a flood of basic knowledge about this world pours straight into my brain. It is a vast, boundless continent where 10,000 races live side by side, drowning in danger and opportunity in equal measure. And we exist here as lords commanding endless kinds of troops, pets, and heroes. 100 schools of thought all blooming at once. A half-transparent screen settles into my vision, full of options I can pull up or hide at will. And among them I count personal information, territory information, the world channel, the regional channel, and the trading hall. The system pings and congratulates me on discovering a star core, asking whether I want to perform the fusion. While I'm still puzzling over what that means, the pendant on my chest glows cyan and floats up on its own. I grew up in an orphanage with nothing to my name, and this pendant is the one possession I have carried my whole life, so it can't be a bad thing to bond with it, and I confirm yes. The system tells me the fusion is complete and my territory has transformed. Then that my territory's restrictions are lifted, and it now holds the potential to become a world. And finally that I have obtained one Azure Orchid Guard, rank SSS. None of that means anything to me yet, so I poke at personal information instead. The panel lays me out plainly. I'm John Woo, my profession listed as Child of Stars, my bloodline the Star Bloodline, my rank sitting at 1. My single talent is luck, which the note explains as some unknown blessing of heaven and earth that simply makes me luckier than everyone else. And I have no cultivation technique to my name. The 3 skills are where it gets interesting. Star Battle Body burns star power to lift every physical attribute at once, and can even pour that power into my gear to make it hit harder. Meteor Fall spends the star power in my body to drop a massive meteor on an enemy, the size of the boom scaling with how much I feed it. Decomposition Ray can break down anything at all, again depending on how much I pour in. The note adds that thanks to my star bloodline, the energy in my body converts into star power automatically. After all of that, my equipment is a novice set and my backpack holds 100 slots. Everything in here is wrapped in stars, which must be the change that came from fusing with the star core. I tap over to territory information. My territory is called Wu Village, and the panel notes I can rename it. I'm the lord, the rank is 1, and the whole place is a square 100 meters on a side. The population is 10 counting any soldiers, and right now I have exactly 0 soldiers, though 10 territory citizens can be refreshed daily. The spiritual chi concentration reads 100. My buildings amount to a lord's mansion, 200 sections of fence, 5 cottages and 4 plots of farmland, with the territory characteristic not yet unlocked. For wealth I have 100 copper coins, 20 wood, 20 stone, and 20 food, 300 slots of storage, and a prosperity index of 10. Nothing jumps out as special, and I can't tell if that's just because my rank is too low. I open the world channel next and it nearly knocks me over. Billions of people are screaming into one feed at once, the messages climbing past 999 in a blink. Somebody demands to know where this is and whether they transmigrated too. Stunned, they aren't the only protagonist. Somebody jokes it's a 5-star scenic resort with a river, paradise for anglers. Somebody panics about a rhinoceros outside that would flatten their thatched cottage in seconds. Somebody declares his ambition to gather 3,000 beauties. A man cries out for his wife Yuyan to answer. A child types that he's Soyu looking for his mother. And a chain of people compares their talent draws. One bragging about a 1 in 10,000 C rank. A third just typing that he's F rank and saying nothing more. The free post limit explains the flood and the silence both. In the world channel you can post once a day for free and pay 100 copper coins for a second, while the regional channel is free and unlimited as long as you don't repeat yourself. With humanity's whole population dumped into the world channel, it refreshes far faster than any regional channel, where each region only holds 10,000 people. Watching all my fellow countrymen spam their fear into the void, I feel a little less alone. I glance at my own talent again. It doesn't even show a rank, but the name alone sounds high-end. I had no parents and no family, just the orphanage, then a university degree last year and a job hunt that went nowhere, and it was at that low, washed-out point in my life that I landed here. Maybe a new world means a new start. My luck was rotten on Blue Star, but the moment I crossed over, the system handed me a talent literally named luck. I sit up, look at the falling apart straw sandals by the bed, then down at the rags I'm wearing and notice the gaping hole in the seat of my pants showing bare skin underneath. This is too miserable. The system kindly informs me the novice set is black iron grade, tattered starter gear offering the most basic coverage and almost no defense. The system is too realistic for its own good. Couldn't it spring for slightly better starter clothes given that I'm a lord? The world's gear runs through 10 grades, the system tells me, from black iron at the bottom up through bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, transcendent, epic, legendary, and finally mythical. And my novice set is the very trashiest black iron there is. Right, there was that SSS rank thing too. The system reminds me I've obtained the SSS rank barracks, the Azure Orchid Guard. Barracks come in their own ladder, F through E, D, C, B, A, S, SSS, each rank setting how far the soldiers it produces can climb, from first tier up to 9th tier. Soldiers from rank 10 to 19 are first tier, 20 to 29 are second tier, 30 to 39 are third tier, and so on, while a fresh troop type starts at rank 1. Below rank 10 they're so weak they have no tier at all. My Azure Orchid Guard, the panel adds, costs far less to use than it should for reasons unknown. In SSS rank, potential barracks is no small thing, because on the Star Rime continent, military strength is the only truth that matters. The gap between tiers is brutal, a higher tier soldier crushing a lower tier 1. 1 fighting 10, without exaggeration, and every tier a troop breaks through is a qualitative leap in power. Within the same tier, the differences between troops are far gentler. The ceiling of a troop type is chained to the potential of the barracks that made it, so a soldier from an F-rank barracks tops out around rank 19 first tier, and basically can never break into rank 20 second tier. To push past that you need either some heaven and earth treasure, or a better barracks entirely, which is exactly why the quality of your barracks decides the whole foundation of your territory. Seeing my barracks rank feels like winning 5 million on a lottery scratch-off. Usually a higher quality barracks costs more to summon from, but mine slashes its own costs on top of everything else. I pull on the broken sandals and push the door open. Outside, the sun is bright, and the trees throw shade over an open yard ringed by fence, a row of crumbling thatched cottages on the left, and a few collapsed building ruins on the right. Past the fence lies a forest with a small river drifting along its edge, blue-gray mountains hazy in its depths, and the occasional roar of some beast carrying out of the trees. 10 people stand at the entrance, all dressed like dirt-poor commoners. The panel reads off the man in front as Lee Bugwee, potential D rank, position village chief, his loyalty at 80 and rank at 1, carrying an elementary proficiency in political affairs and a morale boost skill. Behind him stand villagers like Taejang and Iogu, both F potential with no skills at all, and the rest much the same. So this is my starting foundation. Lee Bugui steps forward and bows to me as Lord, the 4 villagers behind him bowing too, and I wave a hand and ask the village chief to walk me through our situation. He rises and explains slowly that we are a small village in a remote corner of the Star Rime continent, that a beast tide some time ago left only 10 of us alive, and that it damaged most of our functional buildings, the blacksmith shop and the rest, leaving only a few patched-up farmhouses and the Lord's mansion standing. I look back at the thatched hut behind me. You call that a Lord's mansion? Well, we're completely destitute. And a beast tide means this place isn't safe either. I ask the village chief how we usually feed ourselves, and he tells me we gather wild fruit and hunt small animals like rabbits, that before the beast tide and with full manpower the village could bring down larger game, that we grow some grain in the farmland, and that nobody dares go deep into the forest, where the large beasts, the demonic beasts, and even dangerous races all live. I turn toward the ruins nearby, and the system labels them for me. A damaged barracks at F rank wanting 50 copper coins, 50 wood, and 50 stone to repair. A damaged blacksmith shop wanting wood, stone, and copper coins in the same 50s. A damaged tailor shop, and on down the list. Then I remember the barracks sitting in my backpack. I open it and take out a round jade stone, and the system asks whether I want to overwrite the damaged barracks nearby. I confirm. The jade lifts off my palm and drifts down onto the ruined foundation, soft light swallowing it whole, and a square, retro-styled building rises in its place. 10 meters tall, azure gold light flickering across its walls, while streams of something like lava trickle down from the top and seep into the ground. I glance from the barracks to my thatched hut and back. The Azure Orchid Guard, the panel tells me, has SSS potential at rank 1, troop strength 0 of 100. Summoning a soldier costs 100 copper coins, while training one costs 50 copper coins plus a single territory citizen. The introduction calls it the Imperial Guard of the Azure Orchid Empire from another dimension, with a very small chance of producing a hero unit, and once again the note swears my costs to use it are slashed for reasons unknown. Upgrading it will demand a rank 2 territory, 500 copper coins and 300 each of wood and stone. As before, potential is only the ceiling, not the present strength. An F-rank troop hard capped at rank 19, and a soldier slowly growing into its power as its rank climbs. I check my panel, 100 copper coins, all I have. I call 2 territory citizens into train, and the barracks washes over with a faint blue-gold glow before chiming that the training is done. The gate opens and 2 nimble warriors stride out in light armor, sabers at their hips and bows on their backs, clearly built to fight up closer at range. The panel names one of them Wang Mang, an Azure Orchid Guard Warrior at rank 1 with SSS potential and the Azure Orchid Bloodline Loyalty 100. He carries Advanced Sword Mastery and Advanced Archery Mastery, a Wind Element Affinity, and a skill called Fight to the Death that doubles his combat power when he's cornered, all of it wrapped over a novice set. Both warriors bow to me as Lord, and looking over the impressive pair, I tell them welcome aboard. I send the village chief off with the territory citizens to gather materials nearby and keep the 2 Azure Orchid guards with me to scout the village. The Lord's mansion reads as rank 1, 5 by 5 meters, defense 15, the foundation of the whole territory, upgradable for 2,000 each of stone, wood, and copper coins. The farmhouse is rank 1, 2 by 2, defense 3, a simple place for territory citizens to recover stamina and minor wounds. Beyond the fence, a transparent shield wraps the village, and the system explains I'm still in the novice protection period. The village absolutely safe for now, with 29 days, 23 hours and change left before attacks can come. Safe for at least a month. I press a hand against the shield, and it gives like a soap bubble, letting me pass right through. With no danger in sight, I take up the broken machete I started with, and walk out, the 2 Azure Orchid guards hurrying after me. Outside is grassland where rabbits hop and wild oxen graze. The rabbits ranked 1 and noted as the lowest, most timid wild monster. The wild oxen ranked 3, strong as anything and dumb as a post. A small river runs clear past an endless forest where unfamiliar birds call from the trees, and as I watch, an eagle drops out of the sky, snatches a rabbit in its talons, and climbs away. At my signal, Wang Mang draws his saber and flickers forward, slashing at a wild ox, which senses the threat and swings its head up to gore him. The saber meets the horn in a hard ring of impact, and Wang Mang flashes around behind it to cut its hind leg, the ox too slow to dodge, its leg buckling, and soon it goes down. The system congratulates me, telling me my territory citizen killed a rank 3 wild ox, and that he and I each gained experience, his 35 to my 5, 2 ribbons of white light sinking into our bodies as warmth spreads through me. Then it generates the loot and hands me 3 copper coins, 7 cuts of wild ox meat, 2 ox horns, 3 beast hides, and a horse-slaying saber of black iron grade. Equipment on the very first kill. My luck stat really is high. Just then the rest of the herd catches the danger and stampedes straight at Wang Mang, who dodges fast. But there are too many of them and they run too quick. So I call both Azure Orchid guards back inside the protective shield. The herd slams against the barrier, the impacts thudding one after another, but the shield bounces their horns off like a rubber ball, the oxen unable to break through and the shield doing them no harm in return. And after a while of futile fury, they drift away. I let out a long breath. If the oxen at my doorstep are this fierce against SSS ranked soldiers, how is anyone with F-rank troops supposed to live? I'm wrong about that though, because SSS is only the ceiling, my soldiers' actual rank is still low, and most of their power hasn't surfaced. At equal rank 1, SSS troops beat F troops, just not by the absurd margin I imagined. I rest the soldiers and open the world channel. Someone complains that after repairing his barracks he had only enough money left to train 1 soldier, asking how he's supposed to go to war with a single man. Someone else laments that his lone soldier got dragged off by a giant spider the instant he stepped out, wiping his whole army. A third gloats that he stumbled into a bronze treasure chest holding an E-rank barracks, and that nobody even uses F-rank barracks anymore, drawing a streamer begging him to gift it to her, and a skeptic warning that without meeting face-to-face nobody knows who's a cute girl and who isn't. Then one voice cuts through the noise to ask why everyone's so dumb. Why they don't just lure the monsters outside the shield and attack safely from within. And a flood of people realize they've been idiots and dash off. I smack my own forehead, call the Azure Orchid Guard over, and have them do exactly that, baiting monsters out and ducking behind the shield to strike, the kills rolling in one after another. I test my own ranged skill too, and it's powerful, though the star power drain isn't cheap. My novice set only came with a blade, and I'd kill for a bow. In no time the wild monsters lurking around the village are wiped clean. It's worth noting that monsters killed by territory citizens still drop loot, and if I'm not too far the loot flows straight into my backpack, but if I'm distant it becomes small glowing orbs the citizens collect. They can't appraise the orbs though. Only in my hands do they turn into real items. With nothing left nearby, I lead my 2 warriors farther out. At the river, the water runs clear to the bottom, only thumb-sized fish darting through it too small to bother with for food. A crude bridge of tree trunks spans the water, and across it the forest thickens, the wild monsters growing denser the deeper we go. A few wild oxen wait ahead, so both Azure Orchid guards draw their warblades and charge, and I draw mine and join them. I tested it earlier, that activating Star Battle Body lifts every attribute and makes me stronger even than the Azure Orchid guard, though it eats star power and can't run long, ideal for a quick burst. The kills pile up, and another black iron piece drops, a rusty shield, but black iron is barely worth keeping since my whole set is already black iron. I get smarter about it, only picking off lone monsters and ganging all three of us onto each one, and the loot keeps flowing. Deer meat and antlers from a spotted deer, scraps from a rabbit, and from a wild chicken, a bow at last, an iron wall bow. Now I can hang back and shoot. In this world, bows condense energy into arrows with no need for physical ammunition, and I can pour energy in to strengthen each shot. Before long, my copper coins pass 50, so I run back to the territory and train another warrior. Keep hunting. The system congratulates me on a black iron treasure chest, which I open happily, finding 25 copper coins and a pile of basic wood and stone. The coin's worth about 10 monsters worth of grinding. I keep killing, and a white light flashes as I hit rank 2. My body a touch stronger, my star power a little fuller. My 3 soldiers level 2, and once I've saved enough, I run back and train a 4th. By dusk, I have 5 warriors, and I call an end to the hunt. I'm snowballing. The advantage only grows from here. Back at the territory's citizens have returned with a decent haul of basic materials and a good amount of food from hunting small game. The village chief's gathering crew bringing in no small amount either, probably riding my luck stat. I open the panel. Wu village still sits at rank 1, 100 meters square, population 10, but now 5 of them are soldiers, and my stores have ballooned to 254 wood, 156 stone, 356 food, the prosperity index ticking up to 12. Though copper coins have dropped to 15 after all that training. Li Bugui has already lit a bonfire and set a huge crude grill over it. Today's beef roasting away while he turns it and sprinkles something like salt and seasoning. The salt was traded off passing merchant caravans, he tells me, and the seasoning is local plants ground to powder, the aroma carrying from far off. The men sit around the fire eating and looking at these simple, guileless faces, remembering all the bitterness back on Blue Star, the endless scheming and backstabbing at the company. I decide this place isn't so bad. Wang Mang mentions the Azure Orchid Guard can cultivate on their own through a matching technique called the Azure Orchid Codex, just meditating at night. That's brutally hardcore, fighting and leveling by day, cultivating and leveling by night, around-the-clock grind. He adds that the barracks holds an inner space where the warriors normally live, so they need no extra housing, and that inside they get buffs to recovery and cultivation speed. After eating my fill, I wipe the grease from my mouth and slip into the thatched hut that passes for a lord's mansion, leaving the men to brag about the day's haul. Lying on the hard boards, I browse the trading hall. Someone's listed a worn shield of black iron for 23 copper coins, not cheap given that a wild monster only drops 2 or 3 coins. Even with my luck. Wood, stone, beef, and rabbit meat sit for sale. Food's still expensive at this stage because most lords find even the wild oxen at their doorstep too tough to hunt, and the starter food of 20 units never lasts against territory citizens who eat like horses. I'm sitting on 356 food, so I keep 100 and list the rest, and it sells off in waves for 512 copper coins, enough to train more soldiers. Somebody's even listed a novice set for 100 copper coins, probably after getting better gear, though everyone starts with one of those, so who would buy it? Then again, F-rank barracks soldiers only come with a single black iron weapon, so a lord might grab it to outfit his men. There's even someone selling water at 5 copper coins a unit, the kind of thing only a desert player would touch, since most villages spawn near a water source anyway. At the edge of a forest, France scratches at his head in a grass skirt, miserable. But one soldier he trained today got rammed dead by a wild ox the moment it left the shield, the herd outside too thick and his villagers worthless in a fight. They can only gather stone inside the barrier, and he has no money. He needs soldiers to handle the oxen, but soldiers cost copper coins, and copper coins only come from killing wild monsters he can't fight himself with his scrawny body, and even baiting them is suicide when he can't outrun them back to the shield. Feeling abandoned by God, he finally lists the only thing he can sell, his novice set, just to scrape together enough to train a soldier. I'm refreshing my panel and reading the chat, my only entertainment since crossing over, when the screen flickers with a friend request from Li Rinren. Li Rinren, could that be my old colleague? After graduation, I'd worked half a year at a small company, and Li Rinren had joined before me and looked out for me there, so I accept. She tells me it really is me, that she can't believe we landed in the same region, and indeed at this stage you can only add friends inside your own region. I greet her as Rinren, and ask how things are on her end, and she says there's a fruit forest near her she hasn't fully explored, packed with delicious fruit, and that she pulled a silver treasure chest today holding a D-rank barracks that produces elven archers, gorgeous ones. I have no words for that. Rubbing my face, swallowing a fresh wave of envy, I remember from years of reading novels that every elf comes out top tier in figure and face. Just then the friend channel flickers again with a request from Joe Ree, and I accept. He asks if it's me, Old Jong, and I greet him back as Old Joe, And through the chat I learned that people from the same area on Blue Star mostly end up in the same regional channel after transmigrating, which is how both Lee Rindran and Joe Ree landed near me. Joe Ree was my best friend at university, and we'd worked in the same city after graduation. He reminds me we literally saw each other 2 days ago, then brags that he drew a B-rank talent called Prosperous Population that doubles his territory's population cap. When I ask whether there even is a population limit, he calls me careless for not reading my panel, and I check again and confirm I have no such limit at all. Probably another change from the Star Core merging with my territory. He asks how my development's going and whether I need help, and I tell him I'm fine, that I got a luck talent, and he agrees luck is a good thing, mentioning that plenty of our old classmates are in this region and that he's started a group, offering to pull me in. There's a group function for adding friends together, but I beg off, reminding him I have social anxiety. And Joe Rye, knowing me, doesn't push it, just telling me to speak up if I need anything before going offline to get busy. The next morning I'm woken by birdsong, rubbing my aching back, the bare boards having left my whole body sore. I really need to find something soft to pad this bed. Opening the door I find Lee Boogwe simmering a meat soup, wild vegetables and yesterday's leftover meat floating in it, and I refresh the panel to summon today's 10 territory citizens. 2 of them come up D rank. Jang Mu noted as a blacksmith with basic blacksmithing mastery and Li Gi as a tailor with basic sewing mastery, while the rest, men like Yu Gong and Jang Ri, are plain F-rank villagers with no skills. Once I repair the shops, I can hand them the blacksmith shop and tailor shop. My copper coins can train 10 soldiers, so I send all 10 franc citizens into the barracks, since filling numbers by training first saves the 100 coin summon cost. The 2 methods identical in result, except that training burns a citizen. After a while, the 10 soldiers finish, and the system chimes that one of my territory citizens, Li Hual, has been promoted to a hero unit. A hero. Heroes belong to the barracks but count against neither its troop cap nor the territory's population. The panel reads Li Hual at level 1 SSS potential, Azure Orchid bloodline, loyalty 100. He carries top-tier blade and sword mastery and top-tier archery mastery, the Azure Orchid battle physique that lifts every attribute by burning his inner energy. Death struggle that triples his combat power when cornered, a wind blade that condenses wind into a cutting ranged strike, and command, which boosts the attack recovery and morale of any Azure Orchid guard he leads. Heroes are nothing like ordinary troops, the note adds, unbound by the barracks, able to keep breaking through forever, their ceiling set only by their own potential. On the Star Rhyme continent, both troops and heroes grow stronger with every level, because this is a real world. He's a 2-meter giant, cut from the same cloth as the Azure Orchid guard but more restrained, and he greets me as Lord, swearing he'll fight across the world for me. I look the burly man over, liking him more by the second despite his grim face, and clap his shoulder, telling him to ease up, that this is his home now, and to give me a smile. Li Hual freezes a beat, then forces out the most strained smile I've ever seen. After breakfast, I send the village chief out with the villagers to keep gathering and lead the Azure Orchid guard toward the woods myself. And honestly, compared to yesterday, I've got a bit of a lord's bearing today. There are only a dozen odd Azure Orchid guards, but with some scouting ahead, some guarding the flanks, and some at the rear, we cut an impressive figure. Inside the forest, the notifications never stop. A gibbon dead at level 4, a sika deer and a forest wolf falling to my citizens, copper coins and experience trickling in. If I remember right, wolves run in packs. A rustling rolls through the trees and pairs of green eyes flare in the distance. The Azure Orchid guards snap into formation around me, front rank drawing sabers, back rank knocking arrows, and as the pack closes my mood darkens. There are about 50 wolves, ranked between 4 and 5, and I have only 16 on my side at lower ranks, so we're at a clear disadvantage, and every Azure Orchid guard switches to sabers to meet them. Li Hual triggers his Azure Orchid battle body and charges, holding off 6 wolves at once, the others coordinating to hold the line. Ignoring Li Hual's protests, I activate Star Battle Body and wade in too. My battle body is plainly stronger than Li Hual's, and with no care for the star power drain, a single wolf can barely fight back. I cut down 3 in a row before 6 more circle to swarm me, and with the situation tightening, I channel all my star power into my saber until the blade glows gray. Its power spiking so hard that one slash splits the wolf in front of me clean in 2. I'd underestimated the Star Battle Body, because with everything enhanced at once, the wolves can't track my speed, and between that and the saber's terrifying edge, the 6 surrounding me are soon dead. Li Hual, just as reckless with his consumption, finishes his own 6, and the 2 of us rush to support the others, the soldiers swinging into a counterattack until the pack's numbers crater and they lose their edge entirely. Then a howl rings out and the wolves bolt, a leader on the far side clearly deciding we aren't worth it and pulling back for now. Wolves are vengeful though. I know we've been marked, the soldiers are spent, so I clear the field fast and pull everyone back toward the territory, grateful that we took no casualties, which owes a lot to the pack not fighting to the bitter end. Home again, I send the soldiers into the barracks to rest, call Lee Bugwe over, and order everyone to stay inside the protective barrier, because with the shield up I have nothing to fear from the wolves' revenge, while we're behind it. I bank some of the haul and list the rest in the trading hall, where food prices haven't dropped, but actually crept up, a sign nobody has enough food at this stage, and my listings sell out fast, leaving me with 1,055 copper coins. I head to the barracks and summon 10 soldiers outright this time rather than training, since summoning costs no territory citizens, and there aren't many citizens left to spend without crippling my resource gathering. Now the territory holds 24 Azure Orchid Guard soldiers plus myself and Li Hual, so if the wolves come back we won't be so helpless. Come daylight I'll take the soldiers and go find that pack, because until I wipe them out the territory will never know peace, especially with my citizens needing to gather outside. After dinner I return to the Lord's mansion, dig out some animal skins, and spread them over the bed. And it's actually quite comfortable, so why didn't I think of that yesterday? I opened the chat. The misery is universal tonight. Someone whose soldier got swallowed whole by a man-eating flower. Someone who hasn't eaten in a day begging for food. Someone noting that territory citizens' loyalty drops when you can't feed them. Someone who barely outran a wolf pack. Someone griping that a whole day of grinding bought a single soldier. A man swearing he saw a dragon overhead, and a man boasting he rescued a cat girl in the wild. All of it a parade of complaints and lucky breaks. By comparison, I'm doing well, since most lords have only 2 or 3 soldiers, and starting with the barracks meant I never had to bleed resources repairing the broken one the way so many others did. The Azure Orchid Guard are all inside the barracks cultivating, and I'd tried their technique myself, but only they can run it. Word is the technique replaces sleep with a rest even better than sleep, which makes me genuinely jealous. With no entertainment in this world, I turn in early. At first light, I check the barracks to find Li Hual and the others fully recovered, and after breakfast I refresh today's 10 territory citizens, all F rank with no talents, and hand them to Lee Bugwe before leading the soldiers out to hunt. I return to where we met the wolves, and widen the search, and soon a soldier reports tracks ahead, leading us to the mouth of a valley. The system congratulates me on discovering the wolf tribe's home, Wild Wolf Valley. From behind a big tree I count about 80 wolves inside, roughly 50 of them adults once you set aside the pups. No weaklings among them, and some nursing wounds from yesterday and licking them, their recovery clearly slow. Counting myself and Li Hual, I have 26. We can take them, and I'll open with a meteor fall. A massive meteor drops onto the pack and detonates, the shockwave erupting like a small nuclear bomb, and the Azure Orchid Guard switch to bows and loose a full volley. One wave alone killing half the wolves, the rest startled into a howling charge straight at us. Another volley of arrows, then sabers, and the warriors meet them hand to hand. I don't charge in this time because I'd misjudged my power earlier and burned my star power dry, so I hang back and shoot. Li Hual goes straight for the Wolf King. The panel calls it the Green Wolf King, rank 6, the lord of this forest wolf pack and genuinely powerful. With his battle body active, Li Hual edges out the king's strength and quickly pins it down. And once the king is tangled up, the rest of the pack falls fast, the freed up soldiers piling onto the king until it's gravely wounded and finished. I have Li Hual leave it one breath, because I want to test whether my high luck can shake loose something good. And I pick it off myself with the bow, arrow by arrow, never using the saber so it can't manage a dying counter. A flash of white light and I hit rank 3. My drained stamina instantly refilled and my body a few points stronger, finally caught up with the soldiers, since the first one summoned already reached rank 3 after a night of cultivating. The system congratulates me on killing the rank 6 Green Wolf King and begins generating loot. It hands over 60 copper coins, a Wolf King's cloak of bronze grade, and a lumber mill blueprint at E rank. Equipment and a building blueprint both. The cloak's skill, Wolf King's protection, raises a faint shield for minor defense while resisting cold and cutting poison gas damage, woven from the hide of the Azure Wolf King, and once I put it on the added defense is solid. The lumber mill, the blueprint tells me, houses 10 workers and produces 50 wood an hour for 75 copper coins, 55 wood, and 70 stone, and once I build it back home my wood gathering will jump. I pocket everything and push deeper into the valley, and after clearing the last few wolves I order the Azure Orchid Guard to search. Before long Li Hual comes back cradling several eggs, the system congratulating me on discovering a forest wolf pet egg, F rank, hatchable into a pet forest wolf. Lucky me, a pet egg. F rank or not, a forest wolf fights on par with an F rank troop. Pets don't take up barrack slots, and at this stage with everyone's ranks so low, F rank pets still sell well. I keep searching and over half an hour gather 7 forest wolf pet eggs in all. Nothing else of value. Just as I'm about to leave, I catch a silver glint in a heap of bones and droppings ahead. There wouldn't be a treasure chest buried in feces, would there? This system's sense of humor is twisted. I have 2 Azure Orchid Guards scrape the filth away with branches, and sure enough, a silver treasure chest emerges. And I open it. Silver light flashes, and out comes 350 copper coins, a stack of wood and stone, and a wind spirit bow of silver grade real silver equipment I can use myself. I equipped the wind spirit bow and tossed my old gear into the trading hall. I walked to the one thing in the valley resembling a structure, just a ring of boulders where the Wolf King had been lying, and the system names it the Keystone Building of Wild Wolf Valley, an altar, offering me Occupy, Devour, or Destroy. Occupying grants me a level 1 wolf territory, devouring nets me some of its resources, and destroying just turns it to ruins. I choose Destroy, since Occupy and Devour over a few broken rocks would yield nothing worth having, and the boulders crumble to powder with a bang as the system confirms the level 1 wolf territory destroyed. Then it congratulates me as the first lord to conquer an alien territory, rewarding me a golden treasure chest, and asks whether I want to hide my real name for the announcement. I do, and it asks for a nickname to use instead. I try Overlord of the Firmament, taken. God You, taken. Proud Dragon Sovereign, taken. Imperial Firmament, taken. Holy shit, somehow also taken. Friendly Merchant goes through, and the system congratulates me on setting it. Fine, Friendly Merchant it is. I'm hopeless at naming things, and couldn't dredge up anything better. The regional announcement rings out 3 times, crowning Lord Friendly Merchant the first to conquer an alien territory, and awarding a golden treasure chest, and the regional channel boils over. Somebody stunned at the golden chest, somebody else jokingly demanding customer support and accusing me of hacking. A third grumbling that he's still killing cows while I'm starting wars. A self-proclaimed little fairy begging me to gift her the chest because she likes me. And a man simply marveling that we're clearly not in the same world. Not bad at all, another golden treasure chest. And though Friendly Merchant is suddenly famous across the region, what does that have to do with me, Jongwoo? A ball of white light rises slowly over the wrecked altar, and the system congratulates me on obtaining 1 spiritual rhyme. I click its info. A spiritual rhyme, it reads, is a rare treasure nurtured by the power of heaven and earth, and merging it into the fire seed can change a territory's aptitude and grant a stronger blessing. The note explaining that the keystone of any territory is itself a heaven and earth treasure, and that after destruction the gathered spiritual chi failed to disperse and condensed into this. I don't know exactly what it does yet, so I'll test it back home. I open the golden treasure chest and find a starfall blade of gold grade, a flamestorm scroll at D rank, and an iron mine at D rank. A gold war blade, though I already have the silver wind spirit bow, and with equipment so scarce, handing the blade to Li Hua will do more good. So I toss the Starfall blade to him and watch his combat power climb sharply with the gold gear equipped. The D rank scroll releases a flamestorm on use, a sharp tool for grinding I'll save as a trump card. And an iron mine at D rank, the note saying it produces 1,000 units of iron ore a day. Very nice. I list the 7 forest wolf pet eggs at once, since F rank items only lose value as everyone's territories climb, pricing each at 150 copper coins, a touch over the 100 it costs to summon a soldier, betting that well-developed early lords will want pets that don't eat into barracks slots. The world channel lights up at the idea of a big shot already holding pet eggs this early, and they sell fast. 150 coins crediting again and again until I've banked 1,050 copper coins, selling always easier with a huge population to draw on. I split the Azure Orchid Guard into 4 groups to hunt in different directions, since clustering everyone together wastes the manpower, and they can regroup fast if they hit social animals. And it's worth noting the warriors can use the gathering skill too, their drops appearing as unidentifiable orbs they collect and hand to me to turn real, a genuinely useful feature. At dusk I lead them back to camp, and with strength in numbers the day's haul blows past yesterday's. I'm snowballing now, and the lead only widens. Back home I take out the spiritual rhyme and summon the fire seed, the foundation of the Lord's mansion, visible only to me, seated in the mansion's cornerstone and called up at will. The system detects the spiritual rhyme and asks whether to fuse. I confirm, and it congratulates me on a successful fusion that upgrades my territory. The panel shifts. Wu Village stays rank 1 but stretches to 110 meters square. Its population now 39 with 1 hero and 24 soldiers. Spiritual chi concentration risen to 110. Copper coins at 1,915, with full stores of wood, stone, and food and a prosperity index leaping to 35. Best of all, the characteristic has unlocked, raising the territory's spiritual chi by 10%, citizen recovery speed by 10%, and the territory's perimeter by 10%, and the territory's perimeter by 10%. The characteristic delivers a clean across-the-board upgrade, the territory expanding outward, the very air fresher with the higher spiritual chi, which also means faster cultivation for the Azure Orchid Guard, exactly the perk I've been eyeing for ages. After a day of fighting, I've reached rank 4, the earliest summoned Azure Orchid Guard matching me at 4 and the rest at 3. I set the iron mine at the territory's edge, so the blacksmith shop can run once ore starts flowing, then list 500 units of food in the trading hall. Knowing from the World Channel that citizens eat enormously because gathering is hard labor, and that many territories are starting to run dry. The listing draws stunned praise, someone gawking at 500 food at once, someone spotting Wolf King meat and guessing I raided a wolf den. someone bowing to the friendly merchant boss, a singer-dancer begging to be taken in. I'd love to make some friends too, especially skilled ones, but with no teleportation yet it's pointless since we can never meet. Friend requests start pouring in, William the Great and 100 others, the list rocketing past 99 until I panic and block requests by nickname. And the silence comes instantly, the flood too terrifying. The food sells out fast for 1,000 copper coins, my total nearly cracking 3,000, and I feel a touch giddy, like a brand new rich man. I spend 2,500 copper coins summoning 25 Azure Orchid Guard, and a flash of white light brings them up in unison. No hero this time, so I wave them off to get used to the place. 49 soldiers now, not counting Li Hual, and seeing so many in the chat still stuck on single-digit troop counts, I feel proud all over again. After dinner, I open the trading hall and browse the listings. Pheasant meat, worn-out sickles, a mysterious fragment of unknown rank, a 1-coin cotton jacket, a silver luxury double bed for 50 coins, a spearman barracks at E rank going for 800, a mysterious bronze undergarment. The barracks are pricey for good reason, since the system only gives F rank ones whose troops cap at rank 19, while an E rank barracks produces soldiers reaching rank 29, and with the gulf between tiers letting one fighter beat 10, that gap is everything. Lying on the warm bed, I open the chat. Andre loves to drink, begs anyone with spare money to lend him some, and swear lifelong brotherhood. William I moans about killing 3 cows all day with traps. Steamed Bun celebrates a building blueprint. AK-47 despairs that development is brutal, and he's down to 3 soldiers wondering when he'll ever scrape 2,000 coins to upgrade his sorry thatched cottage. Tom Has No Sin advises against rushing the mansion and pushing more warriors instead. Bones Everywhere reports a peach forest whose fruit raises attributes, but is guarded by a big python he can't beat, and Fine Hemp Rope describes a patch of black soil that doubles food production if only he had seeds. Scrolling on, I find Lee Rinnerin and ask little Rinnerin how our development is going, and since we added each other by real name, the friend list shows our names rather than nicknames. She teases that I must have struck it rich, since my way of addressing her has changed. Lee Ringer knows my family was poor, and that the rough stretch after graduation left me decadent and insecure. So seeing me far more cheerful after just 2 days, she figures I'm developing well, shaking off the gloom, and she's genuinely glad for me. I tell her it's just a small fortune, and ask whether little Renner needs support, and she snaps at me to get lost, that my pocket change couldn't even cover her, that this sister has a D-rank ranged barracks so her development won't be lacking, and that she'd meant to help me but clearly I don't need it. I have nothing to say to that. Lee Rinnerin, an outgoing beauty who carried me through a lot at work, has always left me with a very good impression. The pleasant chat ends, and I drift off, worn out from a full day of grinding. I wake early, refreshed thanks to the higher spiritual chi, and step out of the mansion to use the lumber mill blueprint I'd forgotten in yesterday's rush to pump out soldiers. The lumber mill comes up rank 1, housing 10 workers for 50 wood an hour, upgradable for 100 coins, 60 wood and 80 stone, and I planted at the territory's edge, marveling at whatever black technology lets workers stand inside producing timber, without ever chopping a tree. Today's citizens come up mostly F rank but a few E rank, likely lifted by the territory's higher spiritual chi, and I hand them to the village chief, then repair the blacksmith shop and tailor shop now that I have the resources. I call Jiang Mu and Li Gi over to run them, recruiting their needed hands from the citizens, and with the new iron mine, the blacksmith shop can start crafting once it's running. I'd asked Jiang Mu about it, and he can already forge black iron gear and basic tools, hammers, shovels, and the like, while anything more advanced needs a learned blueprint. Let's start with tools, since black iron gear is dirt common now and won't fetch much, and the Azure Orchid Guard already come with starter equipment, so there's no point re-outfitting them in same grade black iron. With all the hides from hunting, the tailor shop can run too, turning out leather armor or hide clothing for the villagers. I send Li Hual out leading the Azure Orchid Guard, plenty of them now. Split into squads and I trail the squad under Li Hual to hold the line and leech a little experience. The kills roll in, a green vine snake at rank 4 pushing me to rank 5, and dropping snake meat, tendons, and a gallbladder. The note calling the gallbladder the snake's essence, a detoxifier that improves fitness and toxin resistance, and I swallow it whole, cool and refreshing, my fitness ticking up a notch. Toxin resistance matters in a forest crawling with snakes, insects, rats, and ants. Since the Azure Orchid Guard cultivate by night, they keep leveling around the clock, so I have to keep grinding just to stay level with my own army. A warrior reports a gregarious monster ahead, and I have him lead the way to the edge of a valley dotted with crude thatched huts and wooden fences, a ring of huge stones at its center that looks like an altar. Several humanoids are setting up a great pot to boil unknown meat, while club-wielding figures patrol the fence. Green-skinned, about 1 meter tall, fangs jutting to their ears and eyes bulging. The panel names them Goblin Warriors, rank 3, units under a Goblin Lord, average in strength, agile, winning through numbers. The system congratulates me on discovering a goblin camp. I watch a while and count roughly 200 goblins, no great fighters individually, but 200 is 200, and at my current strength I judge I can take them. I have Lee Wall gather the Azure Orchid Guard, and squad after squad files back. The gaps between them kept short for fast support, and I dumped the squad's gathered orbs into my backpack without bothering to identify them. Under Li Hua's command, we attack, volley after volley of arrows pouring into the camp, goblins dropping where they stand, until the survivors roar out of the huts, snatch up clubs, and charge. The Azure Orchid Guard shooting calmly and only drawing sabers when the goblins close. With every rank gained, the Azure Orchid Guard surge in strength, being SSS potential after all, and only half the charging goblins survive the approach, those falling fast under the warriors' blades. Then a red halo spreads from inside the camp and every goblin's eyes flush crimson, their strength spiking, attacking with no thought for defense and giving the Azure Orchid Guard real trouble. I spot a figure taller than the rest in clearly superior gear, a patterned wooden pillar driven into the ground beside it. The panel names it a Goblin Lord, rank 6, a shaman who wields mysterious powers and can frenzy his goblins into a fearless strengthened state, though they're left weakened once it ends. The pillar marked as a totem pillar of bronze grade, the shaman's exclusive weapon. A Goblin Lord then. I raise my bow and fire, the arrowhead caught by an invisible shield before it, but not wasted, since I see the shield shudder hard. I inject star power into the wind spirit bow, and the arrows hit far harder, and shot after shot the shield finally shatters and the arrows bury into the Goblin Lord's body until it falls, a beam of white light merging into me. The system congratulates me on 223 experience in rank 6, then on killing the rank 6 Goblin Lord, generating loot. Out comes 45 copper coins, a warrior set of silver grade, and a shaman class transfer book at E rank. Equipment and a class transfer book both. The warrior set, silver grade, raises my strength and recovery speed by 30% each, and carries a warrior aura that lifts nearby teammates' morale by half across a 50-meter span. The note crediting it to the master blacksmith Winger of Sunset City, lost in the war against the orcs. Delighted, I change into it and finally look the part. No longer a patchwork beggar with no lordly dignity, tossing the replaced gear into the trading hall. The class transfer book changes a unit's class to shaman at E rank potential. Decent enough, but useless to my territory since it suits lords who've opened orc units. And my Azure Orchid Guard are strong enough that I have no plans to add new troop types. I listed for 500 copper coins, lower than I'd like given lord's thin purchasing power right now, since holding it does nothing and resources are what I need. And the channel marvels again that the friendly merchant Big Shot even has a class transfer book. With the Goblin Lord dead, the frenzy collapses, and the Azure Orchid Guard mop up the goblins fast. Then I lead them into the camp to loot, the system handing me a silver treasure chest, which I open. Inside are 23 copper coins, a basic cultivation method, and a spirit spring at E rank. A cultivation technique, the basic cultivation method, the note says, suits everyone, and used in the fire source that lets all territory citizens cultivate, raising their rank and, very rarely, even improving their potential. Good stuff. Citizens can raise their rank by gathering daily, but it crawls, and even F-rank citizens, slow as their cultivation would be, would at least have hope of a breakthrough with this. I can almost picture my territory citizens one day slapping a besieging army to death. The Spirit Spring, E rank, placed in the territory produces spring water that slowly lifts citizens' potential and aptitude, speeds crop growth, and offers mild healing and detoxifying. A perfect match with the cultivation technique, and I wonder just how strong that healing runs, because if it's good I could bottle and sell it as a potion. After the search I reach the altar-like building, the system congratulating me on the Goblin Camp's foundation, an altar offering Occupy, Devour, or Destroy. I choose Devour, the system grinding through the territory and handing me 53 copper coins, a heap of wood and stone, a quarry blueprint at E rank, plus meat, green apples, and watermelon. So poor, but at least a blueprint dropped. And the fruit's a nice change since I'm sick of roasted meat every single day. The hunting rolls on with a fat haul, and at dusk I leave the soldiers home, leveled to rank 6 off the shared experience. The troops now scattered between rank 4 and 5, a big jump from yesterday. I summon the village chief before the Lord's mansion and use the basic cultivation method. Li Bugui is stunned, asking whether it's truly a cultivation technique, and I tell him yes, that from now on every territory citizen can cultivate. He calls it the hope of a breakthrough, immensely precious, and asks if I'm really just handing it over like this, because on the Star Rime continent, the gulf between ranks is vast, and many are chained by their potential and never break through in a whole lifetime, while leveling by work experience alone crawls compared to cultivation. Commoners almost never touch a cultivation technique, since they live only in the hands of the continent's noble lords, which is exactly why the Azure Orchid Guard, coming with their own technique from an SSS barracks, never reacted to it the way ordinary people do. I tell him that's right, that they're all my people, my solid foundation, that their strength is my strength. Li Bugui drops to his knees, his face thick with emotion, thanking me on behalf of every territory citizen and swearing his life to me, his loyalty climbing to 100 in that moment. I have him organize the cultivation and instruct the citizens to practice from now on. And like the Azure Orchid Guard, they can swap sleep for cultivation. This world is far too much of a grind. Once the quarry's built tomorrow, stone gathering will jump, so I take out the spirit spring and set it beside the Lord's mansion next to the farmland. The panel noting, it produces 300 liters of spring water daily with miraculous effects. The water itself slowly lifting citizens' potential and aptitude, speeding crops, and offering slight healing and detoxifying. It might not be my imagination that the spiritual chi in the territory rises again after I place it. I draw a cup and sip, a wave of freshness rolling through me. The whole day's fatigue gone, then have a soldier wounded today drink 1 too, and he confirms the healing is real but weak. I send him off to rest and open the trading hall, listing 50 portions of spring water at 1 copper coin per 500 milliliters, practically a giveaway next to real healing potions. Usable as a battlefield recovery draft, weak but a decent choice when no true potions exist. Since I'd tried higher prices before and no one bit, copper coins being precious and many preferring to just tough it out without a real potion. The listing is snapped up at once for 50 copper coins, and seeing the good response I keep 50 liters for the territory and list the rest. All of it selling for 500 copper coins. After offloading some excess supplies, my copper coins reach 4,270. The resources for upgrading the territory are nearly enough, but it's better to pump out troops first, since more troops means faster development, and a territory upgraded without the military to back it is just an empty shell. I spent 4,100 copper coins to summon 41 Azure Orchid Guard, the panel showing the barracks at SSS potential. 1 hero, 90 of 100 troops filled, almost capped, so the next step is preparing to upgrade the territory. I dismiss the soldiers and open the territory panel. Wu Village now 200 meters square with a population of 115, 1 hero, 90 soldiers. Spiritual chi at 110. My buildings now spanning the mansion, fence, farmhouses, blacksmith shop, tailor shop, lumber mill, quarry, spirit spring and farmland, with copper coins at 170 after the spree. Wood near 1900. Stone past 1100 and the prosperity index up to 67. By tomorrow, I'll have the materials to upgrade. The maid brings dinner, roasted meat as ever, with 2 apples and a slice of watermelon. The green apple E rank is a fruit tree mutated by heaven and earth spiritual chi, eating it granting experience and improved physique. The first bite strongest, long-term eating slowly raising potential. The same true of the watermelon. The maid is a young girl the village chief picked to handle my meals in daily life. Since with the territory larger and the population grown, I no longer eat from the communal pot. I finish the roasted meat and bite the apple, sweet and tart, the system handing me 15 experience and a slight physique gain. Then nothing after a few more bites, just the first time bonus. And the watermelon gives me 20 experience and another physique bump. There are even seeds inside both watermelon and green apple, which I'll have the villagers plant in the farmland, watered by the spirit spring to grow fast. Without proper seeds, the farmland sat idle, though daily hunting has kept food off my worry list. But as the population climbs, the nearby game will thin, so farming has to be taken seriously or we'll starve. I've been selling the hunted meat because it spoils in days and food prices are high enough that selling builds wealth fast, which fuels development. After dinner, I return to my room, sit cross-legged on the big bed, and run the basic cultivation method, soon sensing tiny Noki specks of light surging toward me, the legendary heaven and earth spiritual chi, and steeped in its embrace I feel like I'm soaking in a hot spring, indescribably comfortable. The noise outside pulls my eyes open, and the panel shows it's already the next morning, time flown, and though I never slept a wink, my spirit is excellent. Better than any rest. It seems I'm a grinder for life now. I walk out of the mansion and summon today's territory citizens, 10 appearing at once, and this time 1 comes up D-rank potential while the rest are F. My eyes land on an elegantly dressed old man. The panel names him Zhang Song, D-rank potential, profession merchant, the note calling him once an obscure great merchant from another dimension, able to communicate with the trading hall and skilled in all manner of commerce. He bows and greets me as his lord, and I wave him up and ask whether he can really work the trading hall, and he confirms that under my authorization he can trade there on my behalf. My eyes light up, because as the daily hall has grown, hand-listing every item myself has turned into a chore, so I name him Minister of Commerce for the territory, entrusting all buying and selling to him, and he obeys at once. I assign him assistance and set him to clearing useless items while collecting things the territory needs, and I build 2 more warehouses to store the supplies. I have Li Bugui organize the citizens' work and hand him the green apple and watermelon seeds, telling him to plant them in a plot of farmland, then head out hunting with the warriors. Over the past few days, we've explored a 30-kilometer radius and found no threats beyond that goblin tribe, still splitting into small squads to range. Today's warriors double yesterday's count. The search faster for it. I'll need to raise mounts eventually, where the growing distances will eat more and more time on the road. The kills climb, a wild boar at rank 5, a stone golem at rank 6, an ogre at rank 7, the monster's fiercer the deeper we push, and a flash of white light carries me to rank 7 before I even notice. Then a regional announcement crowns Lord Bloody Queen II to capture an alien territory, rewarded 2 silver treasure chests. On the ruins of a goblin camp, a beautiful little girl is sulking, complaining that the system is stingy, that friendly merchant got a golden treasure chest while she gets only silver, griping that these wicked goblins nearly drained all the energy from her vampire units. Anyone watching would be floored, because the famous Bloody Queen is in truth a little girl who, having drawn a C-rank vampire barracks at the start, renamed herself Bloody Queen. Vampires carry an undying trait, but every revival burns blood energy, and they perish once it's gone, recovering that energy painfully slowly. I just killed a wild monster when I caught the announcement, and I can't help feeling stirred that someone else has captured an alien territory, that everyone's developing fast. Another ogre falls at rank 7, and there's likely an ogre territory nearby. Soon we hit another ogre, and this time I order the warriors to leave it be and send 2 to tail it. We keep hunting, and 3 hours later the trackers return reporting an ogre camp 20 kilometers ahead with around 200 ogres. Ogres tower over humans, far stronger, thick-skinned and high in defense. Nothing like a frail race such as goblins, and at my current strength even a victory would cost serious casualties. So I note the camp's location to revisit once I've developed further, and change direction to keep grinding. A golden flower snake falls at rank 8, dropping a golden flower snake egg at E rank, hatchable into a pet, but I have no interest in snake pets and casually listed in the trading hall. A demon ape dies at rank 8 and a silver treasure chest appears. Good luck has arrived and I open it to find a Crimson Flame Rain scroll at E rank and an Elementary Administration Mastery at E rank. The scroll releases Crimson Flame Rain over a 500-meter span, hitting for triple damage with a lasting burn, a touch weaker than the D rank Flamestorm but still rare, so I pocket it. The Elementary Administration Mastery is the same skill Lee Bugui already has, and since the territory doesn't need it now, I list it in the trading hall. Then the system announcement rings out again, crowning Lord Andre Loves to drink the 3rd to capture an alien territory, rewarded a single silver treasure chest. So I'm not the only one with opportunity. Plenty of well-developed lords catching up. The channel as lively as ever. Someone wondering whether a territory war is coming since announcements fire every time a territory falls. Someone else reckoning the game's whole theme is conquest. A man boasting his neighbor grows grain while he hoards guns so his neighbor is his granary. A lucky soul who found a wild silver treasure chest. And a dancer named Han Han who ate a bright red fruit and leveled 5 times in a row with a bloodline awakening on top, while someone bitter has nothing at all. Everyone has their own opportunity and I'm not alone, so I close the panel and keep grinding. A wild ox at rank 8, a hyena at rank 9, a poison spider at rank 8, and a flash of white light carries me to rank 8. I think back to that young lady in the channel who leveled 5 times off a single fruit, and feel a stab of envy, because I've toiled for days just to reach rank 8, and even that pace counts as fast among lords. I keep grinding, and in the blink of an eye it's sunset again, so I lead the warriors home. Their ranks now between 6 and 8, the earlier summoned ones higher. Back in the territory I call Zhang Sang over, and have him list the day's harvest. And in short order, nearly everything on the trading hall sells out. My panel reads 6,000 copper coins, finally enough to fill the barracks summoning quota, so I tap summon. The system congratulates me on another hero unit, and I can hardly believe my luck a second time. The panel lays her out as Ran Bai, a hero at rank 1 with SSS potential in the Azure Orchid bloodline, loyalty 100, and her skills mark her as a mage through and through. Top-tier wind element mastery sharpens every wind skill she casts. Wind pressure pins enemy units with crushing force and breaks their movement. Wind wings lets her glide short distances on condensed air, and air bomb compresses wind into explosive charges that burst across a span. Her tornado gathers a storm that hits for 5 times the damage, and her commander's skill lifts the attack, recovery, and morale of any Azure Orchid guard she leads. A magic hero, a commander, and a beauty all at once. The system spoils me rotten. Her gear is nothing like the others either. Leather armor and a staff instead of a saber. Completely unlike Li Hual, who is just a hulking great Azure Orchid guard with a blade. With area skills like hers, she will be a slaughtering tool against monster swarms going forward. And I'm thoroughly pleased, especially with those long legs of hers. Ran Bai bows and greets me as Lord, and I take her small hand and help her up, telling her to skip the formalities. Her face flushes red and she freezes in place. The air gone suddenly awkward, so I let go and turn to inspect the row of soldiers behind her instead. The genes of the Azure Orchid Empire really are something. The men handsome and the women lovely without exception. The mark of a civilization built on cultivation that polished its bloodlines generation after generation, until only the finest traits remained. Looks included. I'd questioned the summoned Azure Orchid Guard before, hoping to pry a cultivation manual or 2 out of their memories, but they carry none from before they were called. And that's a shame. I keep summoning until the barracks are full, and with resources to spare, I tap upgrade on the Lord's Mansion, and in the same breath I rename Wu Village to Hane City. The system tells me the mansion is upgrading. 30 minutes to go. There's nothing to do but wait nearby, since the Lord's Mansion is the cornerstone of the whole territory, the seat of the fire seed, and when it climbs a rank, the territory climbs with it. Half an hour passes and the system congratulates me on reaching territory rank 2. Just as I move to check the panel, a regional announcement crowns Lord Friendly Merchant the first to push his territory to rank 2, awarding a golden treasure chest. Then it announces that the regional territory leaderboard is now open for every lord to explore. On the broadcast again, and a golden chest besides. Some things never change. First place, naturally. I pull up the leaderboard. Hanhei City sits first at a prosperity index of 105, nearly double the second place Bloody Queen's elegant castle at 65, with Andre Loves to Drink's Lafay City third. On down it runs through names like Commerce Under Heaven, Li Pachion, Your Old Father, War Heaven Emperor, Sword God Invincible, Han Han Loves to Dance, and Yo Chion, the note adding that the board settles every 30 days and rewards the top 10 when it does. The regional channel lights up at once. Somebody gawks that the friendly merchant boss has nearly doubled second place, and somebody asks what the prosperity index even is, when his own reads only 19. Somebody explains it's a territory's overall strength score fed by buildings and troops and items, much like the GDP back on Blue Star. And somebody mourns the 2 soldiers he lost to a wolf pack and the 2 points of prosperity that died with them. I close it and open my territory information. The Lord's Mansion now reads rank 2, 20 meters on a side, defense 115, no longer the collapsing thatched hut, but a proper 2-story building. The next upgrade demands an eye-watering pile of stone, wood, iron ore, mithril, space stone, and copper coins. Hanhei City reads rank 2, its scope stretched to 550 meters square, population 135, 2 heroes and 100 soldiers. 50 territory citizens refresh daily now instead of 10. Spiritual chi concentration sits at 220, copper coins at 2,900, prosperity index 105. The dilapidated fences outside have become real wooden walls of stacked logs, the whole place pushed outward by a ring. Things are moving. One golden treasure chest still sits unopened, so I crack it, and out come 3 prizes: a tunnel beast at D rank, a lightning strike scroll at D rank, and a statue of the goddess of luck, the tunneling digger, and an absurdly cost-effective transport unit, which doesn't solve my mount problem, but does solve troop hauling. The lightning strike scroll releases a bolt of devastating damage on use, another D rank trump card for the pile. The statue is the real treasure, a thing condensed from mysterious power that raises the luck of every territory citizen under its influence, while dragging down the luck of enemies. And luck touches everything from breakthroughs on down. I carry it to the square outside the mansion and set it up, a huge statue rising as an instant landmark. Luck for everyone in the territory, and I'm already the luckiest man alive. Next, I walk to the Azure Orchid Guard Barracks and use the Tunnel Beast Barracks too. The panel reads it at D rank potential. Rank 1, 0 of 10 troops, 500 copper coins to summon 1, and notes again the earthworm origin and the transport value, with an upgrade wanting a rank 2 territory plus copper coins, wood, and stone. I summon 1 first. The panel names it Kate's, a Tunnel Beast soldier at rank 1. D rank potential, loyalty 100. It carries shield tunneling that bores a tunnel at blistering speed, bearing that gives it a vast internal cargo space for goods or living passengers, regeneration that knits its wounds fast, sensing that reads the surface while it travels underground, and body control that shrinks or grows its size within a range. Holy crap, it's the size of a subway train. At my command, Kate yawns its huge mouth open and I step inside. The interior soft and even lined with a non-slip layer, and honestly it's comfortable in here, just no windows. A beast this big could carry 200 or 300 soldiers without strain, which means my hunting mobility is about to leap forward. Over the past days of hunting, I kept finding mineral deposits too far from the territory to mine and haul, but with the Tunnel Beast, I can even bore dedicated underground lines, a private subway safe and out of sight. I don't have the resources to upgrade its barracks yet, so that waits for tomorrow, and after dinner I sit cross-legged and cultivate the night through. Early next morning I exhale the turbid chi and end my cultivation. Walk out of the mansion and refresh today's 50 territory citizens. 10 of them E-rank potential this time, and the rest still F. The bump surely owed to the territory upgrade. I gather the troops and we ride the Tunnel Beast out to hunt. The thing so fast we reach yesterday's grounds in no time, and the warriors fan out in small squads while I stay with Ranbai. The kills roll in, a rank 7 stone man dropping a worn shield, a rank 9 minotaur dropping a stone axe, a rank 7 wild ox dropping meat and ox horns. A flash of white light carries me to rank 9. One more and I cross into first tier. Ranbai shoots up fast too, already at rank 3, exactly what you'd expect from a mage. The wasps thicken ahead until a sky-darkening swarm pours over us, a beehive somewhere close, and Ranbai sweeps out wind pressure that drops them in clusters. Then, with too many to pick off by hand, she raises her staff and cuts loose her tornado. Cyan wind tears off the staff and resonates with the energy of heaven and earth into a massive funnel that rips through the swarm. The kill notices chiming without pause. Ran by climbs 2 ranks to 5, that kind of wholesale destruction leaving only a slight pallor on her small face. Magic units really are a slaughtering tool against mobs. The drops pile up. Bee venom and royal jelly. The royal jelly noted as the swarm's reserve food for its king. Dense with nutrition, improving physique over the long term with a weak detox effect besides. Another physique fruit more or less. This continent overflows with opportunity. We push on to the huge beehive itself, the wasps around it thinned by the tornado, and the soldiers loose arrows until the swarm is gone. The colossal bee king falls to a single shot from me, rank 9, dropping copper coins, a red peak sword of bronze grade, and a beehive at E rank. The red peak sword is forged from bee stingers by a great master named Angelus of Furnace City, sharp and venomous and built for assassins, no use to me, so Zhong Sang can list it later. The beehive, though, is a barracks I can stand up back home. I have several warriors clamber into the hive to scoop out royal jelly, and they pull 653 units. Then I choose destroy on the camp foundation. The beehive crumbling into fine sand as a milky orb of energy condenses in the air, and the system hands me a spiritual rhyme. I pocket it and keep hunting until the day is gone, then ride the tunnel beast back to camp. I hand the day's haul to Zhong Sang, who sorts every piece and lists what we don't need on the trading hall. Then I take out the spiritual rhyme and merge it into the fire seed. The system congratulates me on the upgrade, and the panel shifts. Hanhei City is still rank 2, but its population is up to 186. Spiritual Qi concentration at 240. Copper coins at 5,700. Prosperity index 115. The traits all climb to plus 20% across spiritual Qi, citizen recovery, crop growth, and perimeter. The spiritual rhyme really does deliver a clean all-around lift, so from here on, I'll always decompose the territories I capture. With resources in hand, I upgrade the Azure Orchid Guard barracks to rank 2, which lets me summon more unit types, though I'll wait on that until Zhong Sang finishes the trading. Today's 50 citizens refresh and the population swells again. I throw up 5 more farmhouses to bring the total to 10, and upgrade them all to rank 2, the cost trivial. I push the blacksmith shop and tailor shop to rank 2 as well, then call Jiang Mu and Li Gi over to hear how it stands. At rank 2, the blacksmith shop can forge common bronze gear, blades and swords and shields, while the tailor shop can turn out common bronze leather armor, anything fancier needing a learned blueprint. So I open the trading hall hunting for blueprints, and even at this low stage, the sheer mass of human lords means a few usable ones surface. 100 refined knife blueprint, an Empire cavalry light armor set blueprint, a silver moon bow blueprint. They're all silver grade and all brutally expensive, and I'm still broke, so I close it. I tell Jiang Mu and Li Gi to forge bronze gear with everything they've got, and re-equip the soldiers, since the novice sets they're wearing are still trash black iron. I use the beehive I picked up today, the system handing me an E-rank beehive barracks, rank 1, 0 of 500 troops, 40 copper coins per worker bee. The unit is noted as not counting against the territory population, a weak basic B-race fighter that wins through numbers. I'm not short on resources, so I upgrade it straight to rank 2, the cap leaping to 1,500 troops, 5 times the Azure Orchid Guard, truly a swarm that wins by quantity. The Hornets can fly besides, which makes them my anti-air. Flush with money, I throw my hand up to summon a wave, then think better of it and stop, since I'd rather bank the coins for Azure Orchid Guard. After dinner, Zhong Sang has sold most of the day's items, the panel reading 15,250 copper coins, the royal jelly clearly fetching fat margins. I spend 10,000 on 100 Azure Orchid Guard, neat ranks appearing with no hero this time, and wave them off to rest, then summon 100 worker bees. Cheap as they are, my wallet can't bankroll too many at once. The system congratulates me on a hero unit, a Bee King, rank 1. E rank. It carries Bee Needle Rain for area damage up front, Poison Mist that throws a vision-blocking cloud of weak venom, and Bee Swarm Leader to command the swarm in battle, the note explaining that every beehive inevitably nurtures one Bee King. The ordinary worker bee, also E rank, and capped at 2nd tier, carries Bee Needle Stab for armor-piercing poison hits, Bee Needle Arrow that fires its single stinger and regrows it after 5 minutes, and Cluster for tight coordination with its fellows. And these worker bees can run the basic cultivation method too. Every territory citizen can cultivate, no matter the species. I've struck a vein. Even my bees do homework at night. After a moment's thought, I summon 2 more tunnel beasts so we won't be cramming together tomorrow. Then lie down on the big bed the upgrade finally earned me. No more sleeping on bare boards. I open the chat, the usual parade of marvels and complaints scrolling by. Somebody spotted a giant bird and wonders if it was a phoenix, and somebody opened a hero from a silver treasure chest, while half the channel insists heroes barely exist. Somebody hatched a tiger from a pet egg and dreams of riding it, and somebody exploded a recruitment scroll into a mage and got told magic lords are rare and lucky. I sit cross-legged on the bed and cultivate. Early the next morning, my eyes open. I refresh 50 territory citizens, most F rank with a scatter of E, and hand them to Li Bugui to assign. Then I assemble the Great Army, because today I wipe out the ogre camp. A full 200 Azure Orchid Guard under 2 heroes line the square in front of the mansion, the buzzing bee swarm massed on the right. Each worker bee the size of a fist. The Bee King is out front, big as a soccer ball with savage mouth parts and a grim shining tail needle. Every creature here the plus-size version of spiritual Kai-rich world breeds. 2 days of scouting told me the ogres have 3 attacks, since I can't read the panels of creatures that aren't mine, and have to send watchers instead. The first is a glob of poisonous spit that sticks fast and bleeds the target while slowing it. The second, a brute swing of the club for direct damage. The third, a leaping ground slam that ripples out a shockwave of area damage. Tall, slow, thick-hided, and high in defense. It was that intelligence that made me bring the bee swarm along, since I mean to settle this fight at range and take no losses. We reach the ogre camp's edge, the soldiers surrounding it and taking the high ground. I open as always with a meteor fall and follow with Ranbai's tornado, this time careful not to dump all my star power at once the way I did before. Li Hual's Windblade is an area hit too, but its range is small, no strategic weapon. So the bee swarm pours over the camp trailing its mist, roars going up inside while the Azure Orchid Guard fire from the outer ring, the Bee King's fog leaving its own friendly archer's vision untouched. The ogres swing their wolf fang clubs at the worker bees, but the airborne bees are nimble as anything and dodge both club and spit, and between the bees' interference and the mist, the ogres drop fast, the coordination flawless. Then a towering ogre with blood-red skin bursts from a tall building, and the panel names it an ogre chieftain, a hero at rank 11 carrying the Balrog bloodline, and the full power of first tier. It roars and a gout of pungent flame surges up and washes over the swarm, 20 or 30 worker bees dropping in a string of crackling pops. The Bee King hauls the swarm higher while triggering bee needle rain, the worker bees firing their stingers, though the high flame burns off the Bee King's mist. The chieftain's eyes blaze with rage and it leads the surviving ogres in a charge at the Azure Orchid Guard outside, treating the bees as a mere distraction and the warriors as the real foe. But only a short while has passed, and under the swarm's harassment the ogres are sitting ducks, our numbers pressing the advantage until barely 20 of them remain. As the chieftain closes, I fire off a decomposition ray, Li Hual and Ranbi unloading their skills alongside it. Before long, the ogre chieftain folds to the ground, 3 ribbons of white light sinking into me, and the 2 heroes as we all level together. The system congratulates me on killing a rank 11 hero across ranks, doubling experience and rewards, then on my first tier hero kill with 2 golden treasure chests, then on reaching rank 10 and first tier as the first lord there, awarding 5 spiritual rhymes. A regional announcement crowns Lord Friendly Merchant the first to kill an enemy hero across ranks with 2 more golden chests. The regional channel boils over. So Rangoon gushes it's the Friendly Merchant boss again killing across ranks and a hero no less. And Tom without Sen reels that combat power is supposed to multiply tenfold per tier, and asks how it died. A self-styled little fairy begs me to take care of her, and Xion Mok pleads for my secrets. I let them stew. Across ranks against a hero. Not bad at all. The whole region is starting to know my fake name, and not one of them knows it's me, Zhang Wu. The loot resolves into copper coins, a demon flame blade of silver grade, and an ogre bloodline at D rank, the bloodline marked as carrying a thin Balrog ancestry. The rare drops surely down to the doubled reward. That fire breath that gutted my swarm was the Balrog bloodline at work. But the thing's too limited, the flame barely reaching, and the look of it too ugly, so I'll list it later for what its rank can fetch. The demon flame blade I keep for myself, and once it's equipped the blade flows like living fire, full of style. Then I crack the 2 golden chests, the first giving 2 arrow towers and a sword and shield soldier barracks, all at D rank, the second 2 electric towers and 100 refined blade blueprint of silver. Every single piece is useful, my luck talent surely pulling strings again. Every chest opens in my favor. The D-rank barracks I don't need, so it goes to the trading hall, where D-rank barracks are coveted right now, and I sweep the lesser ogre drops into my backpack without a glance. I walk into the camp, stand before the building that mirrors a lord's mansion, and choose destroy outright. The system confirms a rank 2 ogre territory raised, 1 rank above the beehive and home to a first-tier hero, so the harvest should be richer, and indeed 3 white orbs condense into 3 spiritual rhymes at once. Where a fearsome ogre camp stood, there's only fine sand now. The lord functioned thorough to a fault, leaving not even corpses to clear since the ogres were harvested as loot. Seeing it's still early, I send the heroes to group the soldiers for more hunting and trail ran by to leech experience. I open my panel to find I've finally hit rank 10. Child of Stars, Star Bloodline, my 3 skills and luck talent all intact. Half the soldiers already at rank 9 and likely to cross into first tier by morning. The kills keep rolling. A wild ox, an iron arm ape at rank 10, a phantasmal butterfly, the monsters creeping up to rank 10 and the loot improving with them, F-rank barracks and bronze gear starting to drop. A massive dark shape blots out the sun overhead, a colorful ribbon like tail fin trailing behind it, and before I can even open the panel it's gone, the species a mystery. We push onto a slope scattered with glittering things, and I find Sunsetia, an E-rank fruit native to the Sunset Mountains that builds fire element affinity over the long term, so I gather them up. Ahead bounced small red spheres like spherical slimes, the panel naming them fire element spirit monsters at rank 10, evolved from absorbed fire elements. The soldiers loose arrows that pop them into bursts of fire. Good thing we're at range or it'd be a mess. Each death dropping fire element crystals. No gear, but as rank 10 monsters the experience is fat. I scoop fruit from the trees while we grind deeper, the wood's thick with these bouncing things, picking up mint and mushrooms along the way. More bouncers, a rank 10 wild boar until dusk drops without warning and I lead the soldiers home. Back in the territory I build the 4 defense towers, one at each corner. The arrow tower is D rank, a fully automatic tower that hits anything in a 100-meter square for 100 lethality. Holding 500 arrows and regenerating one a minute, no need to post a guard. The electric tower runs much the same, shorter range but a faster rate of fire. Then I take out the spiritual rhymes to fuse with the fire seed, 8 of them gathered today, and the system congratulates me on a massive territory boost. Hanhei City stretches to 1,000 meters square, population 338, 3 heroes and 200 soldiers, 60 citizens refreshable daily. Spiritual chi concentration sits at 400, the walls turn to rock walls, copper coins at 6,742, prosperity index 145, and every trait now reads plus 100%. With daily citizen refresh up another 20%. The spiritual rhyme really is a treasure, so capturing and decomposing territory stays my priority. I open the buildings to be built panel. Rank 2 has unlocked several beyond the old warehouse and farmhouse. A tavern that trades food and information with a chance of drawing wandering heroes to seek refuge. A mission hall that posts tasks for citizens. An altar for praying to the gods. And a school for teaching. The resources are nothing, so I build them all. I hand the day's haul to Jongsang to screen and list. And meanwhile, thanks to all the seeds he's bought, Lee Bugwee has packed the farmland with fruits and vegetables. Though with meat hunted daily, we plant little grain. So I throw up 10 more farmlands and upgrade them to rank 2 for grain, since food is the foundation of any territory, and a growing population will eat the nearby game thin. I give Jang Mu the 100 refined saber blueprint, so we can forge silver weapons now, telling him to recruit hands and prioritize them, though even at full effort the shop can't manage more than 10 blades a day. Step by step. After dinner, Jung Sang has all but cleared the listings. A lot of good things dropped today, and the panel reads over 30,000 copper coins. I keep summoning Azure Orchid Guard to fill the barracks. 10,000 coins for 100 of them. And the system congratulates me on yet another hero unit. Since heroes don't need a barracks slot, I spend 100 more to summon a single extra guard and top off the quota. The hero is Lee Hyo, rank 1, SSS potential, Azure Orchid bloodline, loyalty 100, a defender built like a fortress. He carries top-tier saber and sword mastery and top-tier shield combat mastery. Desperate battle that spikes his combat power when he's cornered. Son of the thick earth that doubles his defense and triples his recovery while he stands on the ground. And commander to lift the attack, defense, recovery, and morale of any Azure Orchid Guard he leads. He greets me as Lord, bulkier even than Li Hual, an iron tower of pressure. And I gesture him up and move to pat his shoulder. Except I can't reach it, so I withdraw my arm and pretend I never tried. Some heroes are too tall to pat. I set Lee Hyo to lead the new Azure Orchid Guard around the territory, then upgrade the Tunnel Beast Barracks to rank 2, which lets me summon up to 50. Since I can't afford a full set, I summoned 27 to add to the 3 I had, making 30. After assigning the troops, I head back to the mansion and take a bath, then browse the trading hall and find 2 functional finds. A public toilet design blueprint and a public bathhouse design blueprint. Both cheap. I buy without hesitation since money isn't the problem, planning to have the tunnel beasts dig the territory's sewers and drainage later. I scroll a long while without spotting any D-rank building blueprints, so I close the hall and open the chat instead, having grown as used to the regional channel as everyone else, since it has no once-a-day limit, like the world channel, and the conversation actually flows. The channel is alive, many lords now in the habit of lying in bed scrolling their panels like phones before the transmigration. The familiar chatterboxes trade complaints about wolf packs and harvests. One fretting whether a beast tide comes once the novice period ends. Another swearing she saw an ogre with its cracked fangs. A merchant hawking weapons. 2 men gripe that F-rank barracks can't even beat a wild ox while everyone keeps using them anyway. I close the panel and cultivate. Early the next morning, I exhale the turbid air, get up, and refresh 60 territory citizens, most still F-rank but the share of E-rank rising, and hand them to Lee Bugwee to assign. After breakfast, I gather the soldiers, set 2 tunnel beasts to excavate the territory's sewers, and 20 to haul Azure Orchid Guard out for exploration and hunting. The rest I put to building an underground transport system out to a 100-kilometer radius, connecting the mineral deposits I'd only marked before for lack of any way to develop them. Now I can raise stations beside the ore and run tunnel beasts to carry miners back and forth, and I require the tunnels dug deep enough that no surface enemy stumbles on them in a future attack, and the lines stay undisturbed. Today's focus is exploration. Mobility transformed. The tunnel beasts able to sense spiritual chi fluctuations and signs of life on the surface. which sharpens our search considerably. I ride in a tunnel beast's inner cabin. Its size shrunk to something like a Blue Star bus since it isn't hauling a crowd. Half an hour later, we surface at yesterday's frontier and step out, a spot a good 100 kilometers from the territory reached in 30 minutes. Far better value than mounts, which carry one rider, demand huge numbers, and suit poorly for transport, though mounts still matter for war, while the tunnel beasts stick to ferrying through relatively safe ground. We push deeper, and a rank 11 Boorman falls, dropping copper coins, a wolf fang club of bronze, and a Boorman warrior recruitment scroll at E rank, something new. I've no need for E rank troops myself, but other lords will hunger for them, since most are still stuck on F rank barracks, whose soldiers will eventually cap at rank 19 and can't break into second tier. As F rank phases out, E rank becomes the obvious choice. Past 100 kilometers, the monsters above rank 10 thicken, and the drops sharpen, more Boormen falling with their recruitment scrolls, a rank 12 Foxman dropping a Foxman Archer recruitment scroll. A bronze treasure chest yields copper ore, coins, and an explosive arrow skill book at E rank, which I learn on the spot. I test it, and with the star power in me, the explosive arrow hits hard enough to feel like a rocket launcher, and it feels great. We find a wide patch of lantern grass, an E-rank plant that glows at night and faintly raises a territory's spiritual chi, so I have the soldiers harvest it as energy-saving streetlights. They gather 232 stalks and 435 seeds, enough to make it a signature plant back home. Then we discover a Boorman camp of 200 or 300, most of them broken into first tier and stronger than the old ogre camp. I mark it to assault tomorrow, since nearly half my Azure Orchid Guard have crossed first tier with more to follow, and could take a camp this size. We skirt the camp and crest a hill onto a vast silver lake the system names Starfall Lake. Blue bouncing things along its shore identical to the fire ones, but water-typed. Water element spirit monsters at rank 11. We drop them in a rain of arrows for water element crystals, another elemental crystal useless now but surely valuable later. The tunnel beasts can't travel water, so we change direction. It strikes me as strange that for all this distance I've never seen another Blue Star player's territory, whether I'm the exception or the rule. Because if it's the rule, then this continent is simply too vast for so many players dropped so far apart. While grinding, I even stumble on a silver treasure chest. My luck unparalleled, and it gives 3 sword and shield soldier class change books at E rank, which let a unit swap to an E rank sword and shield, soldier capped at 2nd tier. They're decent enough that I toss them to the trading hall, since unlike me with my Child of Stars class from the start, many lords still have no class at all, and the gap between having one and not is enormous, especially for killing monsters. A day vanishes and I lead the troops back, the hall much larger now that transport has multiplied our reach, half the Azure Orchid Guard at rank 10, me at rank 11, a few warriors even at 12. The channel shows most lords still around rank 7, and the well-developed ones nearing 10. The warriors compile the day's intelligence. 3 alien camps inside a 150-kilometer radius, Boorman, Foxman, and another goblin camp. None too strong, all of them targets for tomorrow. I toss the harvest to Jung Sung, upgrade the remaining buildings to rank 2, build 10 more farmhouses and upgrade those, and summon worker bees up to 500. The unit cheap but so numerous it'll take another day or 2 to max. Summoning cost scales with potential, and without my price reduction trait filling the SSS Azure Orchid Guard alone would cost an astronomical sum. I lie on the big bed and open the regional channel. Andre loves to drink, celebrates his own rank 2 territory, while his barracks lag at rank 1. Pa Jun spectating from the front row asking what rank 2 unlocked. Andre reports that the mission hall and school are near useless when all your citizens are your own, and you can just assign work directly, though the tavern is good for its chance at wild heroes. A little fairy mourns she's never even seen a hero, and a big saber handle describes the dozen units in Ogre Hero's Great Collapse erased. So the developed lords have begun reaching rank 2 territories too, though without Mithril and Space Stone none can hit rank 3. My real edge stays my military strength and my early resource lead, since SSS units face no upgrade ceiling and the territory rank only caps the barracks level and troop count, not the unit's own potential. As long as I hold military superiority I stay ahead, the gap only widening for anyone who can't trade up to better barracks. Then the friend chat lights with Li Rinrin asking whether little Wu needs anything, since her big sister is a rich woman now. I tell her I'm fine, then ask if she has any Mithril or Space Stone, because that's exactly what I'm short on. She notes I'm doing well to already sit at rank 2, says she has no Space Stone but plenty of Mithril, and just like that she sends me 50 units of Mithril. I'm floored, since the stuff is clearly precious, not even surfacing in the trading hall yet, and here Sister Renner already hands it over, 1 Space Stone away from my rank 3 upgrade. I ask what I could possibly give her in return and what she lacks, but she says there's a Mithril mine near her territory that simply isn't producing much yet, so she's not hurting. So I joke that I'll just pledge myself to her in marriage instead, and she falls silent. In the end I send her fruit, the beauty and skincare kind, since the attribute boost is small but no girl turns down looking lovelier, and I owe her 1 to repay later. Then I cultivate and turn in. Early the next morning I finish cultivating, refresh 60 citizens for Li Bugui, and gather the whole army to hit the first target, the Boorman camp. The tunnel beasts burrow up near the camp, Azure Orchid Guard pouring out of their gaping maws with the bee swarm behind. Under 4 heroes, they snap into formation and attack, the fighting left entirely to the heroes now, since each carries leadership skills and I no longer micromanage combat. The kills roll, Boorman at rank 11 and 12, and 13 falling, until a staff-wielding rank 14 Boorman priest drops and ends the battle. He's a hero who casts several spells, the Hellfire Summon especially fierce, though Li Hual caught it on his shield and took only minor hurt eased by a healing fruit. Not one Azure Orchid Guard died under the hero's care, though the bee swarm lost 35 worker bees to Boorman attacks, an acceptable cost. Bees grow back, soldiers don't. The loot gives copper coins, a priest class change book at D rank, and fire element crystals. A D rank class like priest, a blend of mage and cleric that casts offense and healing both while mastering neither, I decide to send to Li Rinrin, since it means little to me but plenty to her. I wonder, mischievously, whether a class change book dropped by a Boorman might tweak her physique, and I send it off and walk on toward the camp to destroy it, the system handing me 5 spiritual rhymes. The friend chat flashes, Li Rinrin thanking me for the class change book and asking how I landed such an item, and I tell her I just happened to pull it off a Boorman hero. She goes quiet again. I collect the resources and march on the goblin camp. A rank 14 goblin chieftain hero falling there to drop copper coins, a berserker class change scroll at E rank, and a goblin thrall soldier barracks at E rank. The class scroll is useless to me and bound for the trading hall, since this kind of trash class is only fought over by the channel crowd, and I'm getting cocky again. The barracks I'll stand up at home, since some cheap cannon fodder to screen the Azure Orchid Guard would serve well. They're a different race, so no matter how many die I feel nothing. And even if they don't soak up fire, they can still gather the spoils off the field. With my SSS troops at full capacity, the only way to add combat power now is new barracks anyway. I destroy the camp for 4 more spiritual rhymes, rest the warriors a moment, then turn for the Foxman camp. The Foxmen keep dropping their archer recruitment scrolls until a rank 15 Foxman shaman hero falls. That hero drops copper coins, a priest recruitment scroll at D rank, and wood attribute crystals. Since my territory happens to lack a healing profession, I use it, summoning Kalia, a priest at D rank potential carrying healing blessing to restore health and mend wounds, courage blessing to lift a target's attack and recovery across the span, and light of purity to strip curses and purge toxins. I walk to the camp and destroy it for 6 spiritual rhymes, then collect the spoils and prepare to pull out, since it's already afternoon and I want the soldiers fully rested, many of them wounded and now with a priest to heal them. I send them back early to recover. 3 alien territories raised in a day. A rich haul. 253 Foxman Archer recruitment scrolls alone, and since I'm not short on resources I use them myself, the archer's handy for guarding the territory. A charming crowd of 253 Foxman Archers appears, their figures flawless, no worse than Li Rinnin's elf archers, so I finally caught up to her. I wipe the drool from my mouth and build 20 more rank 2 farmhouses in a separate quarter for the Foxman Archers to rest, since they came from scrolls rather than a barracks, and need housing. Of course the basic cultivation method works on them too, so I'll set them to the territory's daily defense, while other troops fight outside, and their cultivation will keep their ranks from falling behind despite the limited grinding. I gathered the 15 spiritual rhymes from today and fused them all at once, the system congratulating me on a great improvement. Hanhei City stretches to 1,750 meters square. Population 585, 4 heroes and 300 soldiers, 100 citizens refreshable daily. Spiritual chi concentration reads 700. The walls now Green Rock City walls. Copper coins at 33,554. Prosperity index 217. The base traits now run plus 250% across the board, with daily refresh up 100%, and a brand new second trait, a place of spiritual chi convergence, lifts every citizen's potential to a minimum of E rank and sharply raises breakthrough odds. No more F rank citizens in the territory ever again. I take out the Goblin Barracks and use it. The Goblin Thrall Soldier reading E rank, 0 of 1,000 troops, 20 copper coins each. The cheapest Goblin unit, pure cannon fodder, and I upgrade it to rank 2 for a cap of 3,000. I realize I'd badly underestimated this unit, because 3,000 goblins might overwhelm even my fully staffed Azure Orchid Guard. Better still, with the tunnel beasts I can ride this whole green tide to war on the subway, slow legs and all. Since fusing the Star Corps abolished my population limit, while other lords stay capped, a rank 2 territory holding only 1,000, this human wave tactic is mine alone. My current money covers only half a summon, but the day's spoils haven't been listed, so I hand them to Zhang Sang to filter and sell. Afterward, the panel reads 65,432 copper coins, enough, so I summon 3,000 Goblin Thrall soldiers blooming into a vast green expanse. With this many troops, I set out tomorrow. Let the other lords keep counting their 2 soldiers. Early the next morning, I wake from cultivation and refresh. 100 citizens, most E rank now with a few D rank. The territory trait plainly working and even the earlier summoned citizens broken through to E. I assemble the army and set out, still in small teams but mixing goblins with Azure Orchid Guard. The goblins' role is plain, charge into any danger and savage the enemy, leaving them half dead for the guard to finish. A wholly selfless posture and entirely my orders. Goblins don't need experience to rank up, so I leave it all for the Azure Orchid Guard. And since the goblins are cheap and consumable, there's no sense wasting levels on them. With the goblins, the hunting range widens steadily and the resource flow surges, and so 10 odd days pass. Every Azure Orchid Guard now second tier and me at rank 23. This morning, the Azure Orchid Guard report a large gnoll camp of about 2,000 discovered 300 kilometers southwest, the gnolls averaging around rank 18 with some at second tier. They're a race where everyone is a soldier, fierce and brutal and skilled in team combat. Their overall strength similar to my territories. There's no profit in a head-on clash, so better to wear them down, and I order the army to encircle and kill the venturing gnolls in small teams. Food runs tight in their tribe, since as a beastman branch the gnolls live by hunting and store little. Every so often they send a caravan of furs and materials 300 kilometers south to a human territory to trade for grain, and by my reckoning that caravan should be returning about now. Sharpclaw is a squad leader of a gnoll hunting party, leading 20, and at dusk he leads them back laden with several huge wild boars. Everyone excited, though for some reason the prey has thinned the last 2 days. As they walk, Sharpclaw catches the heavy scent of blood, his own kin's blood. Rushing forward, he finds a heap of gnoll corpses and broken wagons, the caravan that went out, and in the distance several huge depressions in the ground but nothing more, only the lingering scent of humans. He returns to the tribe and reports to the great chieftain, a rank 2 hero and the tribe's supreme leader, who frowns deeply at the word humans. He wonders if the humans from Sayre City to the south have turned treacherous, though that seems unlikely after years of trouble-free trade, or whether these are strange humans, since many hunting squads sent out today never returned either. Late that night, in the woods near the gnoll tribe, a tunnel beast surfaces and ran by and I step out. I tell her to begin, and she nods and raises her staff, azure energy gathering over the tribe while the gnolls sleep and only a few sentries watch the crude walls. One sentry mutters that it's cold tonight, another that the wind is picking up, and before either can cry the alarm, a massive tornado tears through more than half the tribe. Seeing it land, I signal ran by to retreat, the two of us slipping into the tunnel beast and diving underground as the tunnel collapses behind us with a muffled thud. The tornado is a trump card that drains her mana, a full day to recover at her speed, another ready tomorrow. So 2 hours later, once the tribe finally quiets, I return on the tunnel beast and drop a massive meteor fall that crashes down like a small nuclear blast, the shockwave racing out as the tunnel beast hauls me deep underground in time to keep me clear of my own move. I surface and study the huge crater, lava flowing slow inside it with a pungent reek, that summon having drained my star power dry, days to recover. Those spiritual fruits back home will speed it. Nearly crippled the tribe, and they still have no idea who's hitting them. Time to retreat. Over the next days, the tunnel beast's mobility and stealth let the Azure Orchid Guard ambush the gnoll hunting squads again and again, and at night or dawn I bring Ran by to hammer the tribe with tornado or meteor fall. In the great chieftain's tent, the smell of blood hangs thick, since he's just torn a foxman made apart with his bare hands. The hunting squads are nearly wiped out, the nightly ambushes leaving the gnolls exhausted in body and mind, and worst of all, these cursed humans ride an insect that burrows underground, fast and silent, sometimes losing a volley outside the walls and fleeing before the warriors can give chase, then reappearing the moment those warriors return. Round and round, not a single human killed. The tribe's loss is heavy, the great chieftain growing more violent and still unable to find the human camp, which is either well hidden or very far. His scouts turn up nothing. Today's tally leaves fewer than 1,000 warriors, more than half lost without touching a hair on the enemy, and if the camp stays hidden he'll have to migrate or be ground to death. Inside my mansion I read the intelligence. The gnoll tribe down under 1,000, harried into never sleeping a peaceful night, their condition wretched. Another 3 days and only 800 remain, the human camp still unfound, and the great chieftain prepares to migrate 500 kilometers south to a gnoll city of over 100,000, where they'll become vassals, but at least keep their lives. He orders his clansmen to pack, strong warriors on the perimeter, and the old and weak and women and children in the middle. Watching the migration, I don't order a frontal assault, but keep using the tunnel beast's mobility to strike from every side, a road stained red with gnoll blood. 2 days later, my army launches a general offensive, the tribe at its wit's end, the war ending with the great chieftain's fall. The system congratulates me on killing the rank 23 gnoll great chieftain hero, dropping silver coins, a gnoll hunting squad barracks at D rank, and a priest class change book at D rank. After I destroy the totem pole in his hand, the system confirms the rank 2 gnoll tribe territory raised, handing me 11 spiritual rhymes. The war ran over a week, and in that lopsided fight the Azure Orchid Guard took almost no losses, so I clean the battlefield and lead the army home. The territory has changed drastically. The walls turned to obsidian walls of far greater defense, 60 defense towers standing at intervals, most of them E-grade. The inner city rows of buildings look like a villa district from Blue Star, a small stream from the Spirit Spring gurgling through farmland brimming with life. With the Goblin Army, Hanhei City's hunting range has widened and the harvest swollen, every building upgraded to rank 2, the barracks at full summoning capacity, though I build no new barracks content with the Goblin and Azure Orchid guard pairing until I meet something higher. As citizen potential climbs, several with forging and sewing mastery appear, and I assign them to the blacksmith and tailor shops, then spend a large sum on silver tier blueprints. Now the Azure Orchid Guard all wear silver gear, which with their second tier strength leaves them worlds apart from half a month ago. With the newbie protection period drawing to a close, I begin buying defense towers in bulk to harden the territory. And by today the defenses have taken shape, ready, I judge, for whatever comes after the shield falls. Then a system announcement rings out, congratulating every lord on surviving the Star Rime continent, and warning that the newbie protection period ends in 3 days, at which point an assessment begins, rewards and punishments dealt by rank. Every lord will be teleported to an assessment space for rounds of defensive battles. Each round survived, raising the evaluation 1 rank. The space of virtual world where all losses restore once it ends. The ranks run from SSS down through SSS, A, B, C, D, E, and F, with an E rank lord losing 40% of his territory's spiritual chi concentration, and an F rank losing 80%. Spiritual chi is the foundation of a territory, the announcement stresses, and too low a concentration cripples everything, even its luck, while rewards scale with evaluation, left for each lord to discover. The lord's assessment is coming, no slacking anywhere apparently, so even a paradise comes with a final exam. The regional channel buzzes. Somebody notes the shield will be gone and wishes everyone luck. And somebody asks what spiritual chi concentration actually affects. Somebody else explains it affects everything. That territories are founded on spiritual chi to begin with, and the fire seed itself runs on it. That if it hits 0, you can't even open the Lord's panel and people will die. Somebody begs to buy any item that raises it at a high price, and somebody else just tells them all to stop overthinking and build defense towers. The panic about towers is universal. One lord laments his 3 F-rank era towers won't cover a single wall. Another brags about a dozen F-rank towers but worries over his thin 200 troops. A third suspects someone is camping and sniping every D-rank tower the instant it lists. That sniper is very likely Zhong Sang, since at this stage every lord is buried in work and only he watches the trading hall around the clock. The friend chat lights with Joe Rai asking how my preparations are going and whether I need help, and I tell him development's fine and ask if he's short on anything. He says he sniped a few defense towers yesterday, so he's set. That his luck ran good this time. One of his soldiers promoted to a hero with a skill that boosts overall defense. Perfect for the assessment. I congratulate him, and he tells me to chat more often since solo play is dull, and plenty in the classmate group keep mentioning me, asking again if I'll join. Again I beg off as no talker, and he calls me a closet pervert, and I have nothing to say to that. After a bit with Li Rinrin, I open the trading hall. Every defense tower bought up and gone. Even some barracks sold out, F-rank ones snapped up by lords who can't land anything better. So I buy recovery potions for myself and my heroes, while the warriors make do with spirit springs and spiritual fruits. Then close the panel and cultivate. These days of fighting have carried me to rank 27, the Azure Orchid Guard averaging rank 25, while almost no other Lord's soldiers have crossed into second tier, even the top lords managing only a few individuals. Some forces haven't even reached first tier, the pleasure seekers who never bothered to develop. Early the next morning I finish cultivating and refresh the day's citizens, then split the troops into squads to grind, leading a squad of goblins myself, since strength and rank always matter and I want 2 more levels before the assessment. A 3rd tier breakthrough better still. I refresh the trading hall now and then to instantly buy any tower I see. In the blink of an eye, 3 days pass, and early in the morning I get out of bed, though it isn't really getting up since I cultivated all night sitting cross-legged. Today the newbie protection period ends, and I open my panel. Hanhei City reads rank 2, its scope blown out to 3,250 meters square, population 6,559, 4 heroes and 3,603 soldiers, 200 citizens refreshable daily. Spiritual chi concentration sits at 1500, the walls obsidian, copper coins at 154,453, prosperity index 672. The base traits now read plus 650% across spiritual chi, recovery, crops, and perimeter, with daily refresh up 300%. The second trait, a land of gathering spiritual chi, lifts every citizen to a minimum of E-rank potential with sharply higher breakthrough odds. I walk out of the mansion, summon the day's citizens, and call Li Bugui over with the order that nobody leaves today, since most citizens usually ride the subway out to mine between resource points, but with the assessment here it's safer they stay inside. After breakfast I assign the defensive tasks. The Azure Orchid Guard, Foxman archers, and Goblin Thrall soldiers spread along the walls. The Bee Swarm massed nearby to support, the tunnel beasts underground to guard against anything attacking from below. The walls are piled high with stones the citizens hauled up yesterday to drop on approaching enemies, barrels of fire oil that Zhang Sang bought from the trading hall standing ready beside them. It's their first siege, and the citizens are plainly terrified, having never as non-combatants seen such a thing. So I comfort them and send them to hide inside the farmhouses, since non-combat professions can't offer much, and the farmhouses at least shelter them from the crossfire. The system congratulates every lord on passing the newbie period, and announces that the assessment begins now, with teleportation starting in 1 minute. When the minute runs out, the shield around the territory floods with white light, and after the flash, my citizens and I open our eyes on a scene no different from before. Except the sky has gone a murky gray. The system warns me the first wave is nearly here and tells me to ready myself. Standing on the city wall, I look straight ahead, and with a flash of light, a wave of goblins forms not far from the territory. 500 of them, average rank 8, only a scattered few broken into first tier. Their leader brandishes a club, and the whole lot charge the gate on their stubby legs. And the moment they cross into range, my archers loose, and before long not one goblin is left standing. My mouth twitches. That was it? I figure most lords can hold the first wave at this stage, the ones who haven't simply given up. The system congratulates me on clearing the first stage with a black iron treasure chest, and gives me half an hour to adjust before the second wave. Killing here earns no experience, only a chest at the end, so it's all about endurance. Half an hour later, the ogres come. Again, over 500 of them. Average rank 9, no heroes. And again, they fall fast and clean. A bronze treasure chest for the trouble. The third wave is 500 boarmen, half of them already first tier and led by a hero, but it hardly registers and a silver treasure chest drops. I crack it without ceremony and pull 45 iron ore, 12 mithril, and an E-rank spearman barracks manual that I'll find little use for. The fourth wave is 500 minotaurs, everyone broken into first tier, led by a tall second tier minotaur hero, but he's melee and no real threat, and once my arrow towers riddle him with holes, the battle ends and a golden treasure chest drops. Finally, something worth opening. At this stage, only I crack golden chests while everyone else tops out at silver, so I tear it open and find 143 copper ore, 32 mithril, and 5 space stones. A space stone at last. Exactly what I needed to push the territory to rank 3 once the assessment closes. By now, most lords have washed out of their own trial spaces, the bulk of them landing a D-rank evaluation and a silver chest. Only a handful of well-built lords surviving this far to earn gold and their first space stones, though most are still short on mithril for the upgrade. A trickle of mithril has even begun surfacing in the trading hall. The fifth wave is 800 ogres, all first tier. Charging behind 2 second-tier Azure Orchid Guard could grind them down alone, and before long, it's over. Only 3 of us remain in the assessment now. Me, Bloody Queen, and Andre Loves to Drink, and the other 2 are bleeding badly. Over half their force is gone, kept alive only by their walls and towers. They won't see the far side of the next stage. A platinum treasure chest drops, my first, and inside are 12 silver coins, 3 space stones, and a C-rank Minotaur Berserker barracks. A frontline race built to hold the line while my Azure Orchid Guard deal damage from behind. The barracks won't build until the assessment ends and I'm out, and the 12 silver coins matter too, since on the Star Rime continent the rate runs 10,000 to 1, 10,000 copper coins to 1 silver coin, 10,000 silver to 1 gold, and up the ladder. In Bloody Queen's space, a little girl stares blankly at a green orb of light, a C-rank tree and guard manual, a defensive unit through and through, and defending without attacking simply isn't her style. Andre Loves to Drink draws a C-rank Holy Light Priest barracks, and the picture of a burly man marching a column of dainty priests into battle is enough to make him shudder. In my space, the 6th wave lands half an hour later, a full 1,000 orcs around rank 18 with a few broken into second tier, led by a warrior hero and a priest hero, a force not to be dismissed. Luckily, only half of them are ranged, so my losses stay light, a few goblins gone and a handful of Azure Orchid Guard lightly cut, nothing that dents my combat power. As the last hero falls, the system hands me a diamond treasure chest, and I tear into it to find a single intermediate cultivation technique, except a single one is a windfall, since every citizen in the territory can cultivate it. Half an hour on, the 7th wave is roughly 1,300 short gnomes at similar ranks, but rolled out in front of them are rows of catapults and repeating crossbows, and 2 airships float in the sky. Now they've brought siege engines. Years of reading novels taught me gnome technology is always nasty, and I don't want to find out what those airships drop if they reach my walls, so I send the Bee King and the swarm up to meet them. Then the siege engines roll forward and open fire, and their range outreaches every defense tower I own, boulders and giant bolts hammering the wall. This can't go on. I pull the goblins and Azure Orchid Guard back off the wall, the tunnel beasts already waiting below to swallow them and haul them underground, because gnomes are weak up close, and I mean to settle this at knife range. Before long, the tunnel beasts surface right behind the gnome line and spill my army into their rear, and the gnomes scramble, their flimsy sword and shield soldiers stepping up to block while the repeating crossbows wheel around to fire. But my 3 heroes lead the charge and cut through the weak front line in an instant. the goblins and Azure Orchid Guard pouring in behind, and the crossbows never get a shot off before the whole gnome force scatters and my Hanhei City troops run them down. Siege weapons like the repeating crossbow hit brutally hard, but they take ages to set up, and longer still to turn, so by the time the airship drifts over the territory, the gnomes aboard are already dead. Everyone's ranks are low right now, and most racial edges haven't matured, so a clear late-game race like the gnomes starts at a disadvantage, the reverse of the orcs who dominate early. The system clears stage 7 and gives me 2 more diamond treasure chests, which I bank, since none of this loot can be used until the assessment ends. By then I'll bathe, change clothes, and burn incense before I open the lot. Racial suppression meant that aside from the few troops the first siege volley caught, the wave cost me nothing, just a couple of fresh craters in the wall and 20 or 30 bodies, all within tolerance. I send the soldiers to rest. The 8th wave is around 1,500 Boermen, ranks high, the lowest above 18 and half of them second tier, 2 second tier heroes among them, and mercifully no ranged units. But these Boermen ride giant boars, which makes them cavalry. The panel reads them as boar riders, hostile, so the finer details stay hidden. Their strength runs above mine, since my Azure Orchid Guard are second tier, but only 300 strong, though I still hold the wall and the towers. Boar-riding boarmen, I think with a jolt. Jumping pigs. I unleash a fully charged meteor fall, and Ranbai follows with a tornado from the flank, the meteor fall draining my star power dry in a single breath. And as the boar riders keep coming, I dump every spell scroll I've hoarded, Flamestorm, Lightning Strike, Crimson Rain, until the whole stockpile is gone and few riders remain. The survivors charge anyway, and the towers open up first, but the boar riders are too fast to take the full lethality, and the ones that reach the wall don't even slow, they leap straight up onto it. My Azure Orchid Guard switch to blades for melee. The goblins surge up to meet them, the Foxman archers fall back, and the bee swarm rises to harry the riders. Thank God for all those scrolls, or this wave would have broken me. The boarmen are big and thick already, and astride those giant boars they rampage across the wall, and even when they're knocked off they just leap back up, a constant headache for my defenders. By the time it ends, the goblins have taken heavy losses, the rest of my troops are mostly fine, and every scroll I owned is spent. Drained to the bone, Ranbai and I gulp recovery potions, and I have to down 5 bottles to refill my star power. That's all money, every drop of it. Stage 8 clears with an extraordinary treasure chest, and I have the troops sweep the field, while I figure surviving one more wave will earn an epic chest, which carries a fat chance at S-rank items. The trouble is I've already burned every trump card I own. Half an hour later, the 9th wave arrives, a single huge figure rising slowly into view, dozens of meters tall. The panel calls it a behemoth cub, a tier 5 unit. A cub, it says. The behemoth is the beast race's ultimate weapon, infinite strength, savage temper, and immune to spell attacks, which makes this fight a butcher's job. Good thing I have high lethality physical towers like the arrow towers, since troops alone would barely scratch the thing. I don't know whether my star power counts as spell damage, so I fire a decomposition ray at it as a test, my strongest single target skill, and a hole opens where it lands. It works. I pour everything in, draining my star power, gulping a potion, then casting decomposition ray again, over and over until the potions run dry and a vast hole gapes in the behemoth's chest, nearly hollowed out. The wound only makes it more vicious. Before long, my goblins are wiped out, and my Azure Orchid Guard with them. The bee swarm surviving but doing nothing to it. And in the end, even the tunnel beasts deploy, using their sheer bulk to tangle the behemoth so the towers behind can keep firing. My 2 melee heroes went down long ago, charging at the very front, beaten to critical before they could dodge. Then, with one last roar of refusal, the behemoth's huge body topples and collapses. I hear the system clear stage 9 with an epic treasure chest, let out a long breath, and sit straight down on the ground. Ranbai and a few Foxman archers stand nearby, a few tunnel beasts farther off, and as a spellcaster, Ranbai never had to step forward in that fight. Most of the territory's buildings lie wrecked, the farmland cratered, the statue of the goddess of luck toppled, and of the towers only 1 repeating crossbow and 3 arrow towers still have any fight in them. This was just a cub. I have no idea what a grown behemoth would be, and with everything spent there's no holding the next wave, so I tap exit. Light flickers, and my team and I return to the real territory, the buildings restored, the fallen soldiers resurrected. It's dusk already, so I leave a guard detail and wave the rest off to rest. The system congratulates me on an SSS rank rating in the novice assessment, first overall, with 2 epic treasure chests and a damaged world origin. Then a world announcement crowns every lord for surviving the newbie period and notes some system functions have unlocked. Details left for us to explore. I open the panel and find Warspace in the system mall waiting there. I open Warspace and a stream of knowledge pours into my head. Warspace is a virtual arena where I spend coins to randomly search for enemies, the matches being territory mirrors of lords at my own level. Every building included, mostly defense towers but no soldiers, since soldiers are offensive and excluded by default. I can choose to solidify some to stand guard in my own mirror, after which they can only defend and never march out to attack. The troops the attacker sends are real, and so are their losses, which will give plenty of attacking lords pause. And a destruction rate above 50% counts as a win worth 5 to 10% of the enemy's resources. The defender's mirror restores itself when the battle ends, but resources lost to a failed defense are real, pulled first from coins, then from materials, and at the worst from dismantled buildings. Each mirror gets a 24-hour shield after it's hit, immune to search or attack while it holds, though I can still launch as many strikes of my own as I like. This war space is a clever thing, and I can already see lords splitting into two camps. Farming lords will pour everything into defense, stacking every tower they can. Warlords will pour everything into troops, seizing resources to fund the next war with the spoils of the last. Warlords will outpace farming lords by a mile, but the risk runs just as high, since troop losses are real, and the lost experience is brutal to claw back. And a single bad battle could gut a lord and leave him crawling for weeks. There's a rank leaderboard under Warspace that sorts lords by their battle records, and the search prioritizes opponents near my own ranking. The system mall is stuffed with towers, equipment, and materials, all priced in silver coins, with a recycling function that buys back gear and materials for silver. But I hunt a long while and find no barracks anywhere. Barracks I still have to earn myself. The mall sells the materials for a rank 3 upgrade too, so plenty of lords will reach rank 3. Though every Warspace opponent stands at the same level, leaving each lord to decide whether to keep climbing or cap out and bully weaklings. The trading hall handles lord-to-lord deals, the system mall handles lord-to-system deals, and the two cover each other's gaps. I wash my hands at the spirit spring, pray a while at the statue of the goddess of luck, and settle into open chests, 2 diamond chests, 1 extraordinary, and 3 epic still unopened. The diamond chests give me 112 mithril, 25 adamantine, and a B-rank dwarf musketeer barracks, then 132 mithril, 25 adamantine, and 12 spiritual rhymes. High-grade hall, exactly what a diamond chest should be, and arranged barracks for territory defense on top. The extraordinary chest gives 3 A-rank mage towers and an A-rank Asol war priest camp. The mage tower a defense tower that casts assorted spells. The Asol war priest camp a strange barracks whose battle clerics carry a little healing but lean mainly on spells that sap an enemy's strength. Now the main event. I bow to the statue, rub my hands, and open all 3 epic chests at once. Dark gold light flaring out. They give me an S-rank Warden Comprehensive Defense System, and an S-rank Equipment Manufacturing Center, and an S-rank Rampaging Bear Squad, then an S-rank Protective Shield, and an S-rank Rampaging Bear Squad, then an S-rank Protective Shield, and an S-rank Wyvern Nest. I'm thrilled. A massive haul, every piece high grade, the territory's strength multiplied many times over. I really am a child of luck. I steady myself, use the intermediate cultivation method first to lift the whole territory's cultivation efficiency another notch, then upgrade the territory since the materials are finally enough. White light wraps the Lord's mansion, and half an hour later the system tells me it's hit rank 3, handing me 12 spiritual rhymes and 1 damaged world origin in the bargain. I feed in the 12 spiritual rhymes for a huge boost, then use the damaged world origin, and the territory transforms. The Lord's Mansion now reads rank 3, 100 meters on a side, defense 800, the next upgrade hungry for silver coins, adamantine, space stone, and spiritual rhymes. Its exterior has become a 5-story castle, watchtowers and defense towers at all 4 corners like a small military base. The territory climbs with the mansion. Hane City reads rank 3, its range blown out to 30,000 meters square, population 6,759. 4 heroes, 3,603 soldiers, 1,000 citizens refreshing daily, obsidian city wall ringing it round, spiritual chi concentration at 4,650, prosperity index, 1,067. The first trait, a blessed land where spiritual chi gathers, lifts every citizen's potential and aptitude to a floor of D rank and sharply raises breakthrough odds. The second trait is the real wonder, a self-contained world, which lets me draw the whole territory into my body to form a territory space, a thing with the potential to grow into a world. So the damaged world origin is what did it. I try pulling the territory inside, and with a low rumble the whole place shrinks down to a beam of light that rushes into me, the system confirming the transformation to a territory space. Just then, deep in the forest, a huge creature stirs from its sleep and wonders aloud what that fluctuation was, whether someone has just become a god, calling it too terrifying that even a place this remote isn't safe, before its vast figure shrinks to a black light and vanishes into the air. I stand curiously studying the great pit where my territory used to be. Is it just gone like that? I open the panel and choose to enter the territory space, and I vanish on the spot, leaving behind a single speck of dust, the space's whole outward appearance. Inside, everything stands untouched, and after a while I get the feel of it. From now on I can carry the territory anywhere, summon citizens out of the space whenever I want, and even open a fixed portal to let citizens come and go freely, while in the outside world only that plain mote of dust marks the spot. far too ordinary for anyone to notice. The function borders on heaven-defying. The world is vast and now I can go anywhere in it. Back on Blue Star, I envied people touring around in RVs. And a territory I carry in my body beats an RV countless times over. One day this territory space may truly become a world, and then I'll be able to wield world power itself. Back inside, I keep inspecting the place, and with resources finally in hand, it's time for a building spree. I raised the 3A rank mage towers and the S rank warden comprehensive defense system, protective shield, and equipment manufacturing center, upgrading them all to rank 3. The mage towers cast spells and outclass my old F rank towers by orders of magnitude. The warden comprehensive defense system is a kind of artificial intelligence that takes over every tower in the territory and coordinates them into one integrated defense, multiplying their efficiency. The protective shield throws up a transparent film when active, draining spiritual chi as it holds, and though I haven't tested its strength, an S-rank item won't be feeble. The equipment manufacturing center is the real prize, a place to feed in blueprints, materials, and labor to mass-produce gear like an assembly line, solving the blacksmith shop's crawling pace at last. Buildings can wait. I sort the barracks first, upgrading the Azure Orchid Guard to rank 3 ahead of the rest, since SSS rank earns top priority. The troop cap doubles, so I can summon more, and the panel still notes my cost for the camp is mysteriously slashed. Next, the Rampaging Bear Squad and the Wyvern Nest, both S rank at rank 3. The Rampaging Bear Squad, a core Beast Empire unit of berserk strength and fearless ferocity that tears enemies apart with its claws. The Wyvern Nest, an advanced Beast Empire unit that flies, breathes dragon breath, and brawls in melee. The two pair perfectly, Wyverns ferrying the Raging Bears. A rough sort of dragon knight, though strictly a wyvern is only a sub-dragon, and worlds beneath a true one. Still, for Blue Star Lords at this stage, it's the ceiling of combat power. Then the Griffin Nest and the Wyvern Nest. The Griffin, an advanced Elf Empire unit that flies as a mount and strikes with lightning. A flawless match for the Azure Orchid Guard, who will now be Griffin Knights. Ever since the Boar Riders ran me down and ulted me in the assessment, I've held a grudge. Now I've got my own cavalry at last. 2 kinds of air cavalry, no less. And I can't stop grinning for a long while. I start cranking out troops, summoning 300 Azure Orchid Guard to fill the barracks quota, no hero this time, then move to fill the Griffin Nest, and the system cheerfully tells me my coin balance is insufficient. I wear the look of a man stuck mid-task, and what exactly is this system congratulating me about? My balance is nearly bare. The S-rank unit price is steep, so that's enough for today, and I'll summon the rest piece by piece as resources pile up. More barracks still want building, but resources are short, so I prioritize the high-potential ones and take the rest slow. It's dark by then, and after dinner I sprawl on the big bed and scroll the chat. The channel marvels that the Friendly Merchant Tycoon's Prosperity Index has skyrocketed to 1,067. Nearly double second place, someone guessing he cleaned up in the assessment. Someone else content with a C rank. Another bragging that his D rank still earned 2 silver chests. And a few half-joking again about gathering 5 friends to raid me. With my current strength, I'd scare myself if I met me. The talk turns to war space. One lord crowing he searched a goblin territory and walked off with 20,000 coins. Another shrugging that the opponents aren't only humans, so he feels no guilt attacking now. A third gripes that goblins bombed him from an airship, though he shot 2 ships down. And one animal of a lord laments he had to burn a city of beautiful flower elves to ash. My neighbor stores grain. Somebody quips. I store guns. The neighbor is my granary. The whole mood has shifted, every lord carrying a new urgency. The lie-flat crowd all but extinct. Exactly what the system wanted when it opened war space. I ask around and find Lee Rinnern and Joe Rye both landed C-rank evaluations. Not bad at all, then sit cross-legged for the Knight's cultivation with the intermediate cultivation method. The territory's denser spiritual chi speeding it noticeably. Next morning I open my door refreshed. Today's 1,000 citizens already arrived. Most D-rank potential with a sliver at C-rank. And the ones summoned earlier have all broken past D-rank. Plenty of the old D-ranks climbing higher. Blessed Land is no empty name, and my development will outrun every same period lord. The gap only widening with time. After breakfast, I solidify the Foxman archers as defense only, since their potential is too low for outside combat and hauling them along just bleeds attrition, whereas left inside, under the towers, their survival improves. Even they've broken past D rank under Blessed Land, which is high-end by other lord standards. The me of today isn't the me of yesterday. Before the assessment, I'd have prized a D rank unit. Now with a fistful of S-rank troops, I'm floating. A D-rank unit, I scoff. Even a dog wouldn't take one. After lurking in the channel, I've got the shape of war space down. The enemies it finds all stand at my rank and span every race. And clearly more than Blue Star people use this system, since some lords have matched human players from other planets. The Starrhine continent is larger than I imagined. The search fee scales with territory rank, and when I tested a rank 3 search costs 2,000 coins per pull. Once an enemy surfaces, I see their territory mirror, and the resources a full 100% destruction would yield. And if they're too strong or too poor to bother with, I just tap exit. No harm to the next search, but no refund either. A destruction rate over 50% wins, 50% plundering 5% of their resources, and 100% plundering 10. The loot tallied across everything they own, buildings and barracks and inventory alike, so emptying your stockpile saves you nothing. The system is airtight, no loophole to pick. Since all matches sit at my rank, many lords now debate capping out, but capping only lets you bully weaklings who hold few resources anyway, while everyone who keeps climbing leaves you behind. A saying is making the rounds in the channel, your resources belong to others. Others' resources are yours. Crude but true. Everything comes back to strength. Let me test the waters. I gather every deployable troop, Foxman archers excluded since solidifying locked them to defense, and tap search, the 2,000 coins still stinging a little. The system matches me an opponent worth up to 10 silver coins, and we teleport before a city of red rock walls about the size of mine. Tall goblins pack shoulder to shoulder along the parapet clutching short spears. A ranged unit, the panel labels Goblin Spearmen, all above first tier with only a few at second. A wide moat fronts the wall, fewer than 10 defense towers behind it, so the enemy's no powerhouse. The tunnel beast surfaces straight up from inside their city carrying my army, the goblins and Azure Orchid Guard spilling out behind. This time is different, since kills here earn no experience and the Azure Orchid Guard no longer need the finishing blows, the goblins serving only to keep them out of harm. The thin defenses crumble fast, towers then garrison, and the system declares a full 100% victory and 10 silver coins. Back home I rest the warriors, the Azure Orchid Guard sipping Spirit Spring to recover, while my lone priest runs ragged, far too few priests for sustained fighting, so I'll need the Asol War Priest camp up soon. The battle cost me 1,000 goblins, the Azure Orchid Guard only lightly scratched, which is nothing. 1,000 goblins resuming for 2 silver coins. The battle paid out 10, a net 8. This warspace business is worth doing. I pushed the Goblin Thrall Soldier Barracks to rank 3, the cheapest of the Goblin line, pure cannon fodder, now potential D under Blessed Land, with the cap at 6,000, and spend the 8 silver to summon 4,000 goblins. Once the warriors are rested, on the offensive again. I tap search and match a Minotaur tribe lord worth up to 11 silver, defenses much like the last. But Minotaurs hit far harder than goblins one-on-one. So I open with a meteor fall, a giant meteor crashing down onto the enemy city, a mushroom cloud rising and a shockwave rolling out. These days, I still have to hunt monsters in reality, both for resources and for levels, since I'm rank 29 now and 2 days from another, and the freshly summoned Azure Orchid Guard need experience too. Ran by follows with a tornado, then a full assault, and the system calls another 100% win and 11 silver. Back home I top off the goblins, the 2 opening strikes leaving losses even lighter than before, and spend 10 silver to summon 10 wyverns. Rest, search, win, 10 silver, search, win, 12 silver. By evening I've reaped another 92 silver and summoned 100 wyverns total. Over 100 silver in a day. Warspace really is awesome, every match a weekling, one day here worth several days of hunting. I order the warriors to rest, return to the mansion, take a long bath. The channel agrees, someone noting the matches go by ranking, so first-timers always draw the tiers weakest, the opponent's only stiffening as your win rate climbs. Another warning that rising rank means stronger attackers coming for you, so defenses need stacking. Lurking the channel pays off again. Starting tomorrow I can't just pump troops, I have to peel off resources for defense towers, since a single defeat would bleed me badly, and luckily the system mall sells towers by the rack. After a while I cultivate for the night. Next morning, citizens refreshed. I send the army out to hunt and take a small team myself, dead set on rank 30 in 2 days. The kills roll, a rank 22 giant python, a rank 25 lizardman, and then a silver treasure chest surfaces, which is the charm of real hunting, the occasional chest. It gives 1 E-rank archer barracks and 2 E-rank fireball scrolls, the archer barracks bound for territory defense later. 500 kilometers south of my territory, a massive city sprawls, caravans of every race streaming along the Bluestone Road before its gates. Inside a great mansion at the city's heart, an old man reports to a black-haired young man confirming that the Wolf-Fang tribe has been ground to ruins, that it had come to trade for grain barely a month ago. The young man orders the investigation team strengthened, and the search widened with the Wolf-Fang tribe at its center. Were I standing there, I'd note the young man looks much like a Korean, black hair and yellow skin, but for the silver light that flickers now and then in his eyes. Seer City is where the Knoll tribe I wiped out used to trade grain, a city of over 100,000, a rank 3 native territory holding even a tier 4 powerhouse, where unlike lords with a system the natives develop slowly, and have no population cap. A normal rank 3 city runs mostly second tier, a rare few at third, and a tier 4 sits at old ancestor level, almost never seen in a rank 3 territory, so its presence marks Seer City as well built. The Star Rime continent is a land of 10,000 races where none has unified anyone. Cities standing alone, the whole continent thrown into chaos by it. Back in Hanhei City I returned from a day's hunting. When the Seer City investigators reach the dead Knoll tribe, my scouts spot them, But since they're human race too and I can't tell friend from foe, I leave them be rather than strike without cause. Over these hunting days I've sent the bee swarm out as scouts, and between them and the wyvern speed I've mapped a wide stretch, several forces of around 1,000 among them. Next morning I assemble the army to sweep those forces, since scattered hunting earns far less than raising settlements. Everyone deploys, the tunnel beasts hauling the goblins in azure orchid guard, the wyverns flying on their own, and my citizens watch the figures vanish into the teleport screen, knowing their lord rides to war again. Most of these citizens run loyalty above 80, never once hungry since coming to Hanhei City, fed well, stocked with goods, and free to cultivate, a thing the continent reserves for nobles and their people. Even Seer City's 100,000 are mostly commoners who can't cultivate, not for lack of techniques, which any noble owns, but for mediocre aptitude that would only waste the city's limited spiritual chi. Commoners still have a ladder, tested young for talent and recruited into the city guard or scouted by noble lords if their aptitude is good. In Hanhei City, dense with spiritual chi and open to all, it's simply heaven. Following Li Bugui, I refresh a few internal affairs talents and set them under him to manage the city, and with resources plenty the people live well. The army reaches the first target fast, a Cat People tried camp of about 1,000 at second tier. The camps we find now tend to run higher rank the more populous they are, especially soldier races like the orcs, since large tribes seize the spiritual Kai-rich ground and the resources to climb. I've also noticed big tribes keep something like a spirit gathering array, a totem pole or a statue, though none has dropped for me yet. Cat people are nimble, but no amount of nimbleness touches a wyvern in the air, and in short order the tribe is wiped out. The system credits my citizens with killing the rank 28 Cat People clan chief hero, then hands me 3 silver coins, 3 bronze declaration of war orders, and a D-rank Cat People assassin barracks. The declaration of war order, the note says, is an item condensed by the god of war, opening a teleport channel that lasts 1 day once I provide an enemy lord's ID or nickname, and it cannot be used against a territory ranked lower than mine. So now lords can strike each other directly. From here on, the chat channel is no safe haven, since any day a declaration of war order could come slapping down, and already the show-offs on the public channel have gone quiet. It reminds me of that joke about 5 friends ganging up on me. At this stage, who'd dare? Don't blame me for bullying kids. The Cat People assassin works as a recon unit, but its rank is too low to bother with, so it'll go to the trading hall, where barracks fetch high prices since the system mall sells none. And with war now a real threat, anything above F rank commands a premium. The system credits me with raising the rank 3 Cat People tribe and 15 spiritual rhymes. On to the next. The second target is a lizardman camp of around 1,500, all broken into second tier. A few at third, the lizardmen huge as earth dragons, swamp dwellers skilled in poison with a crushing bite, which means nothing as long as they can't fly. First, a meteor fall. The system rolls off a dense string of kills, a rank 25 lizardman dropping 3,000 copper coins, an E-rank lizardman warrior recruitment scroll, and an E-rank jungle giant lizard pet egg. Then a rank 34 lizardman dropping 2 silver coins with D-rank versions of both. Recruitment scrolls raise military strength outright, but these run low rank, so they'll go to the trading hall where they'll sell fast. The pet eggs can serve as territory defense or as mounts, but my main units already have mounts, the only one lacking any being the Asal War Priest camp. And a column of clerics riding lizards is an image I'd rather not, so I'll sell those too. A flying mount for the priests can wait. The system credits my citizens with the rank 32 Lizardman Shaman Hero, then hands me 150 silver coins, a silver declaration of war order, and a gold-grade purple Spirit Blade design blueprint, bound for the Equipment Manufacturing Center to mass-produce later. The silver order opens a channel for 7 days instead of 1. It's not only for war, really, but for visiting kin, travel, support, alliances, or trade. A one-time teleport array, except I've no one I want to see. Then Lee Rinneren's face flashes through my mind. What's this? Do I actually want to see her? I pull up the friend list and message her with the order's details. I ask Lee Rinneren if she wants to meet up in person. She fires back asking whether I mean to declare war on her, and I tell her no. Meet up, literally. She passes saying the item must be worth a fortune right now. Better trade it for resources to develop. And that's that. Just then, Li Hual walks up cradling a giant egg pulled from deep within the Lizardman tribe. A green dragon pet egg, S rank, laid by the green dragon Sarkis after she was wounded. The innate deficiency capping it at a green dragon of S-rank potential. An S-rank pet egg. Even crippled at birth, it's still S-rank, since dragons really are a top-tier species, and once it hatches, it's my mount at last. The system credits me with raising the rank 3 Lizardman camp and 24 spiritual rhymes. The battle yields 1,532 E-rank and 8 D-rank scrolls and eggs, which I list. The scrolls priced just above a same rank barracks' summon cost, since they need no barracks bought. The pet eggs higher still for doubling as pet and mount. The channel comes alive, someone gasping at so many scrolls and eggs, and asking if the big boss raided a lizardman nest. Someone calling the D-rank jungle monitor lizard a cool mount and buying on site. Someone else begging me to send a pet egg in exchange for a dance. Resisting the urge, I closed the channel. It's not worth a declaration of war order just to watch somebody dance. Next target, a treant camp. About 500 of them, all at second tier. The treant race a natural wall, and I want some treant drops to harden my defenses. They stand a full 20 meters tall and lash with branches across a massive reach. Their only flaw is slow feet and a fear of fire. So I pull fire oil from the territory space and the wyverns snatch the barrels up and dive, dumping oil then spitting dragon breath to light it. A sea of fire blooms, the treant's branches flailing, useless against oil this viscous. The system rolls off kills, a rank 25 treant guard dropping 3,000 copper coins, an E-rank treant guard recruitment scroll, and 8 wood attribute crystals, and more like it. No barracks among them, but recruitment scrolls are fine, and even E-rank is fine, since one shouldn't be greedy. The treants suit defense perfectly, standing like big trees eating no resources, even greening the place. Rand by seizes the moment and loses another tornado, this one folding into the flames as a fire tornado. And before long, the treant race is wiped out. The system credits my citizens with the rank 31 War Ancient Tree Hero, then hands me 103 silver coins, 5 C-rank Ancient Tree Hearts, and a C-rank Treant Guard Barracks. A barracks at last, so I can summon treants in bulk back home. The system credits me with raising the rank 3 treant camp in 21 spiritual rhymes. Last target, a goblin camp. Old rivals, weak one-on-one but breeding fast and winning by sheer numbers. This one 5,000 strong at second tier. A regional power if not for their feeble individual fighting. They're no threat to me, only a few shamans able to strike from the air, and after the wyverns hammer them the goblins lose their anti-air entirely, and the rest is a one-sided slaughter. I play fire support this time, firing explosive arrows, one shot blowing a wide hole and it feels amazing. Like I'm a terrorist with a rocket launcher hunting the densest clusters. The kills roll, a rank 24 Goblin Thrall Soldier, a rank 25 Hobgoblin, a rank 27 Goblin Shaman, each dropping a couple thousand coins and an E-rank Goblin Recruitment Scroll, too few to matter, all bound for the trading hall. The system credits my citizens with the rank 25 Hobgoblin Hero, then hands me 3 silver coins, an E-rank Goblin Laborer Barracks, and 5 Backpack Expansion Stones, each adding 1 slot, which I use at once. The system credits me with raising the rank 3 Goblin Camp and 16 spiritual rhymes. It's late by the time the field is clean, so I lead the army home, hand the unusable loot to Jung Sang for the trading hall, then take the 500-odd treant guard recruitment scrolls and use them straight off, planting the treants beside the farmlands outside the city. I wonder if they'll give some enemy a nasty surprise. I build the treant guard barracks and upgrade it to rank 3, C rank potential. 400 copper coins a treant, and with today's haul I summon the full quota at once and scatter them around the fields and roads outside the city. I drop the 5 ancient tree hearts into the fire seed for a faster plant growth boost, then fuse the 55 spiritual rhymes from the day, lifting spiritual chi concentration by 550. Resources are flush again, so I fill the griffin nest and wyvern nest in one breath, 3 griffin hero units and 1 wyvern hero unit appearing among them. Now the Azure Orchid Guard all have mounts and no longer ride tunnel beasts. The territory's first proper cavalry at last. I also pick up a Goblin Drudge Barracks today, a cousin of the Goblin Thrall Soldier but with a damage bonus against buildings. So I build it, push it to rank 3, and summon 6,000 goblins, raising my green host to 12,000. Only I can run human wave tactics, since my transformation lifted the population cap that still binds everyone else, and another lord with this barracks could field these goblins only as cannon fodder, never in such numbers. Over the past days I've also bought 20 E-rank defense towers, and between them the Warden Comprehensive Defense System and the Protective Shield. The territory's defense has leapt. With the declaration of war order loose, defense matters more than ever, and I wonder whether anyone teleporting in could even find my territory now that it's a territory space, since failing to find it would be a fine joke. Either way the walls have to hold, because I won't tolerate being robbed even in war space. I walk to the equipment manufacturing center and use the purple spirit blade design blueprint. The blacksmith shop and tailor shop are nearly idle now, only handling repairs and custom orders for citizens, while the center also runs research and development, so I staff it heavily, easy enough with the territory's swollen population throwing up more skilled talents by the day. Our rank 3 center tops out at gold tier gear, and the purple spirit blade falls right in range. Any missing materials bought from the system mall, the line capable of 500 blades a day at full tilt. For the next while, I'll list the blades in the trading hall, since gold tier gear sells dear, and bank the profit to fill the barracks quotas first. The mall recycles equipment too, but its prices run too low, so the trading hall wins. My panel reads empty again, the day's resources spent. But no matter, the snowball rolls again tomorrow. How delightful. I take out the dragon egg and hatch it, the system handing me a young green dragon, S rank, and an 8 deficient hatchling that breathes poison dragon breath. Its power is set to climb as it grows. Cripple or not, it's wyvern-sized, mount enough for me. It has no name yet, and they say a dragon that awakens its true name undergoes a world-shaking change. But in any case, it's a dragon, full of prestige. After dinner, I lie on the big bed and open the channel. The talk runs as ever. Someone whining the friendly merchant tycoon's prosperity index jumped another 100 plus. Someone calling for 6 brave volunteers to raid me for a fortune. The usual circus. So I quietly post the Bronze Declaration of War Orders details. The channel scatters in panic. One lord swearing he only meant to flush out the bad apples. Another mourning the channel is no longer safe. Another shifting gears to ask where the thing farms so he can visit family. After a moment, I speak up. I tell the channel the order's still useful to me, so I won't sell. But I'll share where it farms, that killing enemy hero units of 2nd tier or higher carries a chance to drop one. Weak friends shouldn't try it, since powerful tribes stand behind those heroes, and as strength grows, the item won't stay scarce, so nobody need worry. The channel takes the point, agreeing strength comes first, since meeting family while weak only courts danger. And one lord laments you can't add friends on the world channel, only the regional channel, which means cross-region lords can't trade to support kin. I remember that's true, which makes the Declaration of War Order all the more vital since it searches by real name to teleport directly, a double-edged thing useful for reunions and revenge alike. The Order's arrival has pushed every lord to grow stronger again. Next morning after breakfast, I send the soldiers to grind monsters near the territory. And for the coming days, I'll leave the big tribes alone, only posting scouts to watch them while the rest level up at a distance. With griffins, the Azure Orchid Guard have no use for tunnel beasts, since griffins fly faster, range farther in vision, and find monsters more efficiently, and the griffins need the kills to level 2, so tunnel beasts become the goblins' exclusive ride. Since the transformation, the population refreshes far faster, and to handle the surge, Hanhei City's management has thrown up a wave of infrastructure. Farmhouses, restaurants, public bathhouses, public restrooms, shops. The roads are paved with bluestone slabs, the verges planted with the lantern grass I brought back as streetlights, and as the population climbs, the territory has begun issuing currency, the mission hall now running normally. The territory drops conscription for an employment system, missions posted in the mission hall for coin, jobs advertised with daily wages, mining or patrol or guard duty all paid, the troops included with a cut of the loot after battles, so anyone who needs something simply buys it, and I never have to puzzle over what my troops want. For special gear like armor, they go straight to the blacksmith shop and tailor shop, or order custom work from the mansion shops, while Zheng Sang restocks the system mall now and then by citizen demand. The territory's currency is the system's universal coin, good inside the system and withdrawable, so I just exchange physical copper from the mall for Hanhei City's daily trade. No need for a separate currency that would only choke development later, since the system's coin is the continent's coin and the territory will deal with the outside world soon enough. Shops have opened across the city, much of their stock pulled from the mall by Zheng Sang, the residents buying with coin and selling back what they make or gather, even opening their own stalls, the market lifting everyone's drive until the place hums far livelier than before. Breakfast shops and all, the prosperity index rising with it. These hunting days have carried me to rank 32, more star power in me, my skills hitting harder, a slice of my soldiers broken into 3rd tier, mostly the first Azure Orchid Guard I summoned. With some resources saved, I fill the Rampaging Bear Squad, summoning 300 Raging Bear Warriors, a hero unit among them, pairing every 2 Raging Bears with a Wyvern for the Hanhei City take on Dragon Knights. It's not quite that, since the Raging Bears are melee while the Wyverns fight at both ranges, and when a battle opens, the Wyverns just ferry the Raging Bears in beside the enemy before climbing back to spit fire, which they prefer to brawling anyway. I set up the Asol War Priest camp and push it to rank 3 in one go. A rank potential, 1,000 coins per battle cleric, exclusive clerics of the Otherworld Asol Empire, with decent combat skill, an array of enemy debuffs and healing on top, and with funds in hand I summon all 600 at once. From now on, the territory won't lack healers. The warrior's endurance lifted again. Before I notice it's dinner, so I head back to the mansion where the maids are setting out a spread. Vegetables, meats, fruits, everything you could want. The maid citizens recruited from within and paid like any administrative staff, slim figures in their uniforms. I wonder when I'll use recruitment scrolls for some cat-eared girls as maids, since professional work suits professional hands, and I invite the maids to eat with me, never one for rank or hierarchy, equality being the way. And besides, eating alone is dull while eating with company makes conversation. After dinner, I sprawl on the big bed and scroll the channel, the most relaxing moment of my day, much like coming home to my rented room after work on Blue Star. A lord called War Heaven Emperor needles me, asking if the friendly merchant tycoon's around, telling me to come up for air, isn't lurking all day suffocating, and I lose my composure on the spot, popping in to say hello, just off work, dropping by a bit. Another lord laughs at the big shots finally out, asks if a single-player game all day isn't tiring, asks how far my developments come, and I tell him it's the corporate slave life. Grinding nearly 24 hours a day, my territory just hit rank 3 with everything still waiting to be built. After the channel, I open the trading hall and browse. War space still hot through this stretch. Plenty of lords pouring their energy in since strength makes the resource yield enormous. Scrolling aimlessly, I catch a strange barracks, a militia training camp. No potential, no rank. Unlimited troops. It's trait to train the territory's own citizens into militia, ordinary civilians who become soldiers in war and lend basic defense. It's a unit favored by some soldier race from another time and place. Soldier race meaning not strong individuals, but a nation entirely of soldiers. My eyes light up and I buy it. Lately I've worried over population, not too little but too much. The 1,000 fresh citizens a day pushing me near 20,000. More still counting the combat units. Citizens are a territory's foundation, but the runaway growth presses on me. The territory's resource points unable to feed so much labor, leaving many idle, and yet every citizen eats daily, so I've cleared vast farmland outside. A dense spiritual chi growing crops fast enough to hold off famine for now. Still, the growth brings housing and welfare strains, the equipment manufacturing center absorbing only so many. The city's room to grow shrinking, and eventually I'll have to expand or build anew while defense lags, which is dangerous, since more non-defensive buildings let attackers hit a higher destruction rate and lose me war space matches. I'd thought of pausing the population summon, but that's no answer, since population is the foundation and refreshing more than others is my edge, the rest managing maybe 200 or 300 a day against my 1,000. With the militia training camp it's all different, since I can turn citizens into militia without touching production, while lifting defense. And because war space uses a territory mirror, the defensive militia never actually die, so I can drown enemies in numbers without burying my own people. The same population edge serves offense too, costing no resources to refresh, no real loss even when they fall. But where others spend their people as cannon fodder for gain, I never will, since I owe my citizens better than that. I solidify the militia as defenders and breathe easier, and going forward I'll hunt more equipment blueprints and open more production lines to let citizens create value. Resources too thin right now to throw up a second wall enclosing an outer city. One step at a time. The militia swells my defense greatly, their potential floored at D under Blessed Land, no match for true D rank units but a cut above E rank. And with the cultivation boost, many citizens have already broken into first tier, the earliest summoned even into second. Citizens gain experience through daily work, less than combat units off kills but steady, and combined with nightly cultivation their climb isn't slow. Next morning I finish the day's cultivation, and after breakfast I gather the army. Planning to clear war space today, my main combat troops essentially replenished after the stretch of consolidation, clearing war space the faster path to the resources I'll need for the coming city expansion. Just then a system announcement rings out, congratulating me on first place in the regional territory leaderboard. Rewards distributing, and because my prosperity index so far outstrips other lords, the reward is boosted. An extraordinary treasure chest. Simple but generous. I pull up the leaderboard. Hanhei City first at a prosperity index of 2,367. Bloody Queen's Elegant Castle second at 1,075. Andre Loves to Drink's Lafayette City third at 1,054. Below them run Commerce Under Heaven's Merchant Alliance. Han Han Loves to Dance's Hansing Valley on down to Mad Blade's Muyin City at 10th. My index already doubles second place. This is strength, and I'm delighted. I wash my hands at the Spirit Spring, pray at the statue of the Goddess of Luck, and open the chest. It gives a Moonlit Stone, an A-rank Unicorn Nest, and an A-rank Monster Ranch. The Moonlit Stone, fused into the Fire Seed, lets the territory drink moonlight so creatures cultivate faster at night. Good stuff. So I summon the Fire Seed and fuse it in. The A-rank Unicorn Nest I establish. Rank 1. 1,000 coins a unicorn. Exclusive mounts of some otherworld light church's divine officials, carrying buffs and healing. Fine stamina for long charges. And able to fight in the air, but I haven't the money now, so I'll summon them in a couple of days. One item left. The Monster Ranch, A rank, a building the otherworld Blue Jade Empire used to cultivate troops, absorbing spiritual chi to spawn monsters that feed experience to my troops, and able to mass produce equipment besides. Good item. I establish it and push it straight to rank 3. It now spawns up to 100,000 first-tier ordinary monsters a day. The count tied to the monster's strength and the territory's spiritual chi. Other types possible up to second tier. The species drawn from whatever my citizens kill. The gene data logged automatically with every kill. No monsters can form yet for lack of gene data, so I'll skip war space today and send every troop out to hunt, hunting a cost-effective monster to seed it. Hanhei City's troops break into small teams to hunt, while I mount my green dragon and fly straight for the old Lizardman campground, since the monsters a place spawns match its environment, and that ground clearly suited lizardmen or there'd not have been so many. I remember lizardmen drop recruitment scrolls and pet eggs, the most cost-effective loot going, and treants drop treant guard recruitment scrolls the territory wants too, since treant guards make far cheaper defense towers than the real thing. And if I could, I'd plant trees all over the place. The kills roll. A rank 24 lizardman dropping 2,000 copper coins, an E-rank lizardman warrior recruitment scroll, and an E-rank jungle giant lizard pet egg. Lizardman gene recorded. Next, Treants, a rank 27 Treant guard dropping 2,400 coins, a scroll, and 12 wood attribute crystals. So far, only hero units have dropped barracks for me, and I don't know whether ordinary units can, but if they could, Hanhei City would take off. I keep hunting with no fixed target, treating it as leveling since at my strength even a camp of hundreds is no trouble, provided the monsters can't fly, and the green dragon speed keeps my farming brisk. The system tells me I've risen to rank 33. By dusk, I'm rank 33 with a full haul. Back to the city. The hunting army returns and the monster ranch database fills out. No monster more cost-effective than the lizardmen turned up, so I set the ranch to cultivate second-tier lizardmen, and spiritual chi surges wildly toward it. Proof enough that the cost runs high, only feasible because my territory overflows with it where other lords wouldn't dare. 20,000 second-tier lizardmen spawn, the ranch carrying its own space, and I have the warriors take turns killing inside. The lower ranks first. The kills roll, a rank 24 lizardman dropping a scroll, a rank 22 lizardman dropping a pet egg, and I noticed the ranch monsters drop no coins and only half the items of real ones, though the experience holds. I expected as much, since it's a building built mainly to farm troop experience, and that it drops items at all as a bonus. Contentment brings happiness. After the farming, the later summoned troops like the Violent Bears have all climbed in rank, and I've gathered 10,000 recruitment scrolls and pet eggs, which I list on the trading hall, keeping 200 eggs to give away. From now on, I'll pull a flood of scrolls and eggs daily, a drop in the bucket for me, and with such numbers a human wave tactic would beat even goblins. Except, no, too expensive, since even though scrolls cost me nothing to use, they'd sell for plenty, which is the same as spending my own money, so better to find a few goblin-type barracks instead. Then the system pings. My sold jungle giant lizard pet egg bought by authority over all under heaven for 500 copper coins, again and again, all snapped up by one buyer. Is this person building a giant lizard army? I open the trading hall and find every egg I listed sold out in an instant. The record's all the same name. And I wonder how anyone buys nearly 10,000 eggs that fast. Then I catch something interesting. The eggs I sold have been relisted by someone else. Still authority over all under heaven, but priced at 1,000 copper coins each. What the heck? A scalper? This is way too dark. I work myself ragged for days and end up burning exactly what this guy pockets off my own goods, which means I'm basically his unpaid supplier, and that absolutely will not stand. I call Zhang Seng over and tell him that from now on, whenever authority over all under heaven lists pet eggs, he is to undercut him by 1 copper coin every single time, no matter how low the man drops his price. Zhang Seng nods and leaves, and I open my friend list, because money is sweet but a little human warmth is sweeter, and I send 100 jungle giant lizard pet eggs to Li Rindren to play with. She asks whether Boss Zhang struck it rich again, and I tell her I made a small fortune lately, that the jungle giant lizards grow big enough to haul cargo, and she calls me inhumanly wealthy. I send the other 100 to Zhou Ri, who thanks me at length, though a man's gratitude is worth a lot less to me than a pretty girl's. The recruitment scrolls clear out fast too, since those things are always in demand, and I harvest another fat wave of emotional value off the chat channel and feel wonderful. Money earned, mood lifted, double the gains. If only that little episode with authority over all under heaven hadn't soured the morning. After a pleasant dinner with my little maid, I open my panel and summon the full quota from the unicorn nest. White-winged horses with a single horn jutting from the forehead. They make perfect mounts for my battle clerics, thank the goddess of luck, since now my clerics gain real mobility and the unicorn's healing covers the one thing the clerics always lacked. I browse the trading hall and find nothing worth grabbing, so I switch to the system mall and buy 50 electric towers to ring the territory. Today's haul matched a full-day grinding war space, and I am not hurting for coin. The electric towers hit about as hard as my arrow towers, with a shorter range but a faster firing rhythm, and they carry one delightfully nasty trick, since they hide underground and only burst up to strike when an enemy strays near. More than half my defense towers are now these sneaky little ambushers, which makes me, I freely admit, a thoroughly underhanded man. I also spot a C-rank barracks, the Minotaur Berserker, so I build it and push it to rank 3 in one go. The panel describes them as a berserker breed of the Minotaur race, all raw muscle and zero fear of death, the spearhead of the orc race's siege forces. I summon every last one of the 600 and solidify them as defensive units to guard the walls, then close the workout and open the chat channel to lurk. The channel is the usual stew of fear and bravado. Someone found a city of over 10,500 kilometers north of his territory, every wall guard a second-tier soldier. Someone warns against making contact with the big territories now that the system handles trade, since being noticed is just inviting trouble. Someone mourns a friend who scored an F-rank evaluation in the novice assessment, watched his combat power crater when the spiritual chi concentration dropped, and got overrun by half-orcs the day before. Another points out the channel headcount has fallen by more than 400, mostly the E and F evaluations. And the survivors swear to keep grinding because in this world if you slack, you don't even earn the right to slack. The thread ends with someone declaring he's done sleeping and going back to cultivation. By now, plenty of lords have scraped together cultivation techniques of their own, things like bull strength and wind spirit formula. None of them work like mine, where the entire population cultivates at once, and theirs tend to boost a single narrow attribute rather than everything, but it still gets them leveling, and racial restrictions just mean hunting down a few more books. My basic cultivation method and intermediate cultivation method are the balanced sort, lifting every attribute evenly with no single standout, a proper hexagon build, while bull strength stacks raw strength and wind spirit formula trades for speed, each with its trade-offs. Once the novice period closed, the pressure drove people to huddle together for warmth, and small mutual aid bands sprang up everywhere, using the teleport function of the declaration of war to rush to each other's defense. No game-style mega guilds have formed yet, because this is a real world and trusting a stranger carries a price no one wants to pay, so cooperation stays locked to proven friends. Joe Rai pulled a dozen classmates into a little group of his own, and he even asked me about it when he founded it. I didn't join, but I promised to lend a hand if any of them ran into real trouble. Far off in District 865743, the man ranked number 1 in the region stares at the city in front of him with a knot in his gut. His name is Nobuo Yamamoto, and lately nothing has gone his way. Several large tribes sit a few hundred kilometers outside his territory, all too strong for him to crack, which has strangled his hunting income in the real world. Out of options, he turned to Warspace, burned through most of his search fees, and at last matched a deliciously fat target. Yamamoto fields a special A rank unit, the Siege Beast, an orc breed, hulking creatures swinging giant axes with terrifying force against fortifications. And when he eyes the loot waiting inside this territory, he lights up like a man given a second life. If he can take it in one wave, the heavy losses will be more than worth it. The defenses don't look like much. His army closes on my walls, and the moment his siege beasts come within reach to crack the stone, a swarm of electric towers erupts from the ground and lances them with dense beams of light. The gates swing wide and more than 10,000 soldiers pour out, crude armor on their backs and sharp weapons in their hands, throwing themselves forward without a thought for defense. And in no time at all, the sheer tide buries Yamamoto's army whole. He is still trying to understand what happened by the time he's forced to pull back, asking himself how one man could have so many troops, whether he sank every resource he owned into raw soldiery. What kind of lunatic does that? He looks at his gutted forces and his bone-dry stores and wants to weep, but the tears won't come. Back home, I've just finished scrolling the channel and I'm settling in to cultivate when the system congratulates me on repelling Nobuo Yamamoto's attack and asks whether I'd like to launch a revenge battle. Apparently, every lord who gets attacked in Warspace earns 1 free counterstrike. No search required, just spend the coin and march straight onto the attacker's land. Yamamoto, that's a Japanese name, and seeing as his whole army got shredded throwing itself at me, why shouldn't I pay the visit forward? I confirm. I appear before Yamamoto's territory at the head of a grand army, take one look at his frankly shabby defenses, and order the attack at once. My Griffin Knights sweep over the walls while my tunnel beasts surface from inside the city and vomit out a flood of goblins to rampage in every direction. They tear down his most dangerous towers first, then set about wrecking everything else with gleeful abandon, and a moment later the system reports a clean victory. 100% destruction. 40 silver coin looted from the man. I'm overjoyed, since this is a real windfall. My main combat unit's only scratched and good after a short rest, and the goblins I lost cost me nothing to replace. 40 silver coin buys a lot of growth. I check my inventory and build the Dwarf Musketeer, pushing it to rank 3. The panel marks it as a special dwarf unit, long reach and brutal stopping power, but soft on defense and slow on its feet, which makes it a wall defender to the core. I summon the lot and solidify them, with my sincere thanks to my generous Japanese friend for the funding. Another day of fat harvest, so I sit cross-legged on the big bed and cultivate. Inside Yamamoto's territory, the man watches several of his defense towers crumble to dust and scatter on the wind. The system already told him a human race lord from Blue Star, handle-friendly merchant, was the one who hit him. He was running on fumes after his army died against me, and this second round of plunder has scraped his stores down to nothing and pulled apart half his towers on top of it. His face is stone. This ruthless Celestial Empire bastard, a fellow Blue Star native, and not a shred of mercy in him. My handiwork has thrown his whole development into reverse, and he genuinely doesn't know whether he can survive the next wave. Early the next morning, I muster my attackers, drop into Warspace, and hit search. The system matches me an opponent with a maximum plunder of 15 silver coin, a sprawling city stuffed with goblin thrall soldiers, only a thin line of defense towers. So I've run into a fellow human wave enthusiast. I wanted to test my own swarm tactics today, but if this lord can afford this many soldiers, their individual strength has to be garbage, so I call out Ran by and tell him to open with a tornado. The tornado tears through them and the enemy dies in great moan swathes, nearly the whole army gone in one casting. I really do need to track down a magic user barracks, ideally something with area attacks, so I can blanket the enemy in firepower like this every fight. And the more I picture it, the more I grin. No, the second I'm home, I'm telling Zhang Seng to glue his eyes to the trading hall. The tornado fades, and I send in the wyverns, a great rolling shadow of them, breathing fire down on what's left of the goblins. A few enemy spear throwers and crossbowmen pelt my dragonflight, but the wyverns fly high with thick hides and shrug it off. The dragonfire spreads wide and clings, sticky, so the goblins shriek and roll, and can't smother it even after they bolt into the buildings, which catch and burn too. Defensive soldiers and a handful of citizens were never going to hold once the swarm broke, and the system hands me the win. 100% destruction, 15 silver coin. I'd lined up a meteor fall and ended up saving it. The army teleports home. I have my priests heal the slightly winded wyverns and order a half-hour rest, and I admit the efficiency is gorgeous. 15 silver coin in almost no time. Miles faster than hunting in the open. Half an hour later I search again and match a 17 silver coin target, a centaur city bristling with arrow towers. Of course the horse archer race built their whole defense around bows. Even the towers and the walls are packed with centaur crossbowmen, so their air defense is no joke. But my own cavalry fight perfectly well on the ground, so I have a tunnel beast ferry the goblin army straight under the walls and surface inside. Lucky for me, they never bothered fortifying underground, since some cities bury great magic formations down there to stop exactly this kind of breach. The tunnel beast splits open and pours thousands of goblins around the bases of the centaur towers, where they hammer away with wolf fang clubs, individually feeble but unanswerable in such numbers. The towers start to topple, the centaurs on the walls scramble to descend and shore up the line, and right then my wyverns swoop the parapets carrying raging bear warriors. These bears stand a good 3 meters tall, and the instant they land, they crash into the centaurs, whose close combat is pitiful, and tear them apart in a heartbeat. 100% destruction, 17 silver coin. The casualty report follows me home, mostly goblins, roughly 1,000, almost no losses elsewhere, 2 silver coin to replenish against 17 banked, a tidy profit. I replace the units and rest the army. Goblin losses don't sting, they're cannon fodder by design, but my real combat units I keep out of the meat grinder wherever I can, since fresh replacements start at rank 1, and the climb back up is long, and rank matters enormously to how hard a soldier hits. My wallet is fat again, so it's buy, because coin can't be hoarded, only converted into strength, with just enough kept back as working capital. I grab 10 more element towers across a spread of elements, and ring the city a little tighter. Rested, I search once more. 20 silver coin this time. A minotaur city thin on towers but heavy with minotaurs, mostly first rank with some second rank in the mix. Clearly the defensive regiment rather than the territory's true muscle. Honestly, my own Hanhei city soldiers aren't high-ranked either. Freshly summoned after the upgrade to a rank 3 territory, my highest being the Azure Orchid Guard with a third of them already broken through to 3rd rank, and plenty of the rest not even at 1st rank yet. The difference is quality, since my units are simply better made and punch above their rank, where an ordinary quality army at this level throwing itself at 2nd rank minotaurs would just be donating bodies. Wyverns lead, clearing the towers first, and this round my battle clerics ride along to hang debuffs on the enemy minotaurs. The goblin tide follows by tunnel beast and surges out. The minotaurs rush down off the walls to meet it, and my remaining combat units charge in with the griffin knights raining attacks from above. My raging bears go straight at the minotaurs, but never alone, always packed inside a goblin swarm. My standing order holds. Combat units prize their own survival, fall back the instant they're hurt, and let the goblins take over. Losses minimized. And if a search ever turns up an opponent I can't crack cleanly, I give up without a second thought, since farming for resources isn't real war, and feeding my good units into a grinder for a few coins is a net loss every time. This round everyone deploys, even me, riding my green dragon and loosing explosive arrow with great joy, a feeling I've grown genuinely fond of. Another win, 100% destruction, 20 silver coin. These last few matches have all gone the same brutal way, the enemy flattened every time, and we return to rest and regroup. Thanks to my orders, the combat units take no deaths, only the goblin army down 1,500, which I simply summon back, then heal the warriors and send them to rest. By dusk, I've stacked 230 silver coin, so I buy 100 more defense towers from the system mall and raise them. The mall only sells E-grade towers for now, since advanced ones need a higher territory rank. I make a point of checking the trading hall for a magic user barracks and find none, just a few warrior types, none of them cheap. If something like a goblin thrall soldier barracks ever shows, built for human wave tactics, I'll snatch it, because I've thoroughly tasted how sweet the swarm can be. Today's pet eggs went up for sale but move slowly, only a few hundred gone, while authority over all under heaven still has more than 9,000 listed and can't shift a single one, now that Zhang Song has flooded the board under him. He's dropped his price several times and Zhang Song has tailed him down every step, always 1 copper coin cheaper. In the Lord's Mansion of Qian City, authority over all under heaven is smashing things in a rage. He's the number 1 of the 865743 regional leaderboard, and a man who usually loves nothing more than buying and selling. And when he saw friendly merchant dump a cheap batch of pet eggs, he poured every asset he owned into them, planning to corner the market and make a killing. Then at dawn the next day, friendly merchant listed a fresh batch and opened a price war. And pet eggs are not supposed to be easy to drop, yet this lunatic supplied them by the 1,000 2 days running. Instead of his killing, His funds are frozen solid and his territory's growth is stalled. Done with the trading hall, I open the chat channel. Someone crows about breaking into the top 10,000 of the rank 2 bracket and finally landing on the leaderboard. Someone sighs that he might have made it too if he hadn't pushed to a rank 3 territory. Someone got hit with a declaration of war today and barely repelled it, calling the world more dangerous by the day. And another floats an alliance for rank 3 territories only since he's holding 2 declarations. More and more of these war decrees are circulating now, and the warmongers have begun hunting in earnest. So I drop a line to Lee Rinnern and Joe Rai, telling them both that I'll come running if they hit real danger. Lee Rinnern fires back in agreement, but Joe Rai hesitates, then asks whether his classmates can call on me if they're cornered. I remember his little group, think it over, and agree, since these are all classmates after all, and I'm only socially anxious, not actually at odds with any of them. Then Joe Rai comes clean. Hanyo is being besieged by the big tribes around her right now, and the situation is grim, and he asks me, as classmates in another world, to help her if I can, since she might return the favor someday. I tell him to lay out the details. Not far from Hanyo's territory sits an ogre camp, 4,000 strong, half of them first rank and half second rank. Her tribe got suppressed by that camp from the start and never developed well, and these past days they've closed in and surrounded her completely. The resources the group traded her didn't help, because freshly summoned units simply can't make a dent against an enemy with rank suppression, and their own strength is thin. Only 1 declaration of war between them, not enough to break the camp going in alone. I tell him I understand and that I'll send troops to aid her in the morning. Joe Rai presses me to join the group, since at least then they can cover each other. Just over a dozen people, all old friends on good terms. I weigh it and agree, because playing a solo game in a world like this is dull, and chatting with classmates wouldn't hurt. Then I see the group's name, the Star Rhyme Overlord Group, and my mouth twitches and I half regret saying yes. Gangnam welcomes me at once, crowing that old Jung finally joined and was the last one missing. And I count the members, 12, manageable enough. I greet him as Boss Gang, long time no see, since Gangnam was our old class monitor and always treated me well. He says it's good I still remember who my boss is, given that I never joined the group and never accepted a friend request. Truth is a crowd of people added me early on, and I cleared the whole pile, then set my account to block requests added by nickname, which is probably right when Gangnam tried me. I tell him sorry, I blocked the friend function by accident a while back, then send him a request, and we're friends. I chat a bit with the others, close the panel and cultivate. Next day I finish cultivating and feel I'm not far from leveling. Once I bank enough resources, I'll lead the warriors out to farm more monsters, since Warspace is virtual and grants the troops no experience, and while the monster ranch does feed them some, it's nowhere near enough. I gather my units for the aid run, building the force around goblins with raging bear warriors and priests in support, and nothing else, since it's wise to keep my real strength hidden from outsiders. If killing monsters in the real world didn't actually grant experience, I wouldn't even bring the raging bears and priests along. This isn't Warspace, I remind them, so the rules differ. The goblins only need to cripple the enemy, and my other units land the finishing blows to claim the experience, since goblins are consumables and don't need experience to climb anyway. I select a bronze-grade declaration of war, enter Hanyo's name, and use it. The decree blooms into white light, forming a curtain that opens onto the ground beside her territory, and my army files through. From the air, it's clear Hanyo's land is badly underdeveloped. A rank 3 territory with some towers, but everything else lagging. Her units a handful of green recruits, not even at first rank. The group's traded resources clearly bought her those towers, the only reason she's lasted this long. Circling high, I find the ogre camp 30 kilometers southeast, a mediocre rank 3 camp, and signal the advance. We brought no mounts, so the march is slow, but the distance is short, and an hour later my army finishes dressing its ranks and attacks. Goblins and raging bears charge the front while the priests hang back, layering buffs on my side and debuffs on theirs, and a level 3 camp simply caves before a proper human wave. The whole thing over fast. The system congratulates me. My citizens killed the enemy's level 23 hero unit, the Ogre Chieftain, and generated loot, 13 silver coin, 1 D-grade Ogre Warrior Barracks, and 1 bronze declaration of war. A D-grade barracks is useless to me, so it goes to the trading hall later, and I can't shake the feeling declarations of war have been dropping more often lately, though that's surely just my absurd luck doing what others can't. The system adds that I've destroyed the enemy's level 3 territory and netted 13 units of spiritual rhyme, and we withdraw. On the edge of my army, Hanyo walks out with her personal guards, meaning to find me and thank me, and right then the ranks part and I stroll out grinning and call her sister Yo, long time no see. The thanks she'd queued up stick in her throat, her mouth twitches hard, and she rolls her eyes at me. After a short exchange, I politely beg off her offer of a banquet with a touch of mock regret, and lead my troops out, the army snapping back into formation at my word, and marching off in flawless unison toward the distant teleport curtain. Hanyo stands still, watching the tide of soldiers surge past, and a hollow feeling settles over her. They started at the same line, and now I've left her far, far behind. The dejection passes and her eyes harden, and she swears to herself that the next time we meet she will never be a burden to me again. Home again, I dismiss the army to rest and reorganize. Over the last couple of days I've been folding my defense troops into a proper city guard, mixing unit types into small squads, so melee and ranged complement each other, and every squad fights at full strength. 10 soldiers to a squad, 10 squads to a company, 10 companies to a battalion. The defensive types are the Minotaur Berserker and the Dwarf Musketeer, while the Treant Guards I plant directly around the territory as living defense towers kept out of the squads. Odd units like the Fox-Person Archer, summoned off recruitment scrolls and too few to mass, I break up and scatter through the squads. The militia keep their own squads too, though they spend their days on production, with only a few left to patrol and keep order. The Minotaur Berserker and Dwarf Musketeer each supply 2 heroes, forming a 4-man combat department, and alongside a staff department of non-combat talent, heroes, the two together command Hane City's defenses as the city guard. On the aid run, since I brought nothing but the basics, the Goblin army lost 3,000, which I'll simply summon back. Once the army's rested, I drop into Warspace again and search, and the system matches me a 50 silver coin opponent, which is gloriously fat. After teleporting, I size up a human race city, plenty of towers and heads bobbing along the walls, except most of those heads turn out to be ordinary citizens clutching crude weapons. That's different from my militia, who are real unit types just weaker than their rank suggests. Since citizens in the territory mirror don't actually die, so many lords herd them onto the walls as warm bodies to do whatever they can. The real defensive force is only around 1,000, mostly first rank. Nothing to discuss. Attack. The Goblin army leads again by Tunnel Beast. The Air Force deploys at the same time, and the priests follow close with skill beams arcing overhead. This enemy has a thick belt of towers, so the goblins take heavy losses, and most of my combat units are hurt, but they hold to my orders, and not one dies. 100% destruction. 50 silver coin plundered. Back home I replace the units and rest the army, since the goblins need expanding, and I make a note to hunt down a barracks like theirs these next days. If none surfaces, I'll just pick a few goblin race territories to invade and hope one drops. A 50 coin fight already cost me over half my goblins, and against a lord with real combat power they won't hold at all. And once they run dry my combat units start dying, so this rest needs to run long, most of them being wounded. Rested, I search again, 80 silver coin, but the opponent's too strong and a forced attack isn't worth it, so I pass. Next match, 20 silver coin, doable, another human race territory, and it strikes me there are an awful lot of humans on the Star Rime continent. A decent count of towers, far fewer than that 50 coin city, and thin on the walls. Nothing to say, attack. 100% destruction, 20 silver coin. Home, replace, rest, then search once more. 30 silver coin well inside my range. After teleporting, my eyes light up at a goblin city, mediocre towers, but stuffed with units. I open with a meteor fall, throttling the star power so it recovers by tomorrow. Then ran by his tornado, and between the two the enemy loses over half before my army even moves in. 100% destruction, 30 silver coin, and the army teleports home. The day's fighting done, I dismiss the army to rest for tomorrow. While I fought that last goblin lord, I also pulled his name, so tomorrow I'll hit his real territory with a declaration of war, and going by the Warspace readout of his strength I should be able to take him. You can't loot in Warspace, only the real territory pays out, and a goblin territory might well drop me a human wave barracks. Plus all those goblins make superb experience fodder. A whole new door has swung open for me here, because the declaration of war and Warspace are a perfect pairing. The Warspace skirmish letting me gauge an enemy's strength before I slap down a decree on the ones I know I can beat. I really am a genius, I think. Thoroughly pleased with myself. Flush with silver coin, I wave a hand and buy 100 cannon towers and 10 holy light towers. The cannon tower throws explosive shots that only hit ground units but devastate both single targets and packed crowds. And the holy light tower heals, covering for my shortage of priests. I build them and push them to rank 3 in one go. After a happy dinner with my maid, I stretch out on the big bed and open the panel, glance at the trading hall, find nothing I need, and notice the Star Rime Overlord group has more than 99 messages waiting. The group is buzzing about my army. One marvels that this kid Jungwoo really is something. Thousands of soldiers strong. One asks whether I never developed any human race troops, since they're all alien species, and another shrugs that race doesn't matter. Only strength is truth. The roads are paved with bluestone. One demands cat-eared girls and tags me to post a picture, so I send a shot of a Fox-Person Archer, and they erupt, calling me a beast for putting such a pretty girl in uniform as a soldier. Most of these classmates sit at rank 3 territories, the freshly upgraded kind. After the group I open the regional channel, since a dozen people can't carry real information the way the channel does. Someone got a declaration of war today and asks whether to sell or keep it. Someone offers 2 silver coin and gets mocked. Someone else jumps to 5, and now the declaration of war is wildly popular, fetching 20 silver coin in the trading hall and still priceless. Someone's buying a pet, ideally one that flies, and someone else wants a pet that just looks cool enough. Strength be damned. My panel says my citizens now top 20,000, and the city is genuinely crowded. And that's before counting the troops. The goblins alone over 10,000, though at least the troops mostly stay put. I buy Blackrock City walls from the System Mall, planning to start expanding tomorrow, ringing the original city in circles a bit like Blue Star's ring roads, except mine are walls. I'm not building a branch city. I want one enormous metropolitan ring, and conveniently every territory upgrade hands me fresh plains to sprawl across however I please. I close the panel and cultivate. Next morning, cultivation done and breakfast eaten. I set my main combat units to grind the monster ranch for upgrades, hand the loot to Jung Sang, and prepare to hit yesterday's marked goblin territory. Once the soldiers are rested, I take out a bronze declaration of war and use it. Jung Sang has gathered a few decrees over these days, but they're brutally expensive now, so I haven't let him stockpile. The curtain forms and the army sets out, the city ahead just as I saw it in Warspace, except the goblin soldiers are a higher rank and far more numerous, since this is the enemy's full real-world strength rather than the solidified Defense Force Warspace shows. Someone on the channel actually crunched the numbers and figured Warspace reflects about 60% of a territory's real strength. Let's begin. I hand the enemy a meteor fall first, full power this time, and the shockwave rips through, leaving most of his defense buildings wrecked and his forces gutted by more than half. The price is a few days to recover my star power, well worth it. Ran by follows with a tornado, then the whole army crashes in. The system congratulates me on killing the rank 22 hero unit, the Big Goblin, generating loot, 1 E-grade Goblin Laborer Barracks, and 2 silver declarations of war, then destroying the rank 3 Goblin territory and dropping a fire seed instead of spiritual rind this time. Is that the difference between a system lord and a native? The panel calls it qualityless, rank 3, condensed from some mysterious power that works special changes once merged into a territory. I can't read its use yet, so I clean up the field. Start to finish the battle ate only half a day, with half a day left before the teleport array expires. And since a long trip like this is rare, I split the army into small teams and have them hunt nearby, hoping for things I won't find back home. Half a day later they return, having found no other forces in the short window and only sparse monsters, since this goblin had clearly stripped the area bare, but they bagged a few new monster types and topped up the gene bank. Among them the wyverns wiped out a flock of skylarks and dropped an F-rank barracks, the Skylark Nest. My eyes light up, because low rank or not, this gives the territory a proper scout corps, far better than the worker bee, whose body is small, whose range is short, and whose wits are dim. Back home I merge the new fire seed into the territory's own, and with a heavy crackle the core flares brighter than before, and I feel the bond between the territory and me draw tighter, the land's area swelling a touch, and its spiritual chi concentration ticking up. I use the Goblin Laborer Barracks, push it to rank 3, and summon them, bringing my cannon fodder to 18,000 and stiffening my combat power considerably. Then I build the Skylark Nest, its potential bumped to D rank by the territory's traits, push it to rank 3, and summon the Skylarks as scouts, described by the panel as a star-rhyme bird of superb flying skill. I skip buying towers with today's haul and instead raise the outer city wall, laying down 120,000 units of green rock wall that nearly bankrupts me, since a single unit is cheap, but the quantity is staggering. It rings the old wall in proportion, the future outer city, and with my stores empty I'll continue tomorrow. After dinner and a comfortable bath I open the panel. The trading hall is a jumble, hard to find what I want, though Jung Sang has picked up some functional buildings these days like a city hall and an opera house. What I'm hunting for is barracks. Anything built for human wave tactics I'll buy without blinking. And I'm still missing a magic user barracks too, but a long search turns up nothing, so I open the channel to lurk. Someone celebrates all his units finally hitting tier 2. Someone else groans that Warspace opponents keep getting stronger until he can't win. Attacks daily and near breaking. A veteran warns you can't farm Warspace every day and have to bank strength, because climb too high and your matched opponents climb with you and start hunting you back. Another laughs that he figured that out long ago, and farms real-world monsters now, and the thread ends with someone begging for a spell scroll so he can take his revenge, rewards promised. Next morning, cultivation done. I keep farming Warspace. After adding 6,000 more goblins, the pool of selectable opponents widens again. Half a month slips by in a blink, and every one of my main combat units reaches tier 3. I'm level 38 now, and Hanhei City's strength outstrips most rank 3 territories in Warspace. And a few days back I broke onto the rank 3 leaderboard at 8,723rd. The outer city is mostly built, 50,000 treant guards planted across it, all grown from recruitment scrolls farmed in the Monster Ranch. It carries 400 arrow towers for air defense, and 100 water elemental towers that launch water attacks and double as fire suppression, since with so many treants about I have to guard against any enemy bringing fire. Broad fields and farmhouses have begun spreading through the outer city, and what shows on the surface is the least of it, because underground my tunnel beasts have dug a sprawling transit network of unusually wide passages, lined with sunflowers, which glow brighter than the lantern grass like little suns, and grow beautifully on spiritual chi even underground. To keep the tunnels from collapsing, I bought stacks of Earth-type solidification spells from the trading hall to reinforce them, and tunnel beasts shuttle back and forth down there as busy as any Blue Star subway. The inner city goes without saying, packed wall to wall with defense towers. Then a message flares in my friend chat, Lee Rinrin crying for help. Ganged up on. She says a Japanese outfit, the Amaterasu Guard, has come for her, that she clapped back at them a few times on the World Channel the other day, and now 4 of them have dropped a declaration of war on her at once. I've heard of the Amaterasu Guard, a Japanese crew lately notorious on the World Channel for spending all day besieging other Blue Star lords, and they clearly have some pipeline for declarations, since they fling at least 3 at every target. No matter. After all this development, I've got the confidence to face any lord from my own batch, so I tell her I'm coming right now, gather my troops and use a bronze declaration of war on her. A man named Inoue is one of the Amaterasu Guard, a team founded by Nobuo Yamamoto, the former #1 of Region 865743. Because regions were assigned by proximity during the transmigration, most of that region's people are Japanese, and Yamamoto was a legend there. When his territory first hit level 3, he was tortured nearly to death, and his land almost destroyed, but right then a certain monster appeared near him with a high chance of dropping declarations of war. On the resources he traded for those decrees, he clawed his way up fast, onto the rank 3 leaderboard and into a team of over 100. Thinking of it, Inoue can't help but envy that kind of luck. This time the target is a Celestial Dynasty woman, who's developed solidly, so cracking her should yield a fat haul, and the 4 of them have spread to one direction each, surrounding her on all sides. No need to greet one another. They know the routine, so they gather their troops and start attacking. Just then, the army of Murata beside him is shattered by goblins and comes running his way, and Inoue blinks, wondering whether there's a huge goblin force near this Celestial Dynasty player, except the number is impossibly high, dense and endless. And that's not all. There are things in the sky. Is that a griffin? Plainly a high-quality unit. So maybe it isn't just goblins, but some local force joining in. Before he can finish the thought, dragons fill the sky, and he can only ask himself whether they've kicked a hornet's nest. Lee Rinrin watches my army uproot the invaders like weeds, her face all disbelief, since she knew I was strong but not this strong. I ask her, with a smug look, whether her big brother is impressive now, and she tells me she didn't expect me to turn into such a freak and that I should still call her little Rinrin so she can feel a bit better. I tell her to get ready. We're harvesting the spoils shortly, and she asks whether I really mean to attack the enemy's territory, and I say yes, the declaration of war still has plenty of time on it. Soon the army besieging her is wiped out, and with a wave of my hand, my Hanhei city force charges toward the Japanese teleport curtain, with a quick stop home to replace the spent goblins. These few defenders are weak, 2 of them only just level 3, so my army and Lee Rinrin's break through fast, and we harvest 4 fire seeds. Only then do I learn that Lee Rinrin and the others usually don't destroy a territory, they choose Devour instead, since Devour hands you the enemy's resources, unlike me, who's rich enough not to care about the scraps. Along the way, I pump her for details on this opponent, since I've only heard the Amaterasu Guard's name and nothing more, and when she says the leader is Nobuo Yamamoto, I freeze for a beat. It can't be that neat, can it, the unlucky bastard I beat senseless right after I hit level 3. She adds that Yamamoto has a way to farm declarations of war, so I decide not to wait. I'll hit him directly, because if I let him recover and assemble a great army, I'll have handed him the advantage. In truth, I'm overthinking it. The Amaterasu Guard has been plundering so wildly they've burned through their declarations, and while the monster near Yamamoto's land does drop them, the odds are low. Only 1 or 2 a day, and the last 4 went to Inoue's group. Now that he knows Inoue was wiped out by Friendly Merchant, Yamamoto grinds his teeth at the mere mention of the name, since because of that man he was nearly destroyed once, a deep and personal hatred. He'd half forgotten me after his later rise, but now is the perfect moment for revenge, and he plans to bank declarations for a few days, then bring the Alliance to crush this guy with overwhelming force. Just then the system tells him, Friendly Merchant has used a bronze declaration of war on him. Prepare yourself. A teleport curtain snaps into being outside his city, and my mighty Hanhei city army rushes out. I'm honestly startled at how well he's developed, his dense defense towers nearly matching mine, but before he can react, I open with a maximum power meteor fall. I'm level 38 now, my star power vastly greater than before, and the colossal meteor screams down, trailing a long tail and strikes dead center, raising a great mushroom cloud and a shockwave behind it. After the shockwave comes Ranbai's tornado, sweeping up the explosion's thick smoke and savaging whatever defenses remain. And the single combination leaves Yamamoto utterly stunned at the sheer brutality. The moment the tornado dies, my army pours in, tunnel beasts surfacing with goblins, wyverns dropping raging bear warriors and climbing again to spray fire everywhere, griffins carrying the Azure Orchid Guard to pick off his surviving combat classes from the air, and battle clerics on unicorns hunting his defensive soldiers with waves of negative spells. Enemies everywhere, fighting everywhere, is Yamamoto's only thought. He just called for aid in the Alliance chat, and 2 members still holding declarations teleport in, take one look at his territory already reduced to rubble, and his last troops swarmed under, and immediately retreat to their own lands, reasoning they can't beat me here and might be left alone once Yamamoto's finished. Yamamoto seethes, since these men are always braver than each other when they're following him to attack someone, yet they bolt the instant his own neck is on the line. Before he can stew further, a dragon breath takes him. The system congratulates me. My citizens have killed the enemy lord, Nobuo Yamamoto, generating 15 silver coin and 1 gold catapult blueprint. Too poor, and this man was the #1 of his region? I spit a thick mouthful of contempt. The blueprint goes into my equipment manufacturing center to see whether I can mass-produce catapults, and shattering his territory keystone yields a level 3 fire seed. I ignore the 2 who ran, since the real job now is sweeping the wild monsters around his land, the ones rumored to drop declarations of war. I head home, replenish the spent troops, and lead the army back out. During the fight, Yamamoto had been summoning soldiers off his barracks, but the fresh ones were all level 1, near useless, and my army erased them. I sweep the surrounding wilds, and after killing a pack of rabbits hauling great clubs, a declaration of war drops. Such a fearsome item, out of a clutch of rabbits. With a few already banked in the light going, I order the army home, then rush to the monster ranch, find the creature listed as Frenzied Rabbit, and start generating it. The panel describes it as a pet rabbit raised by Ares, some other world's god of war, vicious by nature, which explains the decree drops well enough. I have the soldiers kill the 20,000 I generate, and they drop more than a dozen declarations of war, a lower rate than I'd hoped but still an efficient way to collect them. I don't intend to farm declarations in bulk, just enough for my own use. And I won't list them in the trading hall either, since farming Lizardman normally pays better, and flooding the market with decrees would only sow chaos among the lords, so I'll leave that alone. What I will do is use them to farm resources for myself. I gathered 5 fire seeds today and fused 4 into the territory, the area swelling slightly. Nothing else, saving the 5th for Li Renren. I message her the outcome of the battle and tell her the crisis is over, and she gushes that it's amazing, that she'd thought the Amaterasu Guard would tie me up for ages. Tie me up, please. Without me, they'd have wiped you in one wave. I tell her their leader is dead and their declaration pipeline gone, so even if the Alliance doesn't disband, it amounts to nothing, and she thanks me again. I ask whether she fused her own fire seed yet and what it did, and she says her area grew a little and her population refresh sped up a little, nothing more. With a heap of resources in hand, I go back to buying defense towers. In the Amaterasu Guard chat, it's chaos. Boss Yamamoto is dead. They cry, "We must avenge him. We must elect a new leader to consolidate our strength." And someone snaps at the 2 who went to support him and came back without a scratch, calling them deserters with no right to shout about revenge. Another warns that with Yamamoto gone, the declaration pipeline is gone too, that they need to lie low. And yet another counters that they've made too many enemies for lying low to save them. It dissolves into blame, the greedy ones who provoked everyone, and a few angling to be named leader themselves, claiming the best development. Either they crown a new boss or they fall apart. But it's no longer my concern, since without declarations they can't threaten me. And with Yamamoto's example fresh, they probably won't dare try. After a pleasant dinner with my little maid, I stretch out and scroll the channel a while. It's no longer the harmonious place it was, because as declarations of war multiplied, the lords splintered into groups large and small, and where there are people, there's friction, robbers and avengers, and infighting, and the ambitious all at once. Before the decrees, with no way to strike each other, people could only trade insults, and now any disagreement gets a declaration slapped down in answer, so even the farming lords band together for safety. My classmate group is lively too, having recently feuded with a crew from the Stick Nation, and the 2 sides have been at war for days, though once I see my saga has the upper hand, I stop following it. After scrolling, I cultivate, which is just part of my life now. Early the next morning, cultivation done. I refresh the citizens and hand them to the city hall to assign. The city hall runs smoothly now, staffed with every internal affairs talent the territory has produced. Plenty of them hero units, all non-combat. I gather the army to clear the monster ranch first, where recruitment scrolls and pet eggs stay reliable since I've set the monster rank to tier 2. The items E-grade and marketable for a long while yet, especially the pets, which don't eat into my population quota. On the channel, Tier 2 territories generally run E-rank potential on their main combat troops, only a few hitting D, and that authority overall under Heaven from before, unable to survive my price war, ended up dumping his pet eggs below market, and losing a sum. He made no rash move though, being a smart man. A big forest holds all kinds of birds, and some people, watching me list huge batches daily, grow jealous and now and then drop a declaration of war on me, which I answer without mercy, annihilating their territories whole. Worth noting, when someone uses a declaration on me, the system opens a small temporary space beside my territory space for them to teleport into, where they see only the barren land around them and my territory ahead. Nothing else. Among the lords who attacked me were many who ranked high in their own regions, and I wiped every one of them out until the rest settled down and few dared target me anymore. They were blinded by greed, never reckoning that a man who can auction advanced goods in bulk every day commands immense wealth, and wealth converts into combat power. They saw the money and not the muscle. Once the armies rested and reorganized, I opened Warspace in search, planning today to pair Warspace with the declaration of war to harvest resources. The system matches a 40 silver coin opponent, a dwarf lord, many towers but soft defenders, and I attack at once and flatten him. 100% destruction, 40 silver coin. I march home, replenish, mostly goblins now since my combat units rarely take losses after their rank climbed, at worst minor scrapes, then rest and reorganize and use a declaration of war on that same dwarf lord. Having just fought him in Warspace, I already know his defensive strength, and even if he throws his offensive soldiers onto the walls, his defense can't possibly double. So after reading his line, my army marches in mightily. These days I hardly manage the sieges anymore. With my commander-type heroes I needn't worry at all. And I've become little more than a tool, working the panel and using items, though I'm also the failsafe ready to unleash a meteor fall if the enemy proves strong. The battle ends quickly, we clean the field and pull out. Return, replenish, rest. Then I search again, choosing weaker territories to raise efficiency and cut risk, giving up on anything too strong or too costly, and searching for the next. Since a search costs only 2,000 copper coins, peanuts to me now. Alternating Warspace and the declaration of war. My wealth climbs fast, and the beauty is that beyond resources and supplies, my main combat units gain experience and level. Unlike open hunting, where finding one good opponent eats half a day, since Warspace matches enemies almost instantly. And after the simulated skirmish, the real invasion runs far smoother. I've mastered the whole routine. After a day's campaigning, my ranking climbs to 6,542. The army disperses to rest while I head back to the mansion to spend the day's resources. Most of it on defense towers, a small portion held in reserve. Plenty of people attacked me in Warspace during this stretch. All of them sent home beaten, my terrifying defense making scalps prickle. Most give up the instant they match me, but a few, seeing the high plunder value, charge in with bloodshot eyes only to be crushed. Given my current defenses, even I would lose badly if I attacked myself. Opponents at my rank now field Tier 2 main combat troops, some already breaking into Tier 3, so the goblins matter less and less, since a rank 1 goblin against Tier 3 soldiers is plain cannon fodder. Lucky for me, my own unit's rank has risen, and their individual strength is fierce, so major losses rarely happen. Just then I spot a barracks in the trading hall, the Elf Mage Corps, rank C, and I buy it on the spot. Because low as rank C is, this is the spell type class I've been desperate for, and finding a magic barracks has been hellishly hard. Days of checking and only now one snagged. I use it. The panel calls it a High Elf Mage Corps, skilled with wind spells. 400 copper coins a mage. Wind element, less lethal than fire but close enough. I summon one and read her over. A member of the Elf Mage Corps, rank 1, C rank potential. High Elf bloodline, full loyalty. She carries Wind Spirit, which attaches wind to her legs for speed. Wind Blade for a large-scale slicing attack. Wind Wall to raise a barrier that blocks or pins enemies. And Wind Blast Bomb that compresses wind to the extreme for explosive damage. 2 area skills and a defensive one, not bad. I push the barracks to rank 3 and summon them all. 2 hero units appear. The first, Leah, is rank 1, C rank potential. High Elf bloodline, full loyalty. She wields Wind Element Mastery for skillful use of the basic wind skills. Wind Blade for large-scale slicing. Wind Bulwark for a defensive barrier. Wind Arrow Rain that loses a storm of wind-condensed arrows across the enemy line. And a commander skill that lifts the Corps' speed and attack while she leads them. The second hero carries near-identical skills. The 2 of them hand the territory a few more trump cards. Exactly the kind of soldier I want. Strong bodies, lovely faces, and real fighting power. After dinner I scroll the channel again. One of my few leftover pleasures. One lord says the natives near him were fighting today and the sight scared him witless. Another says his natives are all quiet and he finally found a fellow countryman's territory these past 2 days. And a third says the natives around him are all too strong to provoke. The ones he could provoke long since wiped out. Thinking on it, it's true for me as well. Since my surroundings are all cities of over 100,000 now, the low-rank ones long since cleared, and the rest other races, the only human race city near me being Seer City. With my Skylark scouts ranging wide, I've basically mapped the surrounding area. My territory sits on the southern edge of the Forest of the Fallen Dragon, a boundless forest whose true size not even the local natives can guess. To my south lie the 3 nearest cities, Seer City of the human race, Wolfguard City of the Knoll, and Titan City of the goblin race, each over 100,000 strong and counted among the top forces in the rank 3 tier. Native territories carry no population limits the way transmigrator territories do, since they form naturally where mine has a system and grows fast. Native lands form on their own or passed down from a prior lord, and whether that ancestor was native or transmigrator's territory, the system panel vanishes. The natives of the Star Rime continent don't know transmigrators exist, descendants included. the information likely sealed off by the system. In rank 3 native territories, the main troops are mostly tier 2 with a scattering of tier 3 inside the walls. There are 2 ways to lift a native territory's rank. The first is a natural upgrade once the citizen's rank within the city meets the bar, at which point heaven and earth luck nudges the core to climb on its own. A long process. The second is a forced one, piling on heaven and earth treasure rich in heaven and earth spiritual chi to accelerate the core's upgrade at enormous cost. After the rank rises, the territory's baseline spiritual chi concentration rises with it, though many territories also set up a spirit gathering array to push their concentration higher still. These 3 native cities belong to different races. The relations poor and clashes frequent, and after all my development, my territory has already surpassed them, though lately I've been buried in war space and haven't touched these native forces. The next stage is a choice of north or south. North means hunting wild beasts deeper into the forest of the fallen dragon. South means facing the native cities. Honestly, I'd rather let my territory wander, settling in resource-rich ground and moving on once it's consumed, like herding with me the shepherd in the territory my flock. Once I've learned the continent properly, I'll switch on this wandering mode. I close the panel and cultivate. Next morning, cultivation done, I refresh the citizens, now over 50,000, and reckon it won't be long before the city needs expanding again, and that's before the troops. The summoned treants alone pass 50,000. I muster the army, clear the monster ranch, then pair war space with a declaration of war. The system matches a 40 silver coin goblin lord, perfect for testing my new mage core. I call out Leah, who opens with wind arrow rain, green streaks lancing into the goblin host, and they fall in droves under pure piercing damage, the enemy's buildings left riddled with holes. Next comes Windblade, transparent blades slicing like scalpels, cleaving many goblins clean in two. Not bad at all. I bring up an ordinary core member to try Windblast Bomb, which behaves like a flameless grenade, only transparent shockwaves, its power nearly matching my own explosive arrow, though a mage takes longer to cast than I take to loose an arrow. The flaws don't dim the jade. Hane City will field a great deal of area firepower from here on. The mage core still lacks mounts, which I'll source later, though luckily wind attribute mages run quite fast. Days slip by and another half-month passes. Some of Hanhei City's main combat troops now reach Tier 4, and I'm level 45, my main troops fully outfitted in golden gear, with siege engines like catapults and siege crossbows in wide use. The goblin army no longer charges into battle, since a rank 1 goblin is a single slap away against Tier 3 troops, so the goblins have become logistics, running and maintaining the siege engines, and I plan to swap them out for a proper goblin race troop better suited to operating machinery. I've looked into upgrading the goblins, but with so vast a base the experience cost is enormous, and upgraded goblins still lose to same rank opponents, so the value isn't there. In war space, my rank in the rank 3 bracket reaches 1,361, which should carry rewards, but my rank is still too low to claim them. There are hidden dragons and crouching tigers on this continent, and strong as I feel, I'm still down in the thousands. Though this ranking rests on battle achievements and reflects only a slice of a territory's combat power, not the whole. During this stretch, it comes time for the regional territory leaderboard to hand out rewards again. Number 1, Hanhei City, Prosperity Index 5,215, Lord Friendly Merchant. Number 2, Elegant Castle, 2,043, Bloody Queen. Number 3, Lafite City, 1,954, Andre Loves to Drink. Number 4, Hang Sing Valley, 1,762, Han Han Loves to Dance. Down at number 10, Tianlong City, 1,705, Your Old Father. The familiar faces hold their places, only shuffling positions, the top 3 rock steady, and my snowball has well and truly started rolling, the gap to second widening by the day. The system congratulates me on first place in the regional territory leaderboard, distributing rewards, and because my prosperity index so far outstrips the other lords, the reward is boosted to an extraordinary treasure chest, the only quality of chest I can currently pull from system rewards, since even grinding monsters a gold chest counts as a fine day. As always, I run to the spirit spring to wash my hands, then pray before the statue of the goddess of luck, and open it. It gives a rank A spirit gathering array, a rank A ancient tree of life, and a rank A long-distance communication system. The spirit gathering array I've coveted forever, since every big native city has one, and I don't, and it draws in the spiritual chi around the territory and pulls it inside, raising the concentration and speeding the recovery. With so many people cultivating daily and burning spiritual chi, my recovery rate has barely kept pace, and the monster ranch, that ravenous eater, brings huge income and huge cost both. So if not for the fire seeds and spiritual rhyme, I've stripped off other territories my concentration would have started sliding long ago. Worth noting, native territories dare not let all their citizens cultivate, since the spiritual chi drain is monstrous. The results of universal cultivation are excellent. Most of my members already rank 2, many broken through to rank 3, and their climb isn't slow since citizens earn experience from working as well. With every citizen carrying D rank potential, or better, reaching rank 3 poses no bottleneck. Though down the line these D-ranked citizens cap inside rank 3, a maximum of level 39. Since a true breakthrough needs C-rank potential, a rare few with great perseverance or special opportunity will shatter their potential ceilings. But such cases are rare. I activate the Spirit Gathering Array, and the territory's spiritual chi concentration begins to creep upward. I turn to the next item, the Ancient Tree of Life. Quality A, no rank, which periodically produces life spirit fluid that slowly improves one's life essence. An elf-race tree that, planted in the territory, raises the concentration of life factors and comprehensively strengthens the citizens' bodies and their odds of breaking through. Another treasure, so I plant it. A colossal tree 100 meters tall rises from the ground wrapped in a mysterious green glow, and the air gains an indescribable freshness that leaves everyone feeling clearer. A little liquid has pooled in a hollow on the trunk, which I quickly collect, the panel naming it Life Spirit Fluid. Brewed from the tree drinking the essence of heaven and earth, its long-term use improving life essence with stronger effect on lower potential beings. I send for the Bee King, a hero unit of the Beehive, and one of the heroes who followed me early. His potential is stuck at D rank because of the barracks rank, leaving him capped at level 39, unable to break through, since even heroes who can crack their ceilings need a great deal of time. I have him drink the life spirit fluid and watch his potential lift, then give him more and send him back. The bee swarm serves little purpose now, its weak anti-air no longer needed with defense towers lining the territory. So I've let them do as they please, in hopes of some small miracle. There's still some fluid left, which I drink myself, and the system tells me my physique has improved a touch. A lord's potential is limitless and can't be raised, but better physique is welcome all the same, since a lord must carry real fighting strength, for how can a weak lord command respect? And I'll surely face other lords ahead where strength even lets me show off a little. The tree yields a small cup a day, so I assign someone to collect it, for my own daily use and as a reward to those who serve the territory well. The last item, the long-distance communication system, Quality A, an auxiliary module of the territory system that once fused into the fire seed activates instant communication for the citizens, one of the system's hidden modules carrying mysterious power. I fuse it in, and the fire seed, now several times larger than when I first transmigrated and trending toward gold, drinks it down, and the system congratulates me on activating the citizens' chat channel. It's a weakened version of the regional channel. Citizens can speak in real time, form groups, and add friends for one-on-one talk, with the core authority resting in my hands so I control which functions switch on and off. I'll hand some authority to the City Hall and the Army so they can run their own systems, the City Hall mainly handling citizens with things like daily news announcements. And just like that, the whole function works its magic. Hane City stepping into the network era in an instant. At the same time, I have the City Hall stand up a network supervision department to watch the channel, since I'll need to guide public opinion among the citizens and stamp out illegal activity. Dinner again. I only eat breakfast and dinner in the mansion, taking lunch outside with the soldiers, usually grilled meat or something portable, since trekking home just for lunch would waste the day. Dinner stays lavish, a balanced spread of meat and vegetables with fruit for dessert, and since the mansion expanded, it's staffed with a guard team, a chef team, and cleaning crews. Lee Boogui even assigned me a team of maids, all carefully chosen for figure and looks, and at my suggestion they wear uniforms, maid outfits, which in my words makes them look professional. Unlike some lords who keep harems, a practice I genuinely despise. If I weren't so busy, I'm a decent man and don't go in for that sort of thing, though teasing these young girls now and then is rather nice, and every night after dinner they blush while clearing the dishes. Back in the bedroom, I open the panel, hit the system mall to keep buying defense towers, then browse the trading hall for anything worth taking. The mage corps still wants mounts, and if I come across other high-quality barracks, I'll grab them too, since who dislikes more troop types when my population has no limit? Thanks to the sky-high spiritual chi concentration, the farmland in the territory leans toward becoming spirit fields, so grain yields run very high. And with so much farmland besides, it more than covers the territory's daily needs. Various spirit plants grow across the land, most lending the territory beneficial bonuses, and the living conditions are absolutely first class. Nothing like the lords too poor to afford a single defense tower, where I am never short of coin. The water my citizens drink is now spirit spring water, their staple foods handpicked by me to improve physique with long use, since citizens are the foundation of a territory, and their strength is the measure of the whole. Finding nothing worth buying in the trading hall after a long search, I open the chat channel to lurk. The regional channel is as lively as ever, a wall of bragging and cursing and showing off and complaining, and every time I open it the noise drags me straight back to Blue Star. Someone is crowing about a marriage contract he found, swearing that once a couple uses it a permanent two-way teleportation array opens between their territories, and the channel piles on at once, half of them scheming to ally with beautiful young ladies, half insisting strength matters more, and one fool asking whether the array shuts again after a divorce. As a single dog, the item is useless to me. Then someone shifts the talk to the Japanese lords provoking the Celestial Dynasty again, asking for brothers to team up and crush them, and a string of others answer that they have tolerated it long enough. I feel the itch myself. I am a patriotic man, after all. Over in the Star Rhyme Overlord group, the battle still drags on. The same fight against a crew from the Stick Nation that I heard about an age ago. So slow, with strength like that, and they call themselves Overlords. I asked the group whether they have any enemies who are both strong and good-looking, since I will gladly handle those. Gangnam answers that their leader is named Park Hao-chan, very strong and very handsome. And Jo Ri laughs that the class monitor is right, so this one is on me. I tell them my strength is limited and ask whether there are any weaklings with big chests and no brains. And Jang Gang shoots back that no one who has fought them this long could possibly be weak. Gangnam explains they were close to winning when a wave of Japanese reinforcements showed up. The two countries supposedly at odds, and yet the Japanese forever hunting Celestial Dynasty lords now. Fine, I understand. I tell them to send me the enemy information, and tomorrow I will march out and give them a proper beating. I end the chat and start the day's cultivation. My rank already reads 45, a 4th tier expert, an old ancestor of one of its families, which means I have grown terrifyingly strong. The next morning, cultivation done, I run my daily routine of 3, eating refreshing territory citizens, and clearing the monster ranch. Then I reorganize the army and use the declaration of war order on Park Hao-chan. A weakling who cannot even crack the rank 3 leaderboard holds no interest for me, and as for his good looks, well, I am a grown man. The Hanhei City army finishes teleporting and arrays itself without attacking, and from behind the lines the goblins push out hundreds of catapults. The catapults loose at once and huge rocks rain down, landing dents on the enemy walls and smashing buildings deep inside the city. That single wave leaves Park Hao-chan reeling, because my siege weapons outrange his defense towers and hit far harder, so the enemy can strike him while he cannot strike back. His territory ground away rock by rock while I pay only stones. With no other choice, he orders his army out of the city to fight, and the moment they leave the walls, Hanhei City delivers a dimensionality reduction strike. The rank gap so wide it is nearly 1 slash per child. His territory is flattened in no time. The system tells me I have destroyed the rank 3 human race territory Hochin City and obtained 1 kindling. Work done. I pull back to replenish, rest the army, then loose another declaration of war on a weaker target, leaving half my troops behind and leading the rest home to declare war on yet another. 2 opponents fall at once and hand me 2 more kindling, and the army returns, replenishes rests, and sets out again. In a single day, I annihilate 11 enemy territories and wipe the Stick Nation crew off the map entirely. There were only 10 of them in the whole Overlord group, so a handful of opponents and they were done, and if there had been more they could not have held on. And these people call themselves Overlords. I throw the kindling I have collected into the territory for fusion, and the system congratulates me. My territory's attributes have undergone a transformation. Quantitative change tipping over into qualitative. The panel reads Hanhei City rank 3, range 80,000 by 80,000, population 158,000, 22 heroes, 76,000 soldiers, refreshing 1,000 territory citizens a day, spiritual chi concentration 11,150, prosperity index 8,742. 3 traits now. Grotto Heaven Blessed Land, lifting every citizen's potential to a minimum of D rank and raising breakthrough odds. Territory space carrying the potential to become a world. And a new one, a heaven and earth spiritual vein conceived inside the territory, greatly boosting cultivation efficiency nearby. A spiritual vein appeared. This thing gets more Xuanhuan by the day. Can I cultivate immortality now? Thinking it over, heaven and earth spiritual chi has always been here, so a vein forming is natural enough. I sense that the one in my territory is small, for now. No thicker than an arm, freshly formed. But the spiritual chi feels more active than before, almost alive, easier to draw in during cultivation and faster circling through my body. I do not fully understand it, yet getting stronger is what matters. A good harvest today as well, and I keep buying defense towers. At dinner, the little maid is too shy to eat, so I have to feed her. The girl flustered the whole time, and honestly she worries me half the day. After a comfortable bath, I return to my bedroom and open the panel, browsing the trading hall with no real aim. Spiritual fruits with special effects, those I buy. Swimwear of all things, dreamed up by some genius, so buy, since I will have a pool built in the mansion later, and the little maid should exercise more. I clearly spotted some softness at dinner today. A bottleneck breaking pill. Even this exists, so I grab it for whenever a hero hits a wall down the line. Nothing else worth taking, so I close the hall and check the chat channel. I tell the Overlord group I have already handled the South Korean crew. The chat explodes, and I harvest a fine wave of emotional value. Wealth unshown is silk robes worn in the dark. I casually asked for the list of the Japanese group, planning to call them out one by one tomorrow and settle it all at once, since a long war eats into development. It costs me nothing either way, the resource harvest about the same no matter whom I attack, and this lets me lend my classmates a hand. I cultivate again, and tonight the gain is clear, the spiritual chi practically burrowing into me of its own will. The next morning the session ends, daily routine done, and I prepare the army to wipe out the small Japanese group in one sweep. Days pass like this until the city guard reports a native outside the walls. Outsiders cannot normally find Hanhei City, but this one wandered close, and a patrol caught him. An old man with great vitality claiming to be an envoy from Seer City. I have them bring him in, since the territory is past hiding now, and will open to the outside eventually, and besides he arrived by the subway and cannot see a thing. The envoy bows and gives his name as Wang Myung, paying respects to the Lord, and I tell him to rise and sit aside. He sizes me up, knowing only that this territory is vast and its city guard ranked fairly high, so its strength likely matches Seer City. His master, he says, wishes to form an alliance. An alliance, all of a sudden, when our territories had never dealt with each other, and both sides had been at peace. So why the rush? Because, Wang Myung reports, Titan City and Wolfguard City have allied, and as kin, Seer City and I are natural partners. I agree to it. After the goblins of Titan City and the gnolls of Wolfguard City joined hands, they sent a great army against Seer City. The host already camped outside its walls, which is why Seer City scrambled for an alliance. One has to laugh at the goblin city's name, the short little goblins christening their home Titan City. No matter, I had already planned to deal with both southern cities in the coming days. It is only morning, so I assemble the great army and prepare to march. Wang Myung riding back with the Hanhei City host, and he watches us muster so fast that the speed shocks him, since Seer City would need 10 days to half a month to raise an army this size. Work I treat as routine. Inside Seer City, unease spreads. The gates shut. The once busy streets near empty. Titan City and Wolfguard City are cities of the same scale as Seer City. The three long holding each other in a three-legged standoff. The gnolls a nation of cruel-born hunters. The goblins masters of sharp siege technology. Their lord, Kevin, sits troubled in his chair. He took Seer City from his father and worked hard, the city thriving and showing signs of advancing a rank under him. And if things had held, he might have seen that advance in his lifetime. He has no idea why two cities so long at odds suddenly allied, only that something happened behind his back while his cursed intelligence department, all bucketheads, left him blind and passive. His one chance is Wang Myung, sent out before the siege closed. He has known of this new human race territory for a while, knows only that it is not weak, and an alliance might let him survive, holding the walls even if they cannot beat the enemy outright. The Hanhei City army covers 500 kilometers in just a few hours, slowed only to keep pace with the tunnel beasts, every other troop type and air unit, and fast. On a hill outside Seer City, I look down at two dark, oppressive camps. The native armies here still have poor mobility, exhausted after so long a march, so they camp to rest before attacking, since few can afford a mount for every soldier the way I can, where even my goblins ride tunnel beasts. The two camps sit apart, a sign their alliance runs shallow, when they should have camped together, the goblins strong at range but weak up close. The gnolls fierce in melee but feeble at distance, each able to cover the other's flaw. Their carelessness is my opening, so I strike the goblins first, their machines too lethal to charge head-on. On my order, the tunnel beasts dive first, surfacing inside the enemy camp and releasing the storm bears and the azure orchid guard, the griffins and wyverns following, the battle clerics on their unicorns, and the mage corps racing in behind, far enough back to cast without closing the distance. In a blink, the goblin camp dissolves into chaos, enemies everywhere, fighting breaking out across the whole field, and the frail goblins, who fear ambush most, fall in droves before they even reach their war machines. Before long it is over. Wang Myung slipped into the city by a secret passage the moment I arrived, and now the Seer City gates open and its troops charge out to meet the enemy. At the front march heavily armored warriors with giant shields. Seer City's job to pin down the gnolls. Their fight with Wolfguard City has barely begun before mine concludes, so my goblin army wheels toward the Wolfguard City camp. My real combat units folded among the goblins and carving straight in. While still some way off, the Mage Corps unleashes a flood of spells, and the Wolfguard City line takes heavy losses before scrambling to spread out. Against the goblins, the Mage Corps had played little part, arriving too late and finding my troops already tangled close. No room for area spells, so now they pour all that pent-up anger onto the gnolls with brutal ferocity. As the Mage Corps falls into cooldown, the rest of my troops arrive, and seeing my army already inside the Wolfguard formation, Seer City flings itself into the charge, the besieged soldiers turning fear and dread into a raging inferno. Caught in a pincer, the gnolls collapse and flee, my soldiers hounding them from behind, their fate sealed from the moment they broke, since how does a ground army outrun Hanhei City's air force? After the battle, both sides clean the field, and Kyle, the Lord of Seer City, comes to thank me and invite me inside. I go with my personal guards, unafraid of any trick, since my territory space rides within my body and my strength is my confidence, and after watching Hanhei City fight Kyle surely harbors no other thoughts. Seer City is a retro place, much like medieval Europe back on Blue Star, stone buildings everywhere yet neat and ordered. The streets lined with cheering residents straight out of a Blue Star show, and I collect another hefty wave of emotional value. In the City Lord's mansion, we talk pleasantly and settle a military alliance, plus trade and cooperation between the cities, the fine print left to professionals on both sides. I attend the dinner and ball Kyle arranges. the enthusiastic and fiery noble maidens raising my opinion of Seer City considerably. From Kyle I learned the lay of the land. The region is a chaos of independent cities and races, and 5,000 kilometers south sits a level 5 territory of rock giants, the overlord here, who ignore the lesser cities so long as a yearly tribute arrives and only stir for outside level 5 threats. Seer City lies near the forest of the fallen dragon, with no powerful foreign force beyond wild beasts, so it stays relatively stable, though it is said dragons dwell deep in that forest, making it deadly. I am glad my territory has a war space of its own and never pushed north, since angering dragons would have been a spectacle. Dragons being the top creatures of this world, an adult one a match for a god. After difficulty declining the noble maiden's invitations, I lead the army home. My territory is a cultivating at a noble's house, ever match its efficiency. I might invite those maidens over to cultivate together sometime. The abundant heaven and earth spiritual chi, a fine surprise for them. The natives here cultivate too, especially the young, who spend their nights at it, having no concept of leveling by killing monsters and raising their strength mainly through cultivation. What Kyle does not know is that my whole territory currently sits inside my body. Some distance from the city, the army teleports back, and once home I replenish and rest them, then post the photos I secretly took at the banquet to the Overlord group, drawing an instant chorus of howls. Zhang Yang marvels that the continent's natives are so enthusiastic. Zhou Rai begs to be brought along next time with his spare declaration of war order, and Hanyo demands to know who the black-haired handsome guy beside me is. I tell her he is the city lord of the human city next door, young and promising, and ask whether Sister Yo is interested, and she snaps that my whole family is Sister Yo. I feel like a carefree schoolboy again. I browse the trading hall for small gifts, the gaudy, cheap trinkets best for charming those noble maidens on future visits. After cultivating all night, I assemble my troops to take Titan City and Wolfguard City. Seer City was meant to march with me, but the moment I heard how long it needs to prepare, I declined Kyle's kind offer, since who waits 10 days to half a month when Hane City does it in a day without delaying dinner? Titan City's main army already died outside Seer City, so its defenses are at their weakest, and I open with area spells, my own meteor fall among them, then charge, and Titan City falls. The system tallies it up. A level 44 Goblin Defender hero slain, loot rolling in, 154 silver coins, a Goblin airship, Goblin sappers, the rank 3 territory Titan City destroyed, 25 spiritual Rhine gained. A racial surprise attack is the best method, never letting a high offense low defense race like the Goblins erupt, since their attack power is terrifying once it does. I pocket the items for the territory and move on to Wolfguard City. My catapults rolled to the front of the formation, their ultra-long range forcing the gnolls to abandon the walls and come out to fight. The enemy's main force is already gone, so these gnolls are moths into a flame. The system pings. A level 43 giant wolf rider hero killed. 132 silver coins. A wolf rider barracks. A giant wolf den. The rank 3 territory Wolfguard City destroyed. 23 spiritual rhyme gained. As expected of a long-developed native territory, the drops are excellent. Where the many transmigrator territories I have hit, dropped nothing decent. Their foundation's thinner for their shorter history. I teleport the warriors home and ride the green dragon toward the forest of the fallen dragon. My old outpost has stood too long, its nearby monsters nearly cleared, and its minerals stripped. So rather than waste days hauling resources from afar, I would rather just move. The green dragon flies fast, and before sunset I find a resource-rich stretch, teleport the territory there, and leave a speck of dust where it stood. Back home, I inventory the day's haul and build those C-rank barracks, the highest quality I can currently produce. The Goblin airship is a slow, large-capacity flyer of Goblin make, 1,200 copper coins a summon, and the Goblin sappers are an exclusive Goblin troop with paper defense who hurl bombs of immense destructive power, bonus damage against buildings. Is this not just Bomberman? Down the line, my sappers can ride airships and bomb opponents from the sky. The Wolf Riders are werewolves astride giant wolves. Agile cavalry with strong burst. Skilled in jungle warfare, mounts included so I need not supply them, and the giant wolf den breeds huge hardy giant wolves with decent close combat ability that I can hand to the mage corps as mounts, so my frail mages no longer travel on foot. Summoning all of it broadens my main combat lineup further. Ever since the goblins met their end, I have hunted a replacement for the human wave tactic, and after long study I settle on an F-rank barracks, the Necromancer. F-rank barracks are common now, sold in bulk in the trading hall, and with my territory's trait lifting every citizen to a minimum D-rank potential. An F-rank barracks in Hanhei City works like a D-rank one elsewhere. I have studied the Necromancer a long time, since each can summon up to 10 skeleton soldiers whose deaths cost nothing, endlessly replaced so long as magic power holds, and the Necromancers themselves never charge in, so attrition stays low while they gain experience and level, the summoned skeletons strengthening as the Necromancer's rank climbs. Strictly speaking, they suit the human wave tactic better than goblins ever did, the catch being you must buy many barracks, and mage-type ones used to be scarce, even F-rank hard to find. So I open the trading hall and buy 20 in one go, build them and push them to level 3. The panel reads Necromancer, potential D thanks to the territory, rank 3, capacity 600, 100 copper coins a summon, a master of necromancy able to call up a large host of skeletons. I line the 20 identical barracks up and summon them all, 12,000 necromancers, and a single hero appears. Carter, rank 1, D potential, no bloodline. He carries Skeleton Summon to raise a large skeleton host, Necrotic Curse to weaken enemies, Necrotic Storm that pours dark spiritual chi into a storm turning battlefield corpses into fighting skeletons, and Commander to speed the Necromancer's spiritual chi recovery while he leads them. I hand the Necromancers to Carter and head back to the mansion. After a pleasant dinner, I lie on my big bed and open the chat channel. Someone crows that he flattened a Japanese territory today and it felt wonderful. Another that he handled one too but took real losses. A third hawking a monster ranch in the trading hall as a divine artifact for harvesting experience. And several others moaning that they own one but the spiritual chi drain is too steep to run. A good item. I open the trading hall and buy it at once, though it is only D rank and spawns few monsters. Better than nothing. I glance at the classmate group and find them developing nicely, in a stretch of rapid growth ever since I ended their war, occasionally teaming up with a declaration of war order to seize resources, more than a month of outside fighting making their cooperation seamless. I close the chat and cultivate, and early next morning I dispatch the freshly refreshed necromancers and wolf riders to farm monsters and level near the territory, sending the goblins along to help, since once the necromancers' ranks rise, the goblin army retires from the stage of history. I set my main combat units to clear the monster ranch, then lead the army out for the day's campaign, open the war space and click search. The system matches me an opponent, maximum plunder 200 silver coins. The target's growing stronger and fatter as my ranking climbs. This one is a werewolf race territory. Its defenders already broken through to tier 2 with plenty of defense towers, a massive wolf head pattern painted on the wall, some hobby of the lords. No need to dawdle, let the battle begin. The siege engines line up and open on the city. Airships carrying goblin sappers fly in, with dragons guarding them. The airship defense weak enough to need the escort, and the sappers drop their bombs one by one, the city rumbling with explosions stronger than the siege engines themselves, buildings disintegrating where they hit. The enemy realizes the danger and concentrates anti-aircraft fire, but the airships fly high under their dragon escort and take no real damage. And soon the city is bombed to ruins, the defenders pouring out to fight, the battle quickly ending. After resting the army at home, I use a bronze-grade declaration of war on that same lord. The troops teleporting outside his real territory, defense is much the same, though the wall soldiers rank higher than the exclusive defenders of the mirror space. Only a small share tier 3. Little real impact. I wave my hand and the army attacks. The system pings. My citizens have killed the level 32 werewolf great chieftain hero, loot rolling, 25 silver coins, a jackal guard barracks at D grade, and a gold grade purple gold claw, the rank 3 territory Wolfang City destroyed. 1 kindling gained. The D grade barracks is useless, so I toss it straight into the trading hall. I clean the field, return, replenish, rest, and keep clicking search. A day passes and my ranking rises to 952, finally cracking the top 1000. Today I spotted 2 more cities carved with wolf head patterns, and I cannot tell what it means, whether a custom or the mark of an alliance. Never mind, my defenses make such fights hard now. The dense defense tower is alone enough to prickle the scalp. Another good resource haul, so I keep stacking defense towers, the outer city covered with them now, soon needing another expansion, after which Hanhei City will have 3 rings, a fine sense of accomplishment. The Necromancers and Wolf Riders return, each up 2 or 3 ranks, the outside leveling good for a few more days before the monsters thin and I move again. For now they only farm the outskirts of the Forest of the Fallen Dragon, since the deeper monsters rank too high and would cost me troops. Counterproductive, though the forest is boundless, and the outskirts more than enough. Several more days slip by, the Necromancers breaking through to tier 1, my war space ranking reaching 632, steadily improving. The regional channel's war fever grows, my area lately clashing with the Japanese region and tilting toward open war, and I am following it closely, ready to move the moment it breaks out. There was no chance to settle scores with them on Blue Star, but here the opportunity is handed to me. The tables have turned, the Celestial Dynasty no longer what it was 100 years ago, Japan the weaker party now, and yet they cannot sit still, forever stirring trouble, truly courting death. Since I share the experience my soldiers earn killing monsters, little each but vast in the aggregate, I have broken through to level 47 without hunting a thing. Flush with funds, I buy another 200,000 units of Green Rock City wall and expand outward into a 3rd ring. Main roads left for emergencies. The rest of the routes buried underground. Tunnel beasts excavating a sprawling network solidified with strengthening spells. Farmland above water by the costly spiritual chi springs I bought, since my citizens use spring water as a matter of course. Hanhei City is not your ordinary wealthy. Heavy use of spiritual chi springs improves the land, lifts the territory's concentration, and raises citizens' odds of breaking past their potential. And housing is no longer uniformly allotted. the citizens building their own homes to taste and merely applying to the city hall for land that gets assigned by its planned use. The third ring fills with defense towers and takes initial shape. Defense no worry at all under the Watcher comprehensive defense system, which even prompts where to place which tower. In the trading hall, I find a gold-grade city defense cannon design. Run it through the equipment manufacturing center to form a production line, and mass-produce the cannons for the outermost walls. With city guards prioritized there too, their own underground transport channels letting them fall back to the next line the moment the outer ring breaks. I add sword and shield soldier and crossbowman barracks to thicken the defense. The goblins have basically retired. None summoned once spent. The siege engines now run by a C-grade human troop. The swordsmen, far stronger than goblins and better with the machines. Their experience from siege kills no longer wasted on goblins. Hanhei City develops fast every day, and once nearby resources thin, I move again, feeling more and more like a shepherd with a great flock. The war space goes unneglected. Ground daily. The opponents stronger and the rewards bigger. The necromancers folded in once their rank rises, their inclusion cutting my losses to almost nothing. Then the pings come in a rush. The system announces that ASO has used a bronze-grade declaration of war order on me, then Matsushita Tien, then Ando, and the prompts keep ringing until I count 10 in all. So many? We are under siege, and at the same time the Watcher sounds a warning, my soldiers receiving notice and moving to their defensive points in good order. I reach the third ring wall as teleportation light screens bloom outside the territory, densely packed with troops of every kind, and the Watcher reports the invaders number 30,421, 3,000 from each territory, practically their whole armies. The enemy is almost all rank 2 with scarcely any rank 3, the gap between same period lords and me still wide. Before they can form up, boulders rain from the sky, my own catapults loosing from behind the wall, their landing spots eerily accurate on the densest enemy packs. The Watcher feeding the firing data since I have handed the entire defense to it through the territory's communication system, which lets it command every defender precisely. The city defense cannons open next, massive shells bursting in the enemy camp. Aso, the enemy commander-in-chief, scrambles his defenders to hold the line and orders his air force up and his siege engines forward, only to find awkwardly that his machines lack the rank to reach Hanhei City. Cursing, he advances the great army to drag my walls into range, his air force flying for the city where my own air force already waits in formation. Circling above rather than sallying out, since with my anti-air support only a fool fights outside the walls. His mounts are a kind of giant eagle, each carrying a crossbowman, and the instant they tangle with my air force the gap shows, enemy units dropping one after another. Meanwhile, his ground troops claw forward until Hanhei City finally falls within siege range, and Aso orders boulders and ballista bolts flung at my walls. Just then a transparent shield rises from the city and swallows it whole. The siege fire intercepted by that thin layer, tough beyond belief, the strikes barely registering the enemy air force trapped inside with it and unable to retreat. The Watcher means to wipe their air force out entirely, which is ruthless. Asu's face changes hard. The idiot actually has a protective shield, truly the friendly merchant known for deep pockets, and it only sharpens his hunger to take me, since conquering the friendly merchant's territory would mean immense wealth. He is the #1 lord of region 865743, the very region forever clashing with mine, and unexpectedly he opened the attack against the region's top man, without a sound, and chose wrong, bleeding losses from the first clash even with 10 top-ranked lords gathered and full preparations made. He grits his teeth and sends the Earth Dragon units charging in, the thick-skinned orc army behind, switching to a direct assault since the siege engines do nothing. By now his air force is nearly annihilated, and my air force turns on his siege units, my airships lifting off and the goblin sappers dropping bombs over the enemy. The survivors pinned between my defensive weapons ahead and the bombardment above. My flying dragons spitting fire everywhere, their huge bodies impossibly agile, dodging whenever the Japanese try to focus fire as if they could read the future. That is the gift of the Watcher. Reconnaissance units spread across the field feeding it real-time movement while it commands every soldier precisely, the Watcher and the communication system together like a daylink back on Blue Star. I stand on the wall watching, and a thing like the Watcher, near to artificial intelligence, truly is powerful. My own command beside it a pile of garbage, and I wonder whether I might get an assault system of my own. Soon the Japanese reach the foot of the wall, where dense swarms of skeleton soldiers burst from beneath, hundreds of thousands of them, Aso's scalp prickling. My wall defenders open up too, the dwarf musketeers with their long range and heavy damage, the mages loosing area spells, the battle clerics stacking negative effects, and before the shield is even breached, more than half the Japanese army is gone. Asu despairs, over 50% casualties without touching a hair on me, that damned shield stable as ever with no crack in sight. So to save his strength he orders a retreat, but tunnel beasts burrow up behind his lines and release melee units to block the way, while the wall mages drop wind wall spells to seal the escape. As the last soldier falls, the defensive battle ends, the attackers practically wiped out, only a sliver breaking free alongside the enemy lord. I summon replacements and rest the army, the shield steady with no sign of cracking, though it drank a great deal of the territory's spiritual chi, and during the fight every unit leveled, even the new necromancers jumping several ranks at once. With the great army reorganized, I lead the counterattack. Only half a day passed since the siege began. The teleportation light screen's not yet faded. No rush. I will push through them one at a time. This time I do not split my forces, since the war will run long and there's no need to take risks, and I already hold every one of these lords' names, free to use another declaration of war once the current channel expires. As so is first. Not long after he reaches home, a meteor fall lands on him, then tornado and wind arrow rain, then the siege engines, and as the region's number 1, he does have real strength and plenty of defense towers, but against an off-the-charts lord his territory soon falls. The system congratulates me on destroying the rank 3 territory Cheonjo City and obtaining 1 fire seed. That region 865743 is truly miserable, since Yamamoto Nobuo from before also came from there, so 2 number 1 in that region looks like a high-risk profession. I clean the field, return, rest the great army, and lead them to the next target, the battle running until noon the next day. Since I do not attack at night, poor visibility blunting the offensive, and a man should rest when he needs to. I set the war space aside for a few days, since the monster ranch has begun spawning monsters that drop the declaration of war order, and I plan to have some fun with the Japanese lords, given they provoked me. I open the chat channel and find them buzzing, one boasting he was attacked by the Japanese today but beat them back, another saying he was hit too, the attackers from region 865743. A third reports that 2 names vanished from that region's leaderboard, their number 1 included. Wondering if one of our big shots made a move, several joking that the dozen of them gathered for some event and committed mass suicide. I dig some hostile region names from the chatter and attack directly, the system rolling out kill after kill. The rank 3 territory Chongmok City destroyed and a fire seed gained. The Okayama territory destroyed and another fire seed, and by nightfall I have broken 5 Japanese lords, a haul about equal to grinding the war space. I rest the great army for tomorrow. In the Overlord group, the talk runs hot. Zhang Yang reports a big shot from our region made a move and took out the other region's number 1. Zhou Ri confirms it was the friendly merchant, who got jumped by 10 lords and counter-killed them all. Miserable for them, and Gangnam adds that other big shots in our region are gathering manpower to attack the other side. Hanyo squeals that it is basically a small national war. So exciting. And Gang Ryeon sighs that if only she were the friendly merchant's girlfriend, she would have endless resources, Hanyo firing back that the friendly merchant is hers and not to fight her for him. Gangnam claims inside word that the friendly merchant's troop types have all broken into Tier 3, Zhou Rai marveling that his own are still Tier 2, and the talk turns to the value of starting with an advanced barracks, Hanyo noting a friend who started C rank now nearing Tier 3. Then Zhang Yang mentions the Commerce Under Heaven big shot has been hunting the friendly merchant to form a merchant alliance, Zhou Rai saying the friendly merchant is mysterious, the only top big shot in the region who has not joined their group, and that according to reliable sources several beauties sit among those top big shots. Lurking, I instantly cannot hold it in. How did nobody tell me about beauties? I open the regional channel and scroll back, finding the messages Andre and the others left, and since I set my account so it cannot be friended by nickname, they could only shout in the channel. I add Andre, the request accepted at once, and Andre loves to drink crows that he finally added the friendly merchant. While I apologize that I blocked the function and only just saw it, he pulls me into the group, named the 865763 Regional Exchange Group, only 20 or so people, a refreshingly honest name, much better than that classmate group. Han Han loves to dance laughs that the friendly merchant has joined, come watch him, and I greet everyone. Commerce Under Heaven asks if I want to start a business alliance, and I beg off, busy as hell every day. Bloody Queen asks whether I am socially anxious, never daring to join the group. Force Breaking Heaven demands I add him fast. Han Han loves to dance, wants a photo to see my face. Your old father offers all kinds of photos, and Han Han loves to dance tells the old pervert to get lost. The whole vibe is nothing like I pictured. So this is the world of the top big shots Zhou Rai and the rest kept talking about. After adding them and chatting a while, I log off. The next day I keep loosing the declaration of war on the Japanese lords, and 3 more days pass before they finally react. Today, while I attack one of them, over a dozen declaration of war orders fire in to support him. So to avoid losses I order the great army to retreat at once. The enemy trying to intercept but failing against Hane City's mobility, then reorganizing and charging into my territory only to be schooled by the Watcher and slink off with their tails between their legs. Now it is a stalemate. I cannot reach them and they dare not reach me. Yet whenever I lead a large army to attack, the besieged lord cries out in the regional channel, and they all swarm my territory, though luckily the bronze grade channel lasts only a day before it closes. So I grind the war space instead, since as long as I do not attack them, they cannot tell whether my army sits at home or not. The next day, once their channels go inactive, I declare war again on yesterday's target, the army teleporting, forming, attacking, and the instant a dozen orders fire back I pull out, then grind the war space and repeat the next day, until by the 6th day, the Japanese lords cannot hold on. For every order I use, they must use more than 10, and they must keep their armies constantly assembled or be ambushed, my own development untouched, while theirs bleeds. They did think of swelling their numbers to flatten me in one blow, but then I would surely call reinforcements and it would spiral into a full 2-region war. Both sides severely weakened. The gain's not worth the cost, which is exactly my own reasoning. Or I would have called reinforcements long ago. Since they started this by attacking me, they finally send a spokesperson to sue for peace. I am unwilling, naturally, this being no child's game where they stop fighting whenever they please, but after lengthy negotiation we settle. I cease attacking them and they promise never again to provoke the Celestial Dynasty lords. And as compensation, they pay me 10,000 silver coins in war reparations. As for handing over the instigators, I wiped those out long ago. 10,000 silver coins is a fortune to these Japanese players, raised through donations in their channel. And I let out a long breath at last. No land ceded but reparations paid. And ceding land is useless in this world anyway. Reparations the most practical thing. With the reparations I buy a great many defense towers, the 3 rings basically complete now, and spend the rest on territory items, some raising spiritual chi concentration, others improving vitality. A pity the trading hall sells no spiritual rhyme, the single most effective territory item, and no spirit gathering array either. Over these days my ranking reaches 534, and I have run into several cities marked with wall patterns, which I have finally worked out are the symbols of various alliances. Though I do not take them seriously, since I cannot stop grinding the war space just because someone has an alliance. And at this stage, even 10 lords could not breach my defenses. The necromancers and other recent units have advanced to tier 2, and I can upgrade the territory after a little more development, but I am in no hurry. I want first to climb to the top of the ranking and see what reward first place gives, since most of my high-level items come from rewards rather than monster drops, and my territory cannot yet contend with the high-level monsters that would drop them. So I return to my happy life of grinding the war space, and mid-grind the system congratulates me on achieving first place in the regional territory leaderboard, distributing rewards, and because my prosperity index so far exceeds the others, the reward is upgraded to 2 extraordinary treasure chests. I open the panel. Number 1, Hanhei City. Prosperity index 11,217. Lord-friendly merchant. Number 2, Elegant Castle at 3,043 under Bloody Queen. Number 3, Lefei City under Andre Loves to Drink. Down to number 10, Divine Sword City under Sword God Woody. No wonder I got 2 chests. My prosperity index nearly 4 times the second place. Their fault for being so weak, so I deserve to get rich. The big shot group explodes. Bloody Queen demanding I get out here and explain how I developed, you pervert. And the image of a little lowlie with hands on hips throwing a tantrum springs to mind. Since I have seen their photos and the group holds many beauties, far higher quality than the classmate group, any one of them fair and rich and beautiful both. I tell little Bloody Queen she can manage it by fighting more often, that I grind around the clock and never sleep, and Han loves to dance protests that she does not sleep either, cultivating all night, so why does the gap keep widening? Commerce under heaven warns them not to mind me. The man is a pervert. Sweet little fairy offers to form an alliance with a marriage contract she has, and Yo-chan shouts to let go of the friendly merchant and come at him instead. I send 200 jungle giant lizard pet eggs to the group to smooth it over, since I have plenty. After the chat, I wash my hands with spirit spring water, carry the chest to the statue of the goddess of luck, pray, and open both together. The system gives me 1 elf druid at A grade and 1 void stalkers at A grade, then a space ring at extraordinary grade, a small spiritual vein at A grade, and a world tree fragment. Good luck, 2 A grade barracks. The elf druid is a unique high elf profession with bear form and eagle form skills, a dual land and air unit, and the void stalkers are assassins of the void realm race with a voidification skill, immune to physical attacks while active, fast, stealthy, and highly lethal. After pushing both barracks to level 3 and summoning them to capacity, 1 hero appears for each type. The new troops rank low, so I let them hunt freely near the territory to raise their rank. No need to join Hanei City's campaigns. The space ring is the proud creation of Space Mage Abbott, 100 by 100 by 100 storage space. But since I already have my territory space, I will save it to reward a subordinate hero later. The small spiritual vein, A grade, condensed from heaven and earth spiritual chi, produces 200 low-grade spirit stones a day, and spirit stones have many uses, aiding cultivation, powering formations, even feeding the monster ranch as a consumable. The last item is a world tree fragment, quality none, a branch fallen from the world tree of another world, function unknown, just a branch. Yet when I take it out, the ancient tree of life in my territory radiates longing, so I give the branch to the tree and wonder if it will bring a surprise. The system tells me the ancient tree of life is transformed after fusion with the world tree fragment. A rumbling rolls out as the giant tree shoots taller 300 or 400 meters high, its massive roots plunging into the void realm. dense spiritual chi spreading outward, and many citizens stuck at a bottleneck break clean through. Crowds pour into the streets to marvel at the enormous divine tree at the city's heart, and those who broke through bow toward the mansion in genuine gratitude, since I have forbidden kneeling and kowtowing, or half the city would be on its knees. These citizens are personal witnesses to the daily change in the territory. The first to arrive all had F-rank potential, and by rights should never have cultivated to Tier 2 in a lifetime, unable even to break to Tier 1 without proper methods. The experience from work too thin, yet now they have all reached Tier 2, the lowest among them at D-rank potential, which means Tier 3 experts or higher, unimaginable before. The panel reads Ancient Tree of Life, Quality S, no rank, Trait 1 producing life spirit nectar periodically that slowly improves life essence. Trait 2 Void Extraction, rooted in the void realm drawing energy back into the territory and lifting its spiritual chi concentration. An elf race tree that planting raises the concentration of life factors and comprehensively strengthens the citizens' bodies and breakthrough odds. The quality jumped from A to S and gained Void Extraction. The boost to concentration greater than when the Spirit Gathering Array first went up, and the concentration keeps climbing even now. I have struck gold this time. I keep grinding the war space. Hanhei City's combat power crushing opponents, its tier ranking shooting up. And then, on this very day, the moon in the sky turns blood red. A world announcement sounds in my mind. 3 of them. Affected by the void tide, spatial rifts will open across the continent and a great number of void spawn will pour from them to actively attack territories. So all lords prepare. Killing void spawn grants points. The territory point ranking has opened. All lords explore on their own. After the event concludes, the top 100 on the point ranking receives special rewards. The chat channel detonates at once. Someone shouting the void spawn have invaded. Another noting the point ranking is a world ranking and not a regional one, so he had better take it seriously. A third sneering that anyone who cannot even crack the regional ranking has no hope of the world one. Several lament that with nearly 10 billion Blue Star Lords the ranking is nigh impossible, and wonder if any big shot in the region can make it. One fool crows that his chance has come, that he need not hide his strength and world number 1 will surely be him, the others jeering that he is dreaming in broad daylight. Even void spawn exist. This world really is vast. I wonder if the void spawn will hit my territory, but Hanhei City sits in an independent space, so probably not, which is awkward since if I am never attacked, how do I earn points? Must I scour the whole world to kill them? After thinking it through, I decide to move, Sair City being the largest territory nearby, and how could I leave an ally in distress? I ride the green dragon towards Seer City, scattered void spawn already along the way, and release all my Skylark scouts to hunt for spatial rifts, since blocking a rift outright would beat defending Seer City. Not far out, I summon the Hanhei City army. On the wall, Kyle is busy and frantic, and the sight of me leading my main army to reinforce him fills him with joy, and he welcomes me into the gatehouse and orders tea. He asks why I am here, whether Hanhei City needs defending, and I tell him it is fine. My city's location is special and the void spawn cannot launch a large attack there, so being idle I came to help. Ever since I relieved Seer City, he has recognized me as his big brother, despite being the elder, and unable to refuse such earnestness, I accept the title. By Kyle's account, an insect tide erupts on the Star Rime continent every so often, called the Beast Tide by the continent's natives, though insect tide fits better. Its timing unfixed, its clearest omen the moon turning blood red. The spatial rifts appear in a different place each time, prevention impossible. The only recourse to hold fast within the city, and fortunately once the blood moon fades, the void spawns stop multiplying, at which point the territory armies sally out to clear them. It is still the early stage, the numbers small, but they usually mass for 2 days before launching an attack. I order the main army to split into small teams acting independently, killing as many void spawn as they safely can. I will not grind the war space these days, focusing everything on points, since a world ranking surely pays better than a regional one, and this is one of the few ways I have left to obtain advanced items, so I must treat it seriously. After leaving Kyle a messenger, I mount the green dragon and set out to kill void spawn. Most of them now are a unit called the Spine Wretch, snake-bodied with 2 upper limbs like a praying mantis, vicious but low in combat strength. Around Tier 1, the Void Spawn are a race where everyone is a soldier, winning on numbers, the true masters of the human wave tactic, though it should really be called the Void Spawn C tactic. They consume every energy-bearing thing on the continent to reproduce, breeding at terrifying speed the flesh and blood of continental creatures, a fatal lure for them. The higher a creature's rank, the greater its energy and the greater the pull, which is why they love attacking territories, where biological energy pools in vast amounts. The system pings. A rank 11 Spine Wretch killed for 11 points, a rank 13 Spine Wretch for 13, then a rank 21 Riftling for 210. The Riftling is a huge armored void spawn about the size of a small car, generally around Tier 2, and points scale with the rank killed, a Tier 2 void spawn yielding 10 times a Tier 1's, though nothing drops. Alongside the territory point ranking board, an integral mall has appeared this time, its stock dazzling, even the high-rank barracks lords dream of, and I spot the damaged world origin and the world tree seed. Both things I have always craved, since they could accelerate my territory's evolution toward becoming a world and bring unexpected gains. A flood of names already fills the board, which shows only the top 100, and I am not yet listed, delayed on the road to Seer City while others started grinding sooner. My main combat units have all broken through to Tier 3 now, half of them to Tier 4, the Azure Orchid Guard all Tier 4 as my highest potential unit and fastest to level. And sharing my soldiers' monster experience across so vast a base, I've already broken through to Tier 5, the only one in the territory to do so, even my hero's not yet there. Then I see a gigantic creature flying in the distance, the panel naming it Leviathan, rank 53, a large void spawn warship with powerful long-range attacks, capable of carrying a great many void spawn. Holy crap, that is basically a spaceship. Rank 53? About even with me. Should I give it a shot? Just then the Leviathan spots me too and sweeps beams of light my way, the green dragon dodging fast but taking 2 hits, 2 bloody holes opening in its body. The green dragon is instantly enraged that these bugs dared wound it and roars to charge. But I stop it, since it only just reached Tier 4 and a Tier 5 Leviathan would put it at a huge disadvantage. I fire a decomposition ray at the Leviathan, earning a full 80% of my internal energy, and the Leviathan is decomposed to dust on the instant. The power was a touch excessive, and I am utterly astonished, since I have not made a move in a long time and never expected to be this strong after reaching Tier 5. The system congratulates me on killing a rank 53 Leviathan for 530,000 points, then rolls out a flood of smaller kills, a rank 13 Spin Wretch, a rank 21 Riffling, a rank 22 Burstling, a rank 33 Burrow Fiend. The notifications ringing on, and I appear on the board at once. 53rd place. The Leviathan's points were enormous. The subsequent flood surely the void spawn it had been carrying inside. My eyes light up. I have found a path to wealth. I drink a few recovery potions to refill my energy, mount the green dragon, and search again, flying high this time to hunt Leviathans specifically, since with Leviathans on offer, who would bother killing small monsters? The regional channel buzzes, crowing that the friendly merchant Big Shot has broken into the world top 100, mighty as ever. One lord reckoning that with Blue Star's population, there must be at least 800,000 regions, so making the world board is incredible. Another hoping the Big Shot keeps it up on only the first day. By day's end, I have killed 2 more Leviathans, but I still have not found the spatial rift. Back home, the Hanhei City army has returned. No need to push too hard. Rest when it is time to rest. The force near Seer City still turning a decent profit since the city's sheer size draws the void spawn hard. The Skylark reconnaissance unit does not come back, spread across too wide an area to bother, and too small to attract the void spawn anyway. And though they have not found the spatial rift, they have located several void spawn dense areas for the army to clear tomorrow. After cultivating all night, I wake early for the usual triple routine. Eat, refresh territory citizens, grind the monster ranch, then gather the army and head for the dense areas scouted yesterday. After the night, my ranking has already dropped off the list. Are these people really grinding this hard, not even stopping at night? In Region 8, 85862, 9 Heavens is on the verge of tears, the spatial rift having opened right beside his territory, his city under constant attack since yesterday, with no chance to rest even at night. The assault's growing fiercer, and he reckons his territory will not last 2 more days. He just checked the rankings and already sits at 23rd, and if only territories were not immobile, he would have fled with his long ago, since rankings do not matter, and surviving is all. The people in his region keep praising him to the skies, and when he begs for help in the channel, they take it for either modesty or showing off, leaving him speechless at the idiots, so he has no choice but to post calls for help in the world channel, sending one out every so often, hoping someone comes to save him. I have already led my army to the dense area to grind, a great mass of void spawn gathered there, and I cannot tell what they are planning. The system pings on, a rank 25 Burstling killed for 250 points, a rank 33 Burrow Fiend for 3,300, a rank 12 Spine Wretch for 12, a rank 23 Riffling for 230. The Burstling, as its name suggests, is a self-destructing void spawn unit, and when it blows up it sprays a sticky fluid that corrodes everything around it.